habits are gonna come in for Genji, you know?
They very well could. I think, look, I think that this is going to be a close series. I think that if Paper X do have that kind of like rougher starting point, because we haven't seen them yet, they have to get back on stage, they have to get reacclimated to the environment, I could see this absolutely being very close. Genji absolutely has impressed so far. I'm expecting 3 maps almost no matter what, unless Paper X comes out and looks so much better than we could have anticipated in the downtime that they have had. But that is a very unknown quantity, but maybe this will bite me in the rear, maybe it'll bite all of us in the rear here. We're basing our predictions on past achievements. We are going off of that history. We are going off the expectations of these players and of, on Coach Alex as that guy who can really pump the brakes and get that mental reset mid-game.
Listen, my rear has already been bitten thanks to Genji, actually, so I might as well just go along with the Genji ride here. But I love that you brought up the coaching.
Stockholm syndrome.
I love that you brought up the coaching thing, because I keep thinking the actual kryptonite to this kind of hopium for Paper X's opponents is that Alex just knows when to pump the brakes, and he knows when to reset. We saw this at AVL. T1 came out swinging on Sunset with the Euro. Paper X just looked lost like they've never been before. It was 6-0 or something like that. Alex just pumps both timeouts back-to-back, and suddenly it just flips, and T1's like, well, we've run out of options. We don't know what to do. And even after the game, I talked to the players. Devi was like, T1 looks scary. Like, they looked strong. Saya's firing on all cylinders. But at the end of the day, they still won pretty handily.
Yeah, I feel like we're actually not going to be seeing the same Paper X that we did in 2023. I'm actually prepared for maybe a Paper X that's a bit slower, maybe not as aggressive.
That's
I mean, that might be
Cek 1 2 3 cek. Halo semuanya adik-adik, selamat siang bro. Ternyata hari ini ya, real siang ini, no tipu-tipu ya. Di awal-awal streaming jangan lupa langsung di like dulu videonya, sama kita absen dulu nggak sih bro sebelum match ya? Absen nggak sih? Absen kali ya.
And also the question of a lot of people still seem to favor Raze on a lot of these maps, and something is obviously much more known for is Jet. We even saw him piling.
Langsung aja nggak sih? Ini kan udah mau main dah. Langsung nggak sih? Halo Dae, halo Zaki, halo Off-White. Off-White abu masa bro? Aku bang, halo Eka, halo Corki, halo Ahmad Rafli, halo V, halo Aiwan. Gila, gue udah siang person parah ini gue. Halo Ufat, halo ZXC, halo Momon, halo Atuy, halo Mr. E. Anjing banyak abu gini siang-siang anjing. Jing si abu nih. Anjing tuh 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dari 7 vote yang megang Genji cuma 1 anjing. Kasihan gini. Kasihan gini ya. Tapi kemarin Talon menang sih. Halo Naka, halo Lutfi Alamsyah. Jangan lupa langsung di like ya adik-adik ya, biar kita FYP bro. Ah, sama FYP sih. Sen nggak mau fitur abu, nggak usah lah, nobar bro. Nobar doang anjing. Kecuali scrim baru dah kita, tapi kan udah scrim terakhir kemarin guys. Lu pada udah pada balik sekolah apa gimana nih, hari Senin nih anjing. Jam 1. Udah pada tahu kan jadwal hari ini gimana ya? Apa masih ada yang belum tahu match-matchnya nih? Oke, gue nanti habis PRX Genji baru ini dah. Habis PRX Genji baru ke router dah gue kayaknya. Hujan badai bang, nggak sekolah. Emang ya? Emang hujan? Halo Sen, halo Gading.
Want that. It'd be stupid to say that there's any team out there that doesn't want that. But for Paper X, coming off the back of narrowly
pas pagi doang dosennya pada sakit emang ya?
Getting that second place at the biggest event that we have ever held. That is going to.
Di router kadang murik, masa sih? Kayaknya kalau di router nonton nggak masalah dah. Harusnya ya, gue sih ngerasa dari kemarin sih aman-aman aja ya. Sabar, kita snapgram dulu nggak sih? SG dulu nggak sih? SG lah ya, masa nggak SG? Kalian pernah dapat notif nggak guys? Gue streaming tadi. Ya notif YouTube gue lagi rada broken dah. Nggak dapat. Dapat. Yang dapat pada dapat notifnya dari YouTube apa dari mana? Dari DC. Yang pada dapat ada yang dapat dari YouTube nggak? Ya, Teh.
Board. We're gonna do that
Yeah,
to
we
the board
just
one day.
keep
Start
track of
writing
it.
all over this thing.
By the time kickoff ends, you're gonna see
Udah dapat
all
dari
this
YouTube ya.
board and,
Gua kan
like,
kalau di HP gua kan
like,
pakai YouTube satu lagi ya.
theory happening.
Gua tuh kadang suka ngeliat dapat apa enggak.
Well, I mean,
Jadi nggak
every
dapet.
single team out
Anjir.
there that has a fan, they're going to be people who are trying to do the math and figuring out like this is where they can get this, and
Well, that's what
if they
keeps
do
it
that,
interesting.
and this team loses, then blah 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 blah, and then somehow it'll still come down to MIBR getting a knife to deny.
And yeah, and a coach playing it, and the coach brings some victory for another team. Yeah.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves and start predicting the entire year, of course, we have PRX and a Genji, and it is so exciting to welcome, the champions from last year.
Genji, IG-nya apaan sih?
Last year
Oh,
over
Genji Esport.
back to the Pacific League stage, and I feel like for Genji, this is going to be a tough kind of like they drew the shortest straw.
Jadi menang mana nih, guys? Genji apa PRX nih, Bro?
I mean, group of death, like Solo said, I think everyone would agree.
Pertanyaan bodoh ya?
Pure Genji.
Ngapain gue nanya di sini ya? Udah pasti megang PRX anjing. Ada yang megang Genji enggak sih?
I don't know if Genji necessarily has as much of a home crowd love.
Kayak pertanyaan ini anjing.
Because PaperX has gained a lot of fans
Oh,
in
yeah.
Korea over the years, especially after last year lifting that trophy over DRX and then going
Coba.
and representing Pacific.
Ada yang megang Genji nggak, Cabe?
Champions. Even the
Coba ya,
Korean
kita
fans are
mulai
like,
vote.
PaperX is where
Kita
it's
bikin
at,
nih,
like,
pada
they're
megang mana,
across
bro?
the Pacific. So Genji
Penasaran nih gua.
has a lot of work cut out for him.
No, they really do. But I mean, that makes me very much consider something that I haven't really put that much thought into, because it just in your brain it's like, okay, PaperX, they're going to come back, they're probably going to be very strong, make it to the final.
Anjing, ada.
Do we see the back-to-back
Ada sih, tapi
itself, or is there going to be a change-up? Does somebody else ascend to the throne? If it's not DRX, who else is it going to be? So I think it's just neat to think about.
Tapi Genji lagi jago, sumpah. Kalau Genji mainnya kayak kemarin pas lawan RRQ bisa kalah ya RRQ. Bisa kalah PRX maksud gua.
To what we expected coming into the season. We've been on
Ini Monyet, aduh tapi Monyet sekarang harus ini sih, harus perform sih. Masalahnya Monyet di turnamen terakhir udah kurang kan. Semua orang tahu tuh, Monyet di debutnya kurang. Ini sekarang harus oke anjing kalau masih mau di PRX ya. Gue percaya sama Genji. Tapi kalau Genji kayak kemarin, sumpah ngelawan kalau kayak kemarin mah. Lebih ke tekstur yang lagi OP. Sama Meteor sama tekstur juga ngeri, bro. Dua-duanya itu ganti-gantian deh selalu kan. Absen, halo Alpukat.
Other T1 teams and players, right? How do you perform against other Pacific teams? And now for someone like Qeon, it's like, well, how do you perform against PaperX out of all teams that you'd have to face in your very first week of debut in the VC?
Nonton sampai T1. Kayaknya hari ini nonton sampai T1 deh.
Just like Izu has, just like Governor has, and of course they've played
Yang gitu berat.
challengers as well, but Qeon has to come in and say, you know what, I've been ready for this, I've been coached through this as well.
Acik juga nobar, emang ya?
Veterans who have played against the
Nobar kah dia?
boys quite a few times, and he has to be able to hold his ground.
I love that these rookies, the new faces here, they're like the special seasoning over
Kalau ayam lagi nyala gitu namanya juga iya, ngeri sumpah. Lagi ngeri itu. Tapi gue berharap ya di Pasifik juara baru sih. Gue berharap ya, gue pengennya padahal jangan PRX atau ini lagi, jangan DRX yang juara. Ikut Pamel nanti, lihat nanti ya, nggak tahu ya. Kalau Pamelnya jam 10 jam 11 gue skip kayak. Nggak tahu sih, gue kayak pengen pergi nanti malam. Bukan kayak pengen pergi sih, ada temen gue ngajakin ini. Biasa ada urusan, tapi nggak tahu jadi apa enggak nanti malam. Absen siang, halo LYX. Talon juga lagi jago. Soalnya kalau misalkan yang juaranya itu lagi tuh lebih cepet matinya gamenya anjing. Jadi gue berharap juara baru di Pasifik ya. Tapi gue berharap PRX tetap lolos. Jadi tau gak lu? Kan yang diambil dari Pasifik 2 kan ya? Kalau yang juara Bleed atau T1 sih kejauhan. Kayaknya kalau buat Bleed, kalau ngeliat kayak kemarin nggak mungkin. Tapi kalau ngeliat T1 masih ada chance kayaknya. Lucu bro, Bleed. Dewa gue sama Ye ini. Absen, halo Keramsan. Gue pengen Genji yang menang supaya PRX lawan RRQ 3 Indo 1 Rusia versus 3 Indo 1 Rusia 3 Indo 1 Rusia 3. Iya juga ya. Iya juga bro. Udah mau ini nih. Ini PCT apa nih? Kick off nih. Oh ini yang pas awal. Ini pas awal kan ya guys ya? Yang pas kemarin opening kan ya? Gara-gara Qeon isi kompetitif gue pada pakai Yoru semua. Baru udah lama itu. Dulu tuh yang pakai Yoru duluan tuh di ini tuh si ini. Siapa sih, gue lupa. Di Breeze pakai Yoru tuh dulu udah ada yang pakai, tapi gue lupa siapa yang pakai. Oh, something kan ya? Something yang pakai Yoru waktu itu. Tapi kurang si something, ya nggak sih? Kita nggak lupa ada yang turnamen ini. Nih ya, kita buka vlr.gg. Tahu gue something waktu itu yang pakai Yoru dah, tapi Yorunya kurang. Jadi orang-orang belum pada ngikutin. Afrika, iya turnamen Afrika TV tahu gue. Pas lawan siapa itu ya? Oh si. Oh si 4 second ya? 4 second ya? Oh 4 second ding. Bisa apa turnamen yang mana ya? Lead Breeze 4 second. Ya kan kalah sama Sentinel kan waktu itu kan? Yang sebelumnya lagi ada lagi ya? Qeon, DRX coba. Mana ya? Breeze. Ini 2-0 gak nyampe. DRX PRX 4 second juga. PRX full sense gak nyampe. Coba ya 1-2 coba. Something mana pernah pakai Yoru? Something mana pernah pakai Yoru anjing? Tuh, mana something gak pakai Yoru, Cuman tahu PRX 4 second doang anjing. Nonton makanya ya. Gua udah tahu gua analis parah orangnya. Tahu gua. Walaupun gua cuman lu ngeliatnya gua main GTA doang, tapi gua tahu semuanya, bro. Cek, wih gila. Ada yang abis nikah nih, bro. Gimana Bos Bagus kabarnya siang ini, Bos Bagus? Real kah Bos Bagus udah nikah ini? Real gak sih, Bos? Pap dulu gak sih? Iya kan? Tapi ya hitungannya ini kalau menurut gue ya, kalau pas something make Yoru tuh sama aja kayak EA pakai Neon. Kayak gitu. Real dan gila. Selamat ya Bos Bagus ya. Semoga lancar-lancar terus, udah nikah ya. Sehat-sehat terus ya. Makin lancar lah bro rezekinya ya. Maksud lu apa ya? Apa ya maksudnya? Pap malam. Kok pap malam anjing? Pap dulu gak sih? No pap hoak ya? Ini entry bro. Anjing. Ini dia bro. Momen yang ditunggu-tunggu nih. Tapi di PRX itu ada barcode-nya. Barcode apa sih? Tahu nggak kalian guys? Barcode apa? Nggak mungkin barcode Saberia kan? Gue kira kemarin Papi Benkai bakal walkout pakai kostum lagi. Udah enggak ya? Jersey ya, sebenarnya PRX jersey ya temanya gitu-gitu doang tau. Dari yang sebelum-sebelumnya ya, cuma beda warna. Sama ini nih, Pulsar bro. Kan gue kemarin kan ada sempet pengen ini mouse ya, Pulsar tuh. Gue rada ragu nih, tapi ternyata sekarang PRX sponsor ini ya jadi Pulsar bro. Semakin yakin gak sih ganti Pulsar gue? UC 1000 kontrak. Iya kayak. Pulsar sama Lamzu bagus mana? Pulsar sama Lamzu mana ya? Kalau menurut gue yakin nih, kalau buat semua mouse itu buat teknologinya, buat fitur tuh gue yakin masih sama semua. Dia tuh cuma beda di ini aja, paling kayak apa ya? ya beda-beda bentuk, beda nama. Ayo tau gak sih lu? Gue sih kayak gitu yakinnya ya, nggak mungkin ada yang udah tiba-tiba jauh banget beda itu nggak mungkin anjing. Ya paling kalau misalkan ada yang pakai polling rate di 4000 harus pakai dongle kan. Tapi katanya pulsar gacha emang ya? Grip iya, cuma beda shape bentuknya aja. Gak mungkin aja kayak misalkan ada mouse nih, tiba-tiba dia polling rate-nya bisa 15.000 sendiri, yang lain masih pada 4.000, nggak mungkin anjing. Ini misalkan satu mouse satu brand nih, udah ngeluarin polling rate 4.000, gue yakin gak lama, misalkan kayak sebulan atau berapa minggu kemudian mouse lain pasti udah nyusul juga buat teknologinya. Nggak mungkin dia nemuin teknologi yang jauh sendiri tuh, nggak mungkin anjing. Ini day 3 kalau masih bermasalah gimana Jik? Kalau masih bermasalah juga, next Pacific nggak boleh di Korea lagi sih. Dia yang kemarin 2 hari bermasalah itu menurut gue agak peng sih. Harus hari pertama masih oke lah.
Well, now going into our map bans for Paper Rex
Pos koinnya apa tuh bro?
Gen G. This is going to be so interesting because we have two teams that can be very flexible, right? Paper Rex pretty much everybody's expecting something to be flexing already. And
dapat pilih ini pertama ya?
They're able to flex as well for the side of Gen G. So as we were saying,
Yang
we're
ngeband
not
pertama.
sure what
Ya,
Asian composition we're
yang
going to
ngeband
get,
pertama.
but these maps are going to be pretty determinant of that.
Yeah, well, we'll get maybe a better idea as far as what they're going to be piloting, especially if Gen G has any kind of repeat maps that do come up. When they played against RQ, we saw Icebox split as well.
Next Pacific Singapura kalau nggak apa-apa, Singapura asik sih. Indo nggak sih? Indo nggak? Kalau menurut kalian Indo ready nggak kalau buat dibikin Pacific begini? Apa belum? Kalau menurut gue sebenarnya bisa di Indo sih. Bisa di Indo sebenarnya.
I mean, I'm wondering if Gen G are going to be playing that Yoru as well. You know, do we get to see that coming through? Not something I believe the Textures really played. Maybe
Enggak, belum kata lu.
in his career, but none of them really spring to mind. But Lotus coming in for Paper X, this just feels like maximum comfort. And overall, it is a map
Qeon-nya,
that
iya
there's
sih.
an immense amount of tape on for them. So Gen G could have, you know.
Kalau di Indo paling ya dia sama One Up nggak sih? Kan yang ngurusin Valo di Indo One Up kan ya? PRX band Icebox Split Genji Breeze. Wah Breeze lagi bro, seru ini.
That one would be a little bit bold.
Breeze, aduh, tapi PRX Breeze ya. Siapa yang pakai Yoru nih? Lotus PRX, oke lah. Bain Essen, berarti mapnya sisa. Heaven udah nggak ada ya? Sunset dong, iya Sunset. Sunset ya? Duh. 50-50 sih Sunset sih. Dia jago anjing Genji sumpah.
So there is a bit out there to study when it comes down to that newest map in the pool. But have they changed anything is the big question. But as we get ready to focus on
Predict.
I mean, my eyes immediately just have to go to Forsaken to see what he's going to be playing.
Oh,
it's
Aduh.
playing Yoru as Forsaken's playing.
Aduh. Waduh bro. Something nggak pernah pakai Yoru part 2. Aduh.
Bang Magic.
Aduh bro, kok aduh ini Ben. Aduh.
Kenapa full aduh?
Something Yoru bro. Aduh.
Tapi Yoru sekarang tier S bro di sini bro. Real. Tapi tenang Jik, Monjet kembali dengan omen kesayangannya bro. Iya gak sih? 3 smoker anjing gila gak sih?
Aduh ini aduh Ben, sumpah Ben ini aduh anjing. Dia controller bro. Ini Yoru. Ya sih aduh dah. Gue jadi memang gak pede nih sama pertama nih.
Gak pede.
Enggak, gue gak pede di PRX.
Pede dengan Bangpor bro. Bangpor gue nih.
Gak tahu ya. Gue jadi 50-50 nih kayak kalau begini dah.
Ya, tidak setiap harinya tekstur Jik.
Semoga ya. Soalnya terakhir something pakai Yoru pas lawan Sentinel kalah.
Oh iya ya.
13-7.
Ya. Ntar gue mau tutup bed dulu.
Aduh ini kayak ini. Ya controller cok. Ini mah udah bilang nge-troll pasti. Lihat no. Tapi gak apa-apa sih. PRX punya meta sendiri bro.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Looks like Paper X is gonna be
Gelo,
starting
main freak, Sofa
to
lagi bro.
spread their wings a little bit all across the map.
Lu lihat nih.
Sebelumnya dia Sofa juga kan di sini, di Breeze.
Iya, Sofa. Tapi bedanya sebelumnya si 4 second pakai bridge.
Oh iya.
A big map such as this Breeze.
Especially on the attack,
right?
Gua nggak tahu lah ini PRX main gimana anjing kayak begini.
You can see that they already sent out a high tide across A. It creates a bit of pressure, but at the same time sustaining a bit of damage towards this beast.
3 outroller, aneh kan?
Genji gets a bit of information.
Tapi kalau dibilang nge-troll juga nggak mungkin nge-troll, Cok, di turnamen Pasifik begini.
Has been shown here by the hands of Paper X. There it is.
Wah,
There's still so many options they can choose for, and I think they're just making sure that
Genji has
to just commit a lot of their stars for the start of this.
Apart from that, also just with the gate crash that something is using, you know, they're going all over the map.
Dia farming orb dulu itu si something.
Yeah, Tripwire on that A site. This is the Yoru though, so he can bypass it. Needs to break it. Munchkin has been given up already.
Omen.
Right in front of him.
Monjet, oke.
On, ini on.
Oke.
Nah, rest of Genji
On ya kan, on banget nih.
on that rotate back to the A site, but look at how far Dubai
salah
has pushed up
PSK,
on
Bang.
Halls here. He's the first Vanguard for the moment, holding, whiffing. He's gonna go down, but at least he's got that information for the rest of Paper X.
Yeah, it was a good hit nonetheless, and you know they know that there are players coming from Bridge, coming from Halls,
Apa tuh, gua
and
nggak lihat
that
lagi.
just confirms a lot of it.
Okay, dash in. Texture's very aggressive into this as well as uber confident, but of course, Paper X just gonna be playing that post plan, something coming around the corner, repositions, has to help out his team, right at the precipice of the smoke, putting on Texture. Second, he wow! 5 bullets, dashes right in, finds
Wow.
another one, and he picks up the 4K.
No way! First round already picks up the 4th. You see how he has that trigger discipline. I mean, normally when we talk about trigger discipline, you're hiding, waiting for the opportune moment. He's just waiting to track as the movement slows down, and that is unbelievable skill.
Pusing gua, Cok.
Punish.
Ronde pertama pusing gua.
Megang ini, Cok. Lagi megang high tide, Bang Korea. Wah.
Did absolutely nothing for them as Texture basically got all
Gila, orang tenang banget anjing.
segmented 1v1
Cekurin nggak sih?
in the span of just a couple of seconds, ultimately turning the hand for Genji.
Kalem bro,
And now they
kalem bro.
picked up.
Dicek nggak itu Ben urinnya tadi, Ben?
Got an outlaw on
Nggak tahu
Texture. He's looking to
Eh,
pick up
kagak
the
dicek
play
dah.
early on.
Oh, he wants to go for this
Masa
instant
iya?
peek on A main. Paper X, will they give him the satisfaction?
Dan ada gosip nih, gue DM DC ya. Apa tuh? Gosip apa itu, Dan?
As much support as possible.
Boleh.
One gets down already.
Asik
I mean,
nih
that's the
siang-siang
other thing, right?
gosip.
Because it's an outlaw, it's just so
Buset, Icos gua pegeter
powerful.
ini.
Anything on an eco round, it just chews right through. So these guys, Paper X, they got to be so careful.
Orang tenang banget anjing,
RC1
sumpah.
spotting the tripwire outside of B main.
Nembak
Still
3 peluru.
Paper X from starting to
Si
move
4
their
secondnya
forces all the way
movement
here.
dia nggak nembak anjing.
Looks like they're
Chill deh.
okay with that. Device still hasn't gotten any contact with the sheriffs that he's bought in the past 2 rounds.
Anjir lah.
That's looking a little bit iffy. With the stars being committed here as well, and Texture actually pushing all the way up onto mid, this could be very bad for Paper X as the spike drops.
Gila nih orang sih menyalabat anjing di
They know
Genji,
he's
sumpah.
here, they don't really want to challenge him. It's way
Gue yakin
too
orang-orang
risky.
GE bilang,
So
kok
they're
gini
running out
mainnya
of
sekarang ya?
options.
Dulu kayak lu
They
nggak
go back to
begini
elbow.
anjing pas di
In the
main
lead,
sama gue.
You're pretty much stuck inside of B main.
Iya nggak sih?
Texture, well, Tailwind's away, so maybe got a bit of breathing room, but
Kalau menurut
30
kalian
seconds
itu,
left, that's
kalau dulu
right.
dia kurang, emang dianya yang kurang apa timnya tuh kalau begitu?
You know, no pun intended.
Ting, ting,
Make some
ting.
contact
Team
here.
effect nggak
Does
sih?
have his great crash available. He wants to challenge out, get the
Ace
outlaw
anjing.
Texture, but
Ace anjing.
Iya, bro. You have Shielder.
Dikasih makan terus ini, gue yakin.
Ace is not gonna work. You're just feeding him
Udah.
the kills, and now he's got that
Gue liat ini.
2 rounds in to the first map.
Main sendiri aja anjing tekstur.
Oh, that's just a big boost
Sorry.
of
Bikin orang overheat.
confidence for Texture.
Bikin overheat dulu ya.
Awal pas 9,
Kasih senang dulu ya.
udah.
Bener sih, itu strategi ya main free kayak itu deh.
Today, I don't know what
Strategi
he's
ini.
on, but this is
Dari top
a
seed.
whole new look. Bladestorm already available. I mean, the other thing is also just, you know, Paper X, they had sheriffs, they're just trying to maybe go for
Teori
some picks or the
start
spike plan.
Gara-gara main sama Goat jadi begitu. BTW buat kalian lagi nonton jangan lupa di like ya, adik-adik ya, masa nggak like sih?
Ini yang
PRX
menjadi
bro ini.
kekhawatiran sebenarnya bukan
Gue
play.
PRX parah nih, like nggak sih?
Mejanya
Like ya?
Oh, yeah.
Meja jadi. Belum ada nih. Ronde ini harusnya dapat. Harusnya nih.
Any tricky business? Spots one, getting into the astral dimension. Goes out, flashes. He still challenges something. He's gotta make something happen here, and he does get it.
Ting ting ting.
Follow up by Monyan, but Karon's holding
Oke.
on.
Nice monyet udah bunuh tekstur, nggak apa monyet. Udah bunuhin pakai ulti itu.
Cascade up as well, so there's a lot more room for Forsaken trying to play around this, pushing Gen.G back. They want to burn down the timer and they want to stay alive as long as possible.
Ganti crosshair deh.
Munchkin's coming around the corner
Oh, iya.
here on double doors. They're just
Crosshair tens dulu ini ya.
already. Forsaken's right here for the first contact, but gets punished by Meteor. He's gonna be alone by himself.
1v1, oh Davai, aman Davai.
Aman lah, santai.
Unknowing of where his
Santai.
opponent might be, now spotting Meteor getting closer and closer. He might not even know about this. There
Aman,
it is.
Davai Ben, aman.
No more utilities for Meteor, so it's a straight up start of the defuse. Davai playing.
Okay.
Aman bro, Davai ini
Tapi mahal ngepot.
selevel sama Scary
Got
ini.
the advantage of the spike. Might
Eh,
as well
mahal ya?
just
Iya
hang
lagi.
back and play it
Mahal, Bang.
loose and easy. And at the same time, I mean,
Yeah,
gotta love
lengkap.
the,
Gue nonton lu 10 menit dapat iklan 3 kali
utility
Jik.
that Paper X uses. You can see that,
Emang iya?
3 controllers.
Gue nggak tahu ya
Mind
di YouTube
Freak
emang
on
iklannya
solo, what?
soalnya
Abang.
Not be
udah
done
diatur
gaming.
sendiri bro.
But
Sekarang
no,
udah
it
nggak
still
ngerti
very
gue.
much is. The dimensional drift gives them so much space. Monyet is already there, kind of like what Will said on the desk. That secondary.
Halo Bang, halo Erva.
Back and forth the entire team. And with
Iklannya
that
brutal.
Itu rada salah tau,
it's
Jik.
tough for Gen.G to retake in such situations.
Dia ngeluarin
True, but
C-nya
They
Yoru.
do love
Tapi
their
sama
contact.
tempat itunya ya.
He's already on
Iya.
this
Enggak, maksudnya
operator.
telat kan
Not really
nge-X-nya
much
jadinya
utility
nggak
that
akan
can
ditembak,
really
itu
punish him,
percuma.
but okay, gravity will activate it. Stun
Masih dapat
down.
tuh something.
That's gonna be as the dust settles,
untuk
2
dua.
kills down against Gen.G Paper.
Premium gak sih guys? Makanya premium gak sih gitu.
Awas dekat.
Oh, still pushing through the side. Butchera with a double kill, or triple kill by Nacho, and Myfreak is alone.
Pasti bakal
by
begitu terus
himself
anjing
on
Ben.
halls.
Mainin nih.
Can't believe
Soalnya
that
cuman
you
sofa
reacted
doang.
to that so quickly. I thought the cascade was
Bakal main
just
deket-deket
mask
terus nih.
Paper X's intentions for just a second, but he reacts just as quick.
Qeon's just so fast at being able to just get these
Op.
punishes. Mindfreak's given away
Oh,
his
udah teriak
position.
Udah teriak duluan anjing curang ya. Banyak yang teriak lagi anjing mentang-mentang main di kandang nih.
Control for the longest time, but the smokes,
Ya,
man,
banyak yang teriak anjing.
the flash is just, even though they have the triple
Operator.
controller, it doesn't seem like it's
Absen, halo Altamis.
it's giving them any leeway.
Abu teriak
Yeah,
mulu.
not yet.
Pandalnya.
That's the thing. I mean, the smokes are still just smokes, and
Susah ini,
without the
sumpah susah
flashes-
maju ya, sumpah.
Dude, Qeon was just popping off in that
Soalnya yang
round.
bisa nge-clearin
Round
deket
five,
cuman
this
pakai
guy
ininya
has
doang
six
kan
kills
ya.
already as a
Ulti ya
controller.
Yoru,
Will is
kalau nggak drone Sova atau Recon, lu nggak ada itu mau.
Yes, this is
Ya,
what I was
majunya pakai badan
hoping
ngeceknya.
about, predicting. Paper X still wanting to get that quick contact, feeding all the orbs for something.
Aduh.
This is a pretty good idea, I'd still say, because if he does keep getting that dimensional drift of his, it does give them a lot more access.
Legend
into the
dobrak,
back of the
iya.
site, but of course they still have
Iya,
to deal
gimana ya?
with this close contact that Lakia is setting up on
Dia nggak
it.
bisa main yang kayak 5 man gitu menurut gua nggak bisa deh kayaknya. Paling kayak bunuh 1, bunuh 2, baru berlima. Bunuh 1, berlima.
And it's just a little bit tougher for Paper X to break through.
Rex doang anjing main 3 smoker.
So
anjing.
maybe trying to bait around it, trying
Udah gitu
to
duelisnya Yoru kan.
take Qeon
Harus
into a
memainkan
peak.
mid-nya nggak sih
Then
Jik,
you
ini?
also got to worry about texture in this op.
Harus dimainkan
This is
ini.
the problem about
Harus
having
ini,
Wall.
harus bunuh 1 masuk dah kayaknya kalau nggak bisa.
flush out these set angles that they just break that. Paper X break that themselves. Anyways, hold on. It's gonna be to on the side itself. It's Qeon and Texture on that contact. Forsaken pushes out, but Texture, he doesn't respect this wall. He just
Iko,
goes
Iko,
and
Iko,
swims
Iko
through
ini.
with the high tide, giving him a high
udah
time.
five.
And now it's only
Lumayan.
Mindfreak and Divide to
Satu
remain.
side ketahuan.
The pitch coming in from double door doesn't secure anything, so
30
that has
seconds
to be
left.
Divide just putting up the toxic screen, hoping that Mindfreak could deal with Texture. It's not going to happen. He only
Ding
has the
sih,
Sheriff in hand. 3 versus 1, 20 seconds. He's going to have to start pushing in, but because of how much
Udah
out
teriak
the open
duluan,
he is,
anjir.
he's going to be exposed to Meteor, and that's going to be the 4-1 for Gen.G.
Gue takutnya kayak Talon nih Ben kemarin. Tadi di apa ya, yang caster itu ngepicknya ada 7 kan ya. Yang megang Genji cuma 1. Sisanya PRX semua. Iya.
Wah.
Kemarin kayak Talon juga gitu kan ya.
Cara di belakang caster.
They are able to
Iya.
play these anti-flash positions on the A site, no matter what Paper X throws at them. The idea of
Jangan-jangan
going
ini
in front and
teori
execute like that off
bertemunya
of,
Paper
you know,
Rex,
something on the
Regum,
Yoru,
Qeon.
you've got
Emang
Monyet
Pep-
with the
emang sesuai
paranoia,
judul ini.
with the Omen,
Paper
and
Rex Regum Qeon bro ini.
landing as it needs to.
I usually talk about win conditions
Aduh.
and ideally what your
Aduh.
team would want to, you know, use in these situations to actually make it effective. We're already seeing.
Wah, ini di meja
Belum,
coach ini
belum.
2 lawan 1 ini. Gimana nih Ben? 2 lawan 1 ini.
Ini sebenarnya kamar gua udah sedikit geter ini, Jik.
Iya, kamar lu rame banget itu sekarang gue liat.
It's not
Udah
gonna
sedikit
always
getar
be
ini.
the back of the side unless again he has the invulnerability and the the scouting power of that dimensional drift. So what's
Gimana yang megang PRX masih pede kah bro?
Tiba-tiba
Genji sih 9%
kemarin
nih, dari 342 orang Genji 8%. 91% PRX.
Positions that's not really making Texture afraid of holding the spots and just, you know, using that tailwind to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, precisely, right? I mean, that's the other thing. It's just having those 3 smokes. 3
Masih pede kah lu pada?
Surely it can be used to, you know.
Oke, bagus kalau begitu.
block
3
off
ulti nih.
vision and maybe, you know,
3 ulti.
block off certain areas. Make sure the
Momen
Texture
TP
can't
di sini
really,
juga
you know, dominate
momen
the
TP di
map
sini
in
juga
his current
outplay sih
fashion.
harusnya.
So whatever it is, you know, that's kind of what the desk was talking about. Alex loves to call these timeouts. He knows when to pause the breaks.
Udah time out nih, dia mau main
right
di mana
now,
nih? Hall 1,
shall see
A3,
what
1
kind of
mid.
effect it has.
Well, Reckoning and Dimensional Drift is available for 2. Oh, I love this push from Texture. He almost finds something.
Gila agresif banget nih orang sumpah.
Something doesn't waste any time though. He does
Something
use his ultimate to start
farming
clearing
juga ya?
things up. Reckoning coming in from double doors, and he already finds one. Caron could be in a world of hurt. The flash is out,
Meteor,
but he's
though.
out of harm's way.
gitu
Back
mulu
to the
dia
side
tuh,
going to be Meteor, using the cyber cages to give him a bit of positioning here to roam around.
Okay.
Something quickly deals with him, but Caron finds Forsaken through the off-cam kill. Oh, big flash from Lakia. Oh, they didn't even expect it.
He
Stay
J
there.
crashed backwards. I feel like Lakia might have heard it. So now everyone's kind of split up. Device still up towards mid. It's a good bit of vision, but it's a 2-on-3 nonetheless.
Davai ketahuan nggak sih?
Ini orang.
He can't use
Ketahuan
the
harusnya ya?
hit.
Yeah, my
Dia belum
friend is
nge-wall
by
sih.
himself right now. I mean, there's even the smoke coming in from double doors. They have really segmented the 2 layers of Paper Rex. But the
Udah ketahuan semuanya infonya.
he's hoping to be the savior here. Mindfreak's been given up. Out the
Davai last man?
He's got
Masa kalah, nggak mungkin kalah bro, Davai last man.
and that's gonna give Paper Rex a round.
Making use of Mindfreak's position,
Davai
keeping
udah
Divide
pandal gitu,
hidden.
bro.
They were able to pick them off apart.
Iya.
You know, getting information as to where
Phantomnya
Texture was
hiatus.
positioned, as to where the rest of them were trying to approach from.
Apa karena
They
di
knew
breeze kali?
how to find those shots, and that's again
Iya
something
kali
that
ya.
Paper X
Karena
can
di breeze
always
kali.
do. But I think the crucial thing in that round was how something used that dimensional drift, how he pushed up all the way towards orange, towards bridge
Prediksi berapa
side,
kata
and
Sen?
from that point he was able to find that back flank on towards Meteor.
Gua.
So that broke apart.
Ronde masih nih.
A line of defense for Genji.
Kayak 21 sih kalau map
Gua
ini
tetep
mah.
21.
You know,
21
they spotted
harusnya.
Texture on mid, so the threat of the operator is way far if they actually just start, you know, hunkering their way onto the A site, which ultimately, as you mentioned, you know, with what you
Itu
said,
teori
works
trauma
in
dikasih.
the favor of Paper X on that push.
FBX.
That said, though, we still need a few more rounds. Both sides
Bahaya
have
emang, Breeze.
limits. And Meteor
Tapi
has
Breeze
been
juga kalah ya, Mas
such a
Arjuna ya?
menace. Now he's swapped up over back to B
Sumbek.
site. Paper X is trying to approach here.
He's already preparing himself.
Ya, ditembusin anjir.
Shot through the smoke. That's going to be the punish on Monyet.
Oh,
Waiting for the rest of
Monyet sih.
Paper X to come through that B
Sial
site.
banget itu.
There's so many tripwires here.
Mampus di-walkin lu.
Tricky, but something just slowly walks up. That's all you need, you know. Just keep it simple, keep it
Jangan,
safe.
jangan.
And that's the thing about New Breeze as well.
Ada
This
Asrawuti
backside
nih, nggak bisa main jauh lu.
balls, you are
Udah nih, Bang
able
Pur,
to
nyaman nih,
sneak
Bang
up
Pur.
on front like
Nah.
that. So now that the spike has gone
Gue
down,
menunggu nih main freak ulti.
Genji are sensing that they don't quite have the
Mana nih main
time
freak
to
ulti nih?
Nggak boleh gerak nih, Davai. Jangan lu gerak, Davai.
It's gonna be the first contact on this
Ngeribet
three
map anjing.
waterfall down mid. He's already been spotted.
Bang Pur. Oke, aman.
Santai, santai.
Oke, awalnya Bang Pur. Ayayay.
But man, he's got some options here. Time might not be one of them though, so he might have to
Buh,
save up and might
mantap,
through
bro.
the smoke or through the toxic.
AWP,
screen.
apakah diambil sama Sam?
Away. Something. Wanna
Enggak
pick it up?
nih kayaknya.
Enggak.
Wanna use it for attack?
Enggak kan?
Will not. I was talking about the operator.
Yeah, maybe no ops for now, but you can definitely feel
Bang
the
Pur
impact
getar
of
gitu.
Alex's timeouts already, right? Just
Yeah.
called from the previous round. Now they've won 2 in a row. And you can see the clear idea.
Wah, hujan lagi. Guys, suaranya bocor nggak? Kalau begini.
Something to really creep in
Bocor nggak, bro?
space and really block off and cause a lot of chaos.
Terus
for
banget
Genji's
lagi, anjir.
defenses. So, wow. Counter timeout being called now by Genji.
Bentar lagi bocor. Bentar lagi nih kayaknya.
Again, they're starting to lose grip from a 4-1 and already turns into a 4-3 very quickly to turn around for Paper Rex. Again, makes Genji quake in.
Serius, aman.
And this is where I think it makes a lot of sense to, again, just take a step back first because they were putting a lot of emphasis on using Texture as that big contact, but when he really can't find a contact, it feels like there's not a lot of options here for Gen.G to
Tapi masih aman kan suaranya kan?
try to do something else
Aman lah ya?
with that defense. Sure, you get the offhand kill from time to time as they start to creep up onto certain position, but Paper Rex
Bocor dikit nggak ngaruh, yoi. Bocor dikit nggak ngaruh ya.
so flexible at just getting those
Kalau misalkan
kills,
gua
even when it's a 4
kayak gini,
versus
kalau
5
gini bocor banget dan
to a
coba
side,
ya.
even if it can be like a 3 versus 5 because of how many smokes they can keep
Nih,
like
sekarang bocor banget nggak?
the sidelines of the players in Gen.G.
Yeah, that's right. Not just that.
Apa gimana?
Right? I mean, apart from blocking off sidelines, I love how they're using this third controller.
Banget ya?
As the Viper.
Kalau
It's
begini
more
banget
of a
ya?
sentinel. It's more of a lurker of all things. Because as soon as he deploys his toxic screen, he's like, I'm good. I can hang back towards mid. Can
Emang harus
get further
begini.
information. Try to cut off rotations as Gen.G tries to retake. And that is something that we've seen him do a couple rounds.
Nah,
He
ini baru
is
nih, aman
a
nih.
top fragger for Paper Rex.
Harus pakai noise suppression gua kalau lagi gini.
Pushes through that, you know, vulnerability as well as the decay makes challenges or
Sebenarnya itu berisiknya gara-gara ini. Airnya tuh kena carportnya, tau kan lu atas carportnya tuh.
now looking to go for that B site. They do have the shock darts, so they are breaking as much utility as they can. And of course, yep, I love this. When you use the
Wah,
decoy,
flashnya
and
pas
activate the
banget
trips,
itu.
at least you'll know where not to push. Meteor is doing his damnedest to just again
itu kalau
dodge
dapat dua
everything,
sih
but it's
juga.
not working. It's
Tadi
a
untung
lot
kena
of
flash loh
kills
itu si
already
Meteor ya.
positioned here
Iya.
for
Kalau nggak dapat
Paper
dua tuh.
Rex. Lost in the back of the side, Texture does make
Aman, aman,
that
aman,
wave
aman,
the battle
aman.
thing, but it's not going to work out and Devi finishes it
Gue
off.
liat-liat si monyet mulu yang bunuh si ini dah.
It is
Si
an
Texture.
execute round
Yang
after
bunuh
all,
Texture ya.
but what
Iya.
a bit of an execute. Paper Rex, you got the fake out, you got the smokes, and
suara
they know
gua
exactly how to
bocor nggak,
work
Ben?
against Meteor setup. And that's the
Apa,
main
ada
thing.
hujan?
They want
Iya,
to
hujan.
counter that Cypher pick.
Ada
They
apa?
want to figure out a way
Aman ya?
to
Bocor
go
ya?
through, and they've done it. Monyet can
Terus
always
tiba-tiba.
shrouded step over it. He is that secondary duelist. Something as the Yoru just cuts in space, he can break open those trips and create a bit of flashes for his team. And it just does so much. Sometimes Gen.G doesn't quite know how to react. So
Udah mulai dapat nih, udah mulai dapat nih. How to play Perex udah mulai dapat.
Texture is still committing on this operator of his.
Tangannya
Something
sih
one
gede
away
banget
from
juga,
the
tangan
dimensional.
si tekstur aja.
Imagine
Iya,
just
anjir.
like, as Texture.
Langsung
Seeing
lagi.
bosnya
that
yang
out of
mini
the
nih.
open, right? Anyways, he's
Masa
already
sih?
committed
Nggak
to
ada sih.
tailwind, so might as well over push just in case he can get that again, that one-off kill if ever. Seems like because they spotted again Texture on B or on A, excuse me, they're just gonna bring the whole enchilada.
Ayo
on
lo,
that B
di
side.
ulti terus
Why
lu.
not? We know we can avoid that op. We can just go straight for Meteor. We can go straight.
backside,
for
two backside.
Munchkin, Take
Aduh,
out those
salah
two,
itu
and then we
splash-nya,
have the
Bang.
site. Seekers were deployed by Lakia though, and he's already here to reinforce. Oh, something's trying to get that through.
Yeah.
Punya setting,
Two on
ting.
the interior of the site,
Halo,
excuse
emang
me.
something.
Cuek.
Monyet
Lihat,
trying to
kanan,
find
lihat. Oke.
somebody inside the smokes, and it is so confusing to be in all of that positioning.
habis.
Somehow,
Habis dulu ya.
it is Gen.G getting on top of things. Monyet, no ultimate for him, so he's stuck here
Ini sudah pasti
until
lama banget ya.
Devi comes in.
Gila,
So
ngelupas.
he is waiting for
Parah
his
bikin
teammate
orang beda sih kayak
to
gitu.
give that assistance. 40 seconds on the clock.
Ih,
This is a
gila.
first
Bos
move.
Lazion, terima kasih udah
They
perpanjang
still
member
have
queue ya,
that
Bos Lazion
to
ya.
block away that
Welcome back, bro, to
control
the
at
club.
back of the site.
Timingnya.
We already see Caroline getting closer. He might not be
Aduh.
spotted as well as Texture coming in from B main.
Aduh, please.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Majunya.
You gotta watch all exits, all entrances of this Viper's pit. Texture could be the linchpin for Gen.G.
As a shot
santai,
denied.
Dapai,
Masa kalah Dapai?
And look at this.
Wah,
Caroline
teriak
picks up the
duluan,
4K.
anjing.
Teriak,
Able to
curang cowok,
isolate,
curang ini kayak di
able to
Brazil anjing.
Speed off of the play, the Texture is giving
di
the
Brazil.
opportunity to retake the site.
Iya nggak sih?
secure the round
Kalau
once
bukan
again
tim
for
Korea yang
Gen.G.
ini nggak terlalu
Gen, right?
teriak
I mean,
semuanya
this
anjing.
guy, Karen picked off this. I don't want to say streets, but
Yang benar-benar rata tuh emang
coming
Jepang.
out from, like,
Jepang Ben ya?
almost nowhere, but proving himself
Jepang,
again and
ya.
again.
Tuh, udah
You talk
respect
about
tuh mau
firepower,
siapapun yang
Paper
bunuh.
Rex has a lot of it, but Gen.G in this new form has picked up some new guns, some new shooters, and they are definitely bringing the challenge.
Seru nih tapi nih.
Nontonnya harusnya
Again,
di delay nih.
Not having any form of extra information there for Paper Rex, they were just going blind into calls that they wanted to do. They even saved the operator here for
Yang lagi
Texture,
nonton
so
jangan
he's
lupa
got
di
a
like
chance
ya,
again
adik-adik masa masih
to find
100-an guys like ya.
not the player, but you know the opportunity.
Like nggak sih? Masa nggak di like
I'm
bro?
gonna have to find another other than something to do this.
Ayo lo.
Anyways, Paranoia is activated. Texture's blinded here. He's looking for a TP, but Locky is making some waves at the
Semoga
front of the
jadi
site
itu.
on Brick.
Mampus.
And fortunately, Texture's not gonna find the Paper Rex Yoru. That's gonna be a secure plant on the spike. Everyone else here for Gen.G looking for the lurk all
Ding,
the
ding,
way
ding.
through A main that
Oh.
is being handled
What?
by Mindfreak.
Still somehow Karen getting a tap onto something. That brings things back to a 3-on-3. Of course, Mindfreak wanting to play off the Hunter's Fury, but he knows that there's a potential play coming through.
MF.
Another one. Meteor gives himself a bit of space. Push left or right. What it's going to be? It's going to be the
Sekarang
right he
sekarang.
wins, but he's down to 5. Oh, this is going to be so bad.
Mampus.
Wih,
Difficulty there.
gila. ada hap-hapan guys sore dari Bos Lazion tuh, bilang makasih yang dapet ya. Jangan lupa di hap bro. Terima kasih ya Bos Lazion ya.
That's the main thing,
Gokil
right?
lagi
Because
ini nih.
that's how PaperX executes. I mean,
55 nih, sengit
Graham,
parah nih.
Helios will be smiling about that one. He's like, yeah, I remember there's PaperX back in the day. This is what they used to do. They orchestrate chaos. And that's exactly
Tapi
what
like
they
dulu
do.
nggak sih,
He got something
si Abu
fake crashing in. He's got the fake
ada
out. And
subsidi
it's so
member itu masa nggak di like ya si Abu ya? No, nongol semua lu, ada apa-apaan lu?
So many pieces of utility, not to mention Monyet, who kind of comes in
Aku
with a
dapat
shorty
hap,
inside the
si
smokes, and that's what he was known for back on Global Esports last year.
Having Lakia choosing whether he has to go for the gunfight or
Jangan lupa bilang terima kasih tuh ya ke Bos Lazion yang dapet ya.
Texture here makes it even additionally difficult.
Yeah, big.
Munchkin. He backs away. Look at how close something has already got on the top mid. TP's out. I like the use of the code just to break the tripwire.
Santai nggak sih? Santai nggak sih?
Forsaken. He's already decayed
Harusnya
down
ketahuan
to
rame
20.
nggak
My
sih?
goodness.
Yeah.
This man is walking on
Yeah,
the ice.
ketahuan.
It got a little bit risky because Genji are trying to get a good read on
Awas,
the game
kayaknya.
right now. They've got
Hmm.
these four players stacked up on B, so
Ding,
it's
ding,
able to
ding,
shoot through.
ding.
And with the space now, Lakia
Untung
pushed
aja
up.
gak
Untung kena badan ya.
Not quite able to capitalize.
Mampus dijagain sama Dapa sampai besok anjing.
Of the PaperX players all around the map sprinkled just to get
Bro,
those
lurk aja.
lurk
Ini bisa ke B
kills.
lagi nih.
It's actually working for them, especially
Harusnya.
that Genji is on this weaker buy. Feels like Genji is just
Oh, nggak kain.
Penting udah
to
ulti
try
lagi
to
nih, Ji.
get control elsewhere, but PaperX, it's a lure into their trap, man. They're
Masa
just saying, sure,
ting,
thank you
ting, ting
very much.
pala.
Texture though, this is the perfect chance for him to get
Nggak,
some
nggak ada,
kind of
nggak ada.
information, some kind of impact.
You wanted to say something, didn't
Emen
you?
bang.
I stopped myself mid-sentence already, alright?
Lagi
You
bos,
didn't have to
ye
put that
nagih si
through
Abu
it.
like dulu bro kalau mau apa-apa nih.
It's just the name.
I can already feel the
Sorry
chat,
ya, like
you know.
dulu bro kalau
This
mau.
caster, like this,
Nah.
no vocabulary. Use a thesaurus. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it's not easy. You think you
Sorry.
could do
Lagi
it?
lu gue liat ya.
All right, Karon's alone. I mean, he's gonna probably just wait till this event horizon engulfs him. Oh wow, he even finds Monyet.
Oh my
Aduh.
God. That
Mas
would be
Abu,
great
Mas
to get
Abu.
more or pick up a rifle at the very
Kasian
least.
kalau nggak ada
Get
Bos
Alex
Lazion si Abu.
full jump peeking out, but up against of course, it's gonna be the tap that finishes him off. I mean, in this round, again, it's just kind of what we saw in the first, right? You know,
Yeah.
PaperX, they can play around the entire map thanks to the utility of something's Yoru. I mean, gate crashing back and forth.
Si Mas
They
Abu.
can rotate so easily. Sometimes Genji has to catch up to it.
Dari play si
Good spin
Karon kan.
catch from something in the rest of the team. As I mentioned,
Kasian.
just playing the opposition lurks, playing with Genji.
Something tapi lagi
And one
ini
more
banget
round.
Ben sekarang ya.
It is
Apa?
pretty close though.
Lagi apa?
Genji's
Nembaknya kayak nyantai banget ya, jarang kayak belum transfer spray gitu nih.
Oh iya, belum.
Apa emang begitu dia sekarang, lebih nyantai kali ya?
Gua belum
Wah,
nonton
ini
dia.
nggak ketahuan.
They're not gonna know about it, but he whips. Thankfully enough, he has
Nge-whip
Lakia
itu.
right beside him to help him out. PaperX
Oke,
dwindling
Odon.
in. No.
Anjing.
Odon gaming bro.
Odin.
Oh,
He brings it right back. 3 versus 3. Plenty of walls.
Yeah.
They calm themselves down to plant the spike even. Not gonna happen just yet. Monyet
Oke,
has
Monyet ini.
control of the back of the site here. Ultimate activated right now by Mind Freak. Big
Freak
flags
masa nggak
coming
dapet
in from
satu?
Munchkin. So the time for Monyet to make something
Aduh,
happen
masuk
is
smoke dia.
very minuscule here.
One flank, one tunnel.
Cameron
Clutch ini.
King
now
Munchkin
backing
ini
himself
bro.
away, gonna double up with his
Hati-hati.
teammate.
Yo,
This
satu
is the
clutch ini.
perfect
Anjing.
time for them to try
Dapat
work
spike
the
nih soalnya.
match against the one.
What?
What is this TP? Did he try to pick up a spike? No, he's just trying to reposition for the fight. Very good.
Wah,
but it's
gila
not
sih
gonna
mau
work out.
outplay dia.
Nice try. But Munchkin just turns
Itu kalau
around and
dapat
says,
satu
"Dude,
menang sih,
you
sumpah itu."
You
Dari
thought
sono.
you could pull off that play.
Gelo si Monyet.
Gila
How
Monyet
many
sih.
flags did we see in that round? I mean,
Keren
first
sih, dia
of
cepet
all,
banget
we
anjing
had,
mikirnya,
Mind
kayak gitu.
Freak holding the angle with the Odin from window, but then afterwards, Munchkin coming back again from the same spot that Texture and Lakia approached from. I mean, it's just so confusing that PaperX, they're
Gimana guys? Ini match seru anjing.
You can see
Match
that
seru,
what
bro.
they wanted to do throughout this entire map.
Gila, ini match pertama nih, begini nih.
They're going for executes off of Monyet and something.
Ini dia nih yang orang-orang suka dari PRX anjing. Beda, dia dari tim-tim lain anjing, nggak ada tim lain pakai 3 smoker. Selama VCT gue nggak pernah lihat. Apa ada? Lu pada pernah lihat nggak? Lihat nggak sih 3 smoker, gue nggak pernah dah. BX pernah ya dulu ya?
You got Viper, that's great, but no traps,
Apa?
no info.
EG apa Fnatic ya?
And
Yang
again,
di
it
buy
takes
ya?
them a lot of time to just fiddle with their abilities, right? To throw it into a site. You already see how quickly, and you were mentioning this, like, again, Texture is just
Laut Bain ya? Pernah deh yang di Bain tuh laut. Iya deh.
Much of a risk taker that he is willing to see the limits or see the chinks in the
Bain,
armor
ya.
of the Paper Rex setup. But now as we are flipping the sides here, the question comes into play. What is Paper Rex gonna do on that defending side? Are they gonna do something?
Katanya Alex 2 kali scrim lawan Genji kalah terus Perex emang ya? Jago sih, Genji yang sekarang sumpah jago ini.
Anchor the site, or as you were talking about, are they gonna fall back with the Vi?
Anaknya suka beda sendiri. Dia tuh punya meta sendiri, bro.
That's the craziest thing. I mean,
Dia punya meta
the
sendiri,
WB
jadi
squad, we expect them to push out. Now they got
tapi metanya dia tuh
controllers, and Devi's the one
hitungannya kayak
to
gambling, tau gak sih lu?
So, very
Jadi mau
curious to
diikutin
see
tim
how
lain
they
juga.
play out. I mean, you don't want to
Tim lain belum
dive
tentu bisa anjing
on
ngikutin kayak
as a
gini.
Viper either, right? Because then you can't really use
Gak bakal ada yang bisa sih
abilities.
ngikutin main kayak gini, Cok.
So, Paper Rex has to be a little bit careful, a little bit mindful about how they want to push out if that is their game plan.
Speaking of pushing out, there's like 3 players of Paper Rex about to have the welcome party
Lihat nih,
outside
Paul.
A main.
Genji vol 3.
Smoke quickly placed
Ini
there as well
diambil mid
as
1,
the
B1, B tarik.
Cascade. Shock darts from Mind Freak to dissuade anybody pushing up onto the Hall's position.
Split A dia ya.
The swing outs from Paper Rex, like I mentioned, because they don't have that sentinel,
Awas.
they just have to start peeking and pushing
Itu sekarang.
as well as just getting that contact.
Okay.
Shots through the smoke, able to get Lakia, the push out from Texture,
Wih,
and he
anjing,
finds
masih
something.
Darah 25 dapat 2 apa sih?
Down to 25, but his lethality is still
Dia
very
jalan
much
bisa
felt.
lurus, Cok.
Maksud bro,
The settling.
maksudnya apa di
Numbers
tekstur
favoring
25 kill 2?
Genji, yet as well as Devi. Devi is already coming in for the flank here, and Texture, he's very much unaware of it.
He is holding a bit of an off angle though, so Devi can't really just waltz right through that
Ya Allah.
door.
On mid
Tipir
though,
gaun.
that's going to be Monyet by
Satu lagi
himself.
Nyet.
Does have the paranoia. I'm not sure if he actually spotted the
Ya
other
Allah,
one.
dapat
Masa
3,
dapat
Jik.
4?
Texture. Oh, that door
Masa 4
closes.
sih?
The opportunity for Devi.
Tapi Davi last man hatuit nih, mati nih, hatuit.
Dude had
Udah ada
the
info
so
nih harusnya.
close
He
yet
opened
so
the door
far
again.
away
He opened
situation.
the door again.
Okay, so his positioning is already given. He's pushing out, jumping through the smoke
That's fine.
smartly to
30
try to
seconds left.
get a
Oh,
coax out of
Texture.
everybody. And this is
Abe,
the thing,
anjing.
every single opponent of the Vi right now is low. So his Sheriff has
Oh,
a lot
enggak.
of lethality on it.
Just one shot to the body.
Feeling gak sih di sini?
But
Gak
look
bakal
at
feeling
position.
tekstur di sini dah.
He's so unaware. And you can see that with how he's moving up here, that he wants to get close
Texture
against
sabar
Qeon,
banget,
but
anjing.
Main
he's so
sabar lagi
afraid
dia,
of
anjir.
where Texture
Main
actually might be,
gunting-guntingan ini.
even thinking it could be mid.
I mean, he's got a bit of time, but Texture is the main one to look out for right now.
Did they just
Ih,
barely miss each other? Look
timingnya
at Devi.
Jik, ya Allah.
I think he heard the drop down too. Texture's about
Okay.
to just peek out. The Devi, can he
Baik.
be?
Gila, Davi last man bro, selalu menang anjing.
Cool, calm, collected. My man is
Udah
sih,
patient
Davi.
as can be.
What is
Gak ada Raja Terakhir Scary, gak ada, Davi
He's
adanya ya.
got the word danger written all
Davi,
over
bro.
it, and he just clutches it out for the team. I mean, apart from being, keeping his composure, just knowing, okay, I have a rough idea of where Texture is. As long as I keep my sights right up around door, I should be okay. But the main thing is also
Jay, Perex.
knowing that Karen's
Mana
right
tuh?
around the corner, and he is able to
Nomor di mana itu tadi,
forth
Bang?
now, catching
Kantor.
up to Texture in terms of kills.
Kantor gak sih itu, Bang?
Kantor ya?
He completely
Apa yang
turned
di ini?
around
Yang di
double
Jakarta?
gaming. It turned into an M.
Gak tau deh, bukan sih, tapi dari muka-muka orangnya sih
Like
bukan Jakarta.
Mario,
Apa
Wario,
RRQ yang di Jakarta doang?
What am I?
Tahu ada gitu Perex yang nomor Jakarta.
But I mean, dude is... I used the term yesterday, I think. Zen.
Perex juga
Very
ada
zen
tuh
with
kan,
how he
bener kan?
approaches these fights. He's
Gue
not
lupa tempatnya di
Gila.
mana.
impatient like
Flash,
he has a lot of time.
mau
to
kemana
make
lu,
use
bro?
of.
Buta lu,
Anyways,
buta lu.
big contact coming in from this one. Couple of marshals activated.
Something-
What a risk from Monyet just to
Udah
peek that
ke BN.
out. Forsaken though, dipping his toes as well
Langsung cabut
into
dia ke
the
B.
swing game outside of A main. Oh, it's Monyet, I love this. And he actually
Oh,
kills with Forsaken
dapet.
drops. This could be bad.
Kan nyusulnya,
Fury
jangan nyet.
challenges this once again.
Jangan,
He's
jangan.
the only one holding the site for the moment here. And he has to back away, wait for the reinforcements as Mind Freak and Devi are slowly creeping up back onto A.
Trades the outlaw for Bulldog too, just wants
Ngeri
additional
bener.
firepower. We've got a little bit of support from Mind Freak coming through halls just to check. But he's got to be so careful. I mean, Genji are
Top.
bunched up together. It's a full squad of
sniper dah.
classics and marshals. He hears the jump.
Karenanya.
That's the first shot.
Oh, he gets away too. So no trade here for Meteor. Throws out the recon dart for a bit of that
Sabar.
safety. And he's home safe.
Ivan,
Wait, no.
711, welcome ya Ivan ya,
Genji
thank you
really
udah
just
join
wants
member
to
bro.
wait for more picks.
BTW yang lagi nonton jangan lupa
Maybe
di
try to
subscribe,
stop
yang
the
baru join ya,
advantage
yang lagi
breaking
nonton
through.
jangan lupa di
But
like
at this
juga
point, only
channelnya
30
adik-adik.
seconds left. They have to hightail it to B.
Ish,
And
ish,
as long as
ish.
Meteor can do the same thing that he's doing right now, Genji might have a better time in this
Masa?
round.
Oh my goodness,
What?
Mind Freak couldn't really do anything. And the rest
Pakai
of
hal nih bro,
Gen G
begini
gonna be
Meteor
walking
nih.
up to
Hah?
10
me.
seconds.
Pakai Marshall digitu-gituin
All of a
anjing.
sudden, he's got a
Ting,
Guardian. The aim god.
Eh.
Okay, good at the first.
Oke,
Ooh,
ting, ting.
second
Satu lagi, ting.
one instantaneously, but and HP and bullets and everything. And it's down once again to Monyet. Oh, his
Aduh, kena
attacking
satu
was
hit lagi,
somehow
anjing.
Just low,
Udah
both of these
ngumpet ini
players
sampai
are.
besok. Anjing.
I mean, even if Meteor drops down,
Aduh.
you can already see Qeon waiting patiently.
Ah, udah
with the
teriak,
back.
anjing.
Finds Monyet trying to reposition, and Gen G
Sebal.
somehow makes the thrifty
Kesel juga
round
dengarnya udah teriak
I'll tell
duluan
you
anjing.
somehow, it was Meteor. All it took was a Marshall, and this
Kutukan
guy's
round
still
dua.
as lethal as he was last year. Maybe not on the Jet anymore, but as
Round
soon as he
dua ya?
pushes up halls, look at these picks that
Pada
he's getting.
jago-jago lagi Marshall-nya
It might
anjing.
not always be headshots,
Asli.
but just because he plays around the space that way, plays around the obstacles, he keeps himself tucked away, and he's always able to chip away at Paper X bit by bit. That's, you know, something had some nice Guardian kills that was really
Bang Por.
flashy, really fun to watch. But it's not clean enough for an anti-eco round that Paper X was meant to win.
Absolutely. I mean, it just also felt like Paper X was agreeing to the aim duel, and Gen G was coaxing him to do that. There was
You want an aim duel.
exactly lesser risk for Gen G to do that because they were just on Marshalls, man. They weren't even committing to purchase this, and first thing
Mantap Bang Por.
was
Dapat
that.
satu.
Oke sih.
Actually gets
Plastik dapat satu
through
udah oke sih.
The defense, the line of sight, doesn't even have to trigger the trap here, and does
Masa dibalas lagi? Thrifty dibalas Thrifty nggak sih?
I mean, I don't know how impactful that is going
Kena
to be.
Thrifty bukan
but
Perez namanya.
Still going
Bener
to
sih.
show how both teams very much willing to take those off-angle risks to try to get something.
Both of them are in the fight very much so. 7-7 right now, and that's the main thing. You definitely can't underestimate Paper X too much, and I think that's why Gen G are taking things really slow right now. You know, maybe
Tapi ini
trying to
Karon
suss
Genji
out
player baru gak sih?
information, but
Apa gimana guys?
we don't have that much in terms of gathering.
Kalau Meteor
right? You
Manchin
gotta think
Lakia
about
tekstur
Lakia's
tahu
guy
gua.
and
Kalau
light
Karon nih
usage.
gua kayak baru ngeliat.
So maybe just executing onto A right now, and it depends on how
Dicek
well
nggak nih?
Paper X can hold their
nge-lag
ground.
ya.
What a far smoke from Monyet too.
Wah, nice timing
He
banget.
gifted himself a bulldog, and no one's there to trade it for Gen G. So they get themselves some control, but Qeon and Munchkin making quick work of that A site.
Rata tiba-tiba bro,
Gen G find
baru ngedip.
themselves the advantage.
Baru ngedip.
1 point in the lead. It was against pistols, but you gotta admire
Ben ini
how
si
they,
Karon
went in
orang lama
silence.
apa gimana Ben?
Made sure that they were
Oh, baru ya?
going
Pantes
to
gua
pre-fire some of
baru
these
lihat namanya.
corners.
Dari
They
tim mana dia?
checked some of it. Although Meteor did die, it was a bit of
Gatal gua
information
Karon
that they
lupa.
could use to go up against.
Belumnya di Wonosobo
freeing
boys
up around
bacot.
halls. And relatively clean round for Gen G, and that's what you
Nggak
would
ada.
have wanted
Wonosobo
for
boys
Paper
banyak
X.
Korea.
lagi deh.
So, on to the next. Now, Texture's got enough for the Blade Storm. Doesn't need to buy up. Gen G's economy starting to flow, Asarai.
Absolutely. They even have themselves Charon's Cosmic Divide.
Oh,
Monyet finding Meteor through the
Nice
push
one.
in A
A4,
main. This is
A4,
what they want.
gas.
They want to stop
Kalau mau ngadu sini gas, A4 nih. Gas, lagi masuk.
Gen
Anjing.
G just have to rub their
Lawlessin
eyes
dulu.
and wait for the blindness
A-nya lagi
to
4.
Biar panik.
dissipate.
Hati-hati
And as it
King
does,
Munchkin, tapi lagi bau
Munchkin's
mampus.
by himself, Forsaken devours, and that's going to be a flawless round for Paper X.
Munchkin kurang menyala
that's
nih.
another one of those things again, because
Dari
when you
kemarin
think
sih
about
masih
Paper X,
belum.
every single one of these guys have the potential to frag
Cuma
out.
tekstur Meteor sih dari kemarin deh.
And Monyet is
Kemarin Meteor
single-handedly
Lakia.
taking duels outside
Meteor
of,
Lakia, ya,
you know,
tekstur gak usah
A-main.
dianggap
He's
lah.
got support from the team. You've
Main
got
sendiri itu.
Forsaken
Iya
watching
main
mid.
sendiri anjing.
And it's just that much more difficult for Gen G to really pull off some of these like split
Oh,
pushes
ngebing
that they
Monyet,
want to go
anjir.
for. So they have to really rethink the strategies. You know, if this carries on, I could foresee a timeout being called by
Nah kedip
Solo.
balik. Iya, A-nya lagi 4, pas banget itu.
Both teams have actually used their first timeouts as well in that
That's
first
right.
half.
Nah, ini baru W nih,
Feels like
Dik.
they have better grasp
Ayo,
of what is
smoke-nya pusing.
happening right now.
Apa coba maksudnya itu?
Again, it just goes to show how even it is, that 8 to 8.
Gak jelas sih semua komen di situ.
Ya kan?
Oke, coba maksudnya.
Si Karon juga nggak smoke
How
jelas juga
risky it
tadi
is
jadinya.
too. A stray
Iya.
pop shot, that smoke going.
Naik ke atas.
Pop shot. He's
Lu
actually
gelo,
getting
Ting.
tagged. He might want to
Anjing,
get
mau ngumpet,
away
Jik.
right now.
Wah,
But he did give
Gelo,
away his
yes, kayak
teleport
apa nih,
on.
guys?
He does have the dimensional drift, so he can get away from this.
Pos
without
masa
having
depan,
to use
anjing
that
ini.
gate crash, or because he's in such an off
Pos masa depan, bro.
Yoru, he can just do whatever he wants.
Ya.
Yeah, he's gonna
Pick
kick
dia,
those
bro.
out now. Definitely doing what he
Apa-apa
wants.
ya?
I mean, just getting enough information, or maybe pulling the attention away from Gen G as they start to
Jadi
go
sapam
back
komplek,
towards
coy.
mid. Now the high tide invested. A little bit awkward though with
Balik
the
lagi.
curve. So Texture has actually
Balik
gone to the other side.
Dikit, ya
Still doing
ketahuan atau
this.
Ting.
Something. Yikes.
Biasa, namanya juga something.
You know, shame on me. And then shame
Bang,
on him.
por
He
ikutan.
does that
Jason.
again. The wall's dropping down.
Oke, dua big.
How?
Itu nggak bakal
He
expect
used
anjing
his
ini maju ke situ lagi,
teammate
sumpah.
as the great bait mate. They thought they wouldn't double up, but he did. He does get some value. 30 seconds left, and Gen G lose all control of that mid push, but they wait to use that neural tap for that information.
Asteroid, we are fishing out here.
Konyol banget, emang konyol sih. Ini kalau dilihat orang-orang CS ya, ngapain pecah kayak gitu? Kalau orang-orang CS tuh, ngapain lu maju lagi ke sono? Tapi ini PRX bro.
Wow.
Sendiri apa sampai
He just
itu
has to
dia.
wait for the peek into
Aman.
his crosshair, and Device single-handedly
Musuhnya nyamperin
holding
crosshair.
this. Can he beat down Meteor? No.
Masa?
But because
Masa
of the
sih?
recon dart, he's
Udah
giving
lah.
away his position. Meteor is just having to hold
Hey,
so many
hey.
angles. The shot dart. My
Mampus,
freak, what
masuk
are you
dart.
doing? Have you lost your mind? Are you a freak? Well, he could definitely be. Paranoia misses Meteor, but know exactly where he is.
Oh my
Down
God.
14.
Nyet.
3 bullets in a dream.
Nyet, awas
And
dikit
is
nyet
this
dari
dream gonna
PRX.
turn into reality?
Nyet.
As
Aman,
Monyet
aman.
denies. Comes up, man,
Kalau
swings,
kalah sih
and does not miss.
bahaya
He's
itu.
slow. All he's got to do is to go in for that burst. So very
Turun lagi biar
confident.
miskin.
Cool enough. He might be the youngest player, but still has enough experience, and that's one of the things that people don't really know.
19,
Might have been a global
14.
esports last year, but he has been playing throughout Indonesian Valorant for quite a while, and he's always
Wah,
been this
itu sih
talented.
kalau Phantom
And apart
dapet
from that,
3 deh.
also just Defy. We were talking about fishing a little bit. Remember Mika and Victoria were telling us about this.
Bahaya karir monyet Kabang.
Fishes in real life.
Lumayan.
He is
Kalau turnamen
patient.
ini dia
And
nggak
he
menunjukkan
knows
performa
he turns
terbaiknya,
that
ya
situation into
bahaya.
a 2-on-1
Kalau hening
for his
berarti
team.
PRX menang.
He knows that sometimes all he has to do
Jing masih bisa
is,
balik, bro.
Again, not do anything. That's already a lot because the stress on Gen G makes them try to peek out, makes them want to get as
Tapi
much
menurut kalian kalau
information
Jing udah kelar
as they
wamil
possibly
nanti
can.
bakal balik to
Something-
PRX gak guys? Apa gimana?
He's already nursing himself an operator all
Kalau menurut gue kayak bakal sih.
above here.
Dia bakal selalu
on
ada
halls,
dikasih
and
slot
I
sih di
really
PRX.
like this because he gets so much information, so much value.
Antara monyet tadi ke orang ke-6
Game
apa
Crush is about to
ganti-gantian
expire,
gue
but
gak tahu
it
sih.
shouldn't matter at the moment as Gen G coming out of elbow.
Yeah, he can always just regroup with his team and other means.
aduh.
Main thing though is for Divide to stay alive right now.
Alah,
Well, he
alah.
can, especially because of those flashes. But the punishes from the Reckoning as well as the Hunter's Fury.
Mati gak sih?
Don't have the
Mampus.
value,
Iya, kena
something
setun.
just jumping in and out with the shorty.
Oke, lagi-lagi main
Numbers
quick
still
dan monyet.
favoring Gen
Sini
G.
bro, double M, double M.
Hold now on the site. What's the damage here? What's the
Oke, smoke RM.
capabilities?
Alah.
Regum
Waktunya nggak sih? Nyet, waktunya nyet.
But he's alone. They haven't picked up the spike.
Waktunya masuk
Can
clip.
reposition into this, and he's got everything. Shrouded Step, Paranoia, and there is Smoke. Genji realizes, wants to actually double up. They want to use the numbers in their favor. Monyet. Did he hit all of them? He did! He repositions! My god, Monyet!
Satu peluru.
He's down to one bullet. He has to change. Either reload or change, which he does.
Ya udah teriak anjing. Teriak anjing.
Perseveres.
Curang
and
anjing
wins.
mainnya.
Oh boy. That was close for both.
Sering lah diem-diem baik koi. Gua kan turnamen ikutan main. Masa gua caster juga? Mabuk banget gua, jangan nggak sih? Main aja gua jangan caster juga. Masa mau double ya?
Somethingnya kena setun
Sometimes
aja.
numbers advantage will still prevail, and that's
Aduh
why
ente banget monyet cok.
it gets so dicey when you're going for these
Ya ada tuh pro
short
player
kills.
bisa
The
nge-caster
Reckoning
juga
the
nanti.
Hunter was
Double
awesome,
job anjing sekali ikutan
but
turnamen
not
ya.
the cleanest, fight back against it.
Muka lu bikin gua kesel. Muka lu bikin warga kesel anjing. Muka lu.
Alex calls a timeout, and that's something that we often forget. It's like it's not just a battle of the teams and players; it's also a battle of the coaches. And Alex was talking about it. Solo back in the days, he looks up to him, and he's communicating with his team as well.
It feels like the plan for Paper X for the past couple of rounds right
Belum
now.
ngerokok nih hari ini nih anjing, rokok gua habis sih tadi. Bangsat. Nggak ngerokok gua hari ini jadinya.
Again, it's resulted in
99 ini sengit banget ya.
riskier
Harus digebrak dulu nggak sih mejanya sama Alex kali?
pan
Biar
out as
biar
much
biar
for
asik
Paper
anjing.
X. Something like again, something that plays with an operator, just gets close in with the shorty. Can't really.
Jadi nggak lancar nih ngomongnya kalau belum ngerokok anjing. Nih gua ada rokok. Aduh kagak dah, kalau rokok lu kagak ada gua.
Clutch situations with Paper X, from the looks of things, don't really want to always put themselves on.
Beda rokok lu soalnya.
So you always gotta be careful. But what
Beli
is
dulu nggak sih?
this
Nggak apa-apa lah.
outlaw martial buy?
Sehat nge-vape.
I mean,
I don't hate
there's
it.
like 3 players of Gen G that is half shield right now, so
I don't hate it.
yeah. And plus, FYI for people, if you only shoot 1 bullet at the outlaw and reload it, it's faster than you know, the full reload. So
I don't hate it, but I'm nervous, Astray.
Bang
Oh,
Por,
maju.
dapat satu.
okay,
Kabur Bang Por.
Oh, that's not even it
Aduh.
backing away. That's a trade
Gila sih.
by Meteor, punished by Meteor.
Dia nggak beli armor band ya? Per second nih tadi ya?
Peekaboo, I see
Udah
you.
out doang.
Full map
Kan half
exposed.
buy.
just
Apa
trying
ya?
to get
Tapi iya sih
out
kalau
of,
dapat dia bisa
get
dapat
as much out of
berapa?
Gen G as possible in this round, right? If any round is the round that we want to bait out
dua
those
orang
ultimates,
kena tuh.
bait out those pieces of utility, that's gonna be this one.
Monjet, oke, cakep Monjet.
Monjet.
One more. Punya
Got the
flash
Marshall
Monjet.
in hand, shooting through the smoke blindly.
Wah, lagi
Meteor
loncat
comes
bete,
in for the
benar.
pitch. He will get diced.
Aduh.
Mindfreak looking a little bit
Masa
too far away.
ace bro.
That's gonna leave
Wah.
Ilya
Anjing nih Meteor
by
nih
himself. I was about to say
jijik.
the vibe, and then
Double ace kan satu match.
Jojong, jojeng.
Oh, he does not get a
Ace.
shot onto Meteor as well, and he's
Bunuh ting, jangan kasih.
Gets the heal. This might actually
Counter ace ting.
have to be a save from him.
Trapping deh Bang.
Just backs away. Wait.
TP nih percaya nggak lu?
Gate
TP
crash
nih.
all the way at the end of halls.
TP nih.
TP
Is
lucu
he
sih.
willing? No, probably
I
not.
think, yeah,
Gak enak
I think
nge-vape
it
ya
ran
sih.
out. It's probably
Ngopi
opting
nge-vape
for
tuh
a
enak
save
aja.
instead
Kurang.
at this point, but still, I mean,
Itu biasanya pasti sebelum streaming tuh gue ngopi
Definitely
bentar
get
sama
an
sebat
idea.
2 batang lah
Yeah.
biasanya lah. Tapi tadi
so
karena nggak ada
scouting out, you
rokok
know,
ya udah
what
langsung
Gen
aja gue
G's
streaming.
early game plan is, right? At least in the first 30 seconds. Sometimes, you know, they're up around elbow, up around mid. And this time you could definitely feel that A presence, and just not too sure how PaperX can really disrupt that. You know, we were talking about it before. That's why you have to Yoru, right? You always want to push up front. You always want to scout and then gate crash back.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, sometimes just a little bit
Bakal lu apa?
risky.
Signature
The
meal
problem
bro.
for that is because you only have technically the one duelist that we can reposition. I mean, you can maybe argue that Monyet can also do it as the Omen here. There's not really a lot of options for
Pada kacamata
PaperX to
semua ya rata-rata ya.
get out of harm's way without getting punished, even with the smokes, right? So we're kind of seeing the other way of that, which is getting punished by Genji and ultimately giving rounds to Genji.
Anjing 5 man A nih.
Okay.
5 man A sih kayak bisa
Seeker's been activated.
bisa ditampung apa.
Forsaken's just charging right in. Divide? Is he even get spotted? No, he doesn't even have
Mati
to look
lu.
at his opponents. Cool guys, don't look at snake bite kills. It's not even
Nggak
an
bisa lu.
explosion, guys.
kita lihat,
It's
Zik.
a slow burn.
Ada
a
satu
slow,
phantom dari
painful
PaperX,
poison
you
burn.
know.
Cosmic Divide used.
Udah
on
make
the
Phantom dia
A side
buat
itself,
CT nih.
Cove,
Pakai Phantom ini.
making Genji just a tad bit afraid.
Bang,
That is a
bukan
drop.
goblok,
Now
signature
we know
menjalan biru
that he
muda,
should
anjing nggak ada
have
pulih
the
pakai itu.
Viper's
Pulih
Pit
mah filter
to make
rokoknya.
things a little bit easier as they transition, into this post.
Emang ada yang
And that's it, an
Ini,
uphill battle for
signature biru
PaperX,
muda.
right? They might be able to surround this Viper's Pit. There is a trip on the
Yo,
other
gila
side.
ya.
Meteor can make use of it.
Dava ini dapat 2 nih
And
nanti.
you still got to watch out for those players up inside A main. How do you break this?
Monyet, though, he's
Okay.
vertical, dude.
Keluar.
He's got the high ground advantage, and he is
What the fuck,
using
Meteor?
that to actually
What doing, bro?
open up. Viper's Pit, use the snake bite to get a little bit of damage. No one's
Oh!
feeling it. And Munchkin through the smoke. Oh, this is going horribly wrong for PaperX.
Aduh.
Someone's gonna have to start the
Waduh,
someone's
ini
gonna
mah.
have to hold him. Munchkin, what can
Nice!
you do?
Ah, nggak dapat.
Absolutely
Anjing.
everything, as he actually has bought enough time. They die to the event horizon, and that's gonna
Ente
be
besar itu, ente
Dua
besar
orang
itu.
itu sekarat banget itu ya.
advantage, close
Iya
enough
anjir.
Dalam
to
ulti.
maybe
Dikeluarin
the
3.
map point already in this game.
Sedari.
Padahal meteornya
Incredible.
udah keluar
I mean,
dari
the
itu, udah jelek
combination
itu
of,
dia.
First of all, the Cosmic Divide to give them that much more space, that much more security,
Keluar dari ulti,
and then the
Meteor
Viper's
Perception
Pit,
tadi kan.
and how Munchkin is playing off of it. This is what Genji can do
Tutupan sih Dapa
off
itu.
of a post plant, and it's just that much more difficult. PaperX, although we had Monyet, kind of like you mentioned, Asarai, with the vertical play, trying to break through that Viper's Pit, trying to break through Meteor. It worked out for just a second, and
Something
that's
OP
why
udah nih,
so
game changer
much
harusnya
that
nih.
PaperX has to work off, and now it's a 2
Ini ronde penentuan nih guys.
How do you climb up against that? And
Antara
they
game
have to make
changer
it
PRX
happen
ngebalap,
if they
kalau nggak kalah
are
udah.
strong in VCT Pacific kickoffs this year.
Well, thankfully enough, they do have money, creds, to
Harusnya ya.
have the weaponry to make something happen.
Game changer ini
I
harusnya nih.
will honestly try to find a different
Genji
way
soalnya
other
kalau
than
ronde-
something. If you guys
Genji
can
masih
just,
bisa beli.
DM me,
Tapi PRX kalau
a
ronde ini
different
udah
word I can
bangkrut parah
use
itu.
So that you guys will not be confused. Anyways, the man himself, Ilya, is there
Sabar banget lagi
on
mainnya.
elbow.
11
Nursing himself the
kematian.
operator once again. He is just holding that angle for the absolute longest time. He is hoping that someone is just going to go into his spider's web, but unfortunately for the moment, Gen G, they have their eyes set up here on that A site, and it could actually be good. Monyet's cold in for that one-way smoke that actually drops in and turns into a regular smoke.
Wah, diomelin
Has a
sih itu.
partial outside of A main that could actually be bad for Devi. We'll have to see how that works out, and he is trying to clear that with all intentions by himself.
Please dapat 2 minimal.
So alone. Oh, he is so dead. Oh, this is not looking too good for Paper Rex. Forsaken.
Not good ini bro.
Same thing. No flashes.
Okay,
and he absorbs his opponent right in front of him. Gets full flash, but the trades.
3 lawan 2.
Paper Rex are
3 lawan
actually
Manfred dapat 2 anjing.
shot through mid. Oh,
Okay.
something gets it. He even
Anjir,
finds
tuh
the
dapat
lurking
dart tuh 2 biji.
meteor.
Iya,
And all of
Manfred
this
anjing.
because of the shock darts coming in from
Gak kayak
Manfred.
expect.
Nyet.
Will plant the spike. Monyet does not chase for him or tries to punish him. So it's the double up from the both of them. Something coming in for the white,
Okay.
and he's had enough.
Ngeri anjing.
Something getting the final kill. Mind Freak.
Ngeri ya.
You know, there's something getting kills. We've seen that before. Mind Freak with 2 shock dart kills.
Serem
Not
anjing
something
tadi.
you see every
Big
day,
gitu,
but
big
it
from
will
Mind Freak,
come
bro,
sight
itu.
nonetheless. I mean, just
Parah.
getting the information off of Devi, trying to play around.
Ngeri juga Mind Freak.
Monyet's dark
Shock dart
cover.
ya.
That one felt really iffy. But look at how Forsaken really comes back in, and after they get that information, just being able to, you know, put out the
Gila,
entire
Mind
treasure.
Freak.
We got those caltrops, the shock darts. Genji can't really walk onto site that freely, so Paper Rex trying to play a little bit more patient this round, especially with something posted up with that operator. That was the cherry on top in this round.
They got to go for these adaptive risks. I
Afraid
think because Genji
Leonard.
is so good at just, I don't know if I'm correct with these made-up stats, but they feel like they have the
Mati lu,
first
Atu.
bloods, you know, very
Okay.
much locked and loaded in this
Big,
first
big.
map. Something at least pads the stats.
Ini bahaya.
Stats
Aduh,
a
halah.
little bit more
Si
in the favor of
Malen
Paper Rex
ini
with that
ya.
peak. And that slows down Genji by a big margin, not having the flashes anymore from
Tangan
Lakia.
nih, parah
Really
sih tangan
raised the
gue, turnamen
chances
gue.
here for
Sebenernya
Texture
ya.
to get more of these quick contacts into the site.
Monyet kontrol main.
Definitely slows down Genji.
Bejir.
They're always going to be thinking about what's next, but now Dimensional Drift
Aduh,
just
gua
getting
dua.
further information.
Gak mungkin di
1
Shortiin
minute left
kan?
on the clock, and Genji actually going back off of a bit of a default. They want to spread themselves across the entire map.
Aduh, Sastra itu.
Oh.
mau diambil spike-nya anjing. Sama something.
Itu mau diambil.
Mr. Risky here.
Kanan ting. Dia nggak tahu Jik.
You know, not even
Aduh.
Dude, they are living dangerously.
Jangan sini min 1
Yeah.
gue GF mau gak? Emang ya?
one blade
Serius,
storm
Len?
at a time.
Langsung main grand final gue.
But it works for them, and right now he's
Oh,
got
masih bisa, Len.
information if they were to cross in the
Ben
you know,
ulang mau
risky
bet.
way.
Oke nih
Most
khusus
of them have
papa nih
already
kita ulang betnya
bypassed it,
adik-adik
so
ya. Nih 1, 2,
something
3.
going to reposition. But what I'm curious
30
about is
seconds
Karen
left.
masih bisa, Len.
actually lurking up around mid.
That also, and well, there you go. He finds the one pick onto something here. There's the quick charge out. Tailwind was actually saved up by Texture,
Relay.
so he has capabilities to enter the site.
Awas kiri.
Forsaken's not gonna go back there.
Kelihatan aman. Tahu dia tahu.
About 14 seconds. Let's see what the battle comes in through the mid. It's going to be
Okay.
Forsaken. Spike though should get
Aduh.
planted. It's all down to Forsaken for now as he waits for Divide the back of the site. Back
Oh,
but
anjing.
Texture. What a reposition! What a challenge! And what aim has this top fraggy Korean brought to the Gen G
Hello, bro.
roster?
Texture, what a monster! Dude, yesterday, I mean 2 days ago, he already
28
had
lagi,
such
Jik.
an incredible
Dua-
stat
dua
line
lagi,
up
Tiga.
against his
Anjing, gila sih ini orang
opponent
sih.
RRQ. Having those first kills that you mentioned before him, he has 16 throughout the
Aduh,
entire
something
season.
mati
But
jelek
this
lagi.
one, he got even more. But not just that, the blade storm, the aim off of it, the way that he cut
Mirip
down
kunai
the
gue.
guy at his knees, really blocks up the rest. And now they've earned that match point. And remember, they are still sitting on one timeout.
Bro can see like 2 seconds into the future.
Mirip ini,
man.
mirip
And
punanya
in
Demon
a
1 maksud gue.
Very quick and fast game like Valorant that all really,
Yo,
really need.
Jik. 2
That
kali.
cascade was supposed to give
Aduh.
some sort of safety, an access point for Paper Rex.
Harus
to get
gambling sih
to
kalau
what
gini mah.
calls, but it
Go big or
turns
go home deh.
into a signal for Lakia to,
Asli.
you know, it's kind of obvious. I'm just gonna pop shots. What am I gonna lose? Absolutely
Bang Por,
nothing.
ya.
And he gave
Gila,
the
Bang Por
one kill
pemberani, bro.
almost everything here.
Apakah dua?
There is no money for Paper Rex right now.
Mampus,
Forsaken.
belakang mati.
Okay, that's one.
Okay.
Mike's gonna have to go big, which he does. Oh, this drone. This drone blows up right in his
Ting, ting,
face,
ting.
dude.
Kata Davai gue lagi nih.
He's got a Vandal, but he's so far from the situation on A.
Bodoh lah sial lah.
I'm running out of words.
Kata Davai kok gua lagi sih.
Get a trade at least, but wow.
Ente map 1.
Tapi tadi harus begitu emang bro. Soalnya itu kan dia miskin ya. Kalau misalkan nahan di side pasti mati. Emang harus apa ya? Harus gambling tadi ya, tapi gamblingnya bau aja.
And now they are just 1 kill away from pushing us into the next map.
Jadi kalau something bunuh beda cerita itu.
Wah, kepikiran.
2 lawan 2 jadinya.
Genji inspired outfit. 3 versus 1. Oh my god, the Vidas
Berarti mereka apa enggak nih?
Supplement himself. He just has the weapon in the corners.
Nggak bisa sih,
Spike
udah nggak
is
bisa.
just dwindling down ever so closely to exploding. He does find texture, but
Tadi kan sudah
now
fight.
just gonna activate gravity well. Whoops, whoop. That's about it.
GG.
They know they got it.
He's got no time, man. That's gonna be it. And Genji got
GG.
themselves
Seru. Map
Ente map pertama.
I mean, what an
Anti, bro.
unbelievable performance texture on a new form.
Bris nih, Peres dari dulu ya, Bris ya.
Just a couple of days ago, Qeon, the rookie, still showing up huge, and Meteor, of course, you know, not much left to be said.
Map 1, wah Perex 90% kalah ya adik-adik ya. Ente langsung aja kita buka polling untuk map kedua. Kita lihat di sini apakah masih Perex gitu lagi.
In the first half, they managed to tie things up,
Map 2,
but even
map 2 apa
towards
ya?
the end, just not quite able to defend.
Tadi map 2 apa Ben?
And again, it's because of the fact that they can't really
Lotus teh monyet raja apa di sunset ya monyet raja ya?
Monyet raja sempat di sini sih.
Available to them because of the composition.
Sempet.
Oh yeah, but you know what? Our analysts are going to break all of this down
lupa
because
lagi.
we got a very interesting composition to talk about.
Iya Lotus kok yang waktu itu lawan ini kan. Coba gue lihat bentar ya.
Are you guys okay? That was just map 1.
Sentinel. Iklan kan.
Tapi seru sih setiap match yang Perex main itu udah pasti seru anjing. Ntar gue lihat nih Ben.
Sok. Gue juga lagi lihat sabar.
Tunggu dulu sih. Acek Koli bro, lagi nonton nih. Kasih lagu ini dulu, ambil lihat ini. Kita lihat data ya, kita analisis nih bro, datanya nih, kita analisis datanya coba ya. Map kedua tadi apa? Lotus, anjing Perex masih gede ini. Coba Lotus ya. Stats match. Ngelag ini. Genji 2-0 Ejet, emang ya? Ya, VLR gue kok broken ya dari kemarin dah.
Yang di mana monyet duelis ya? Apa gue salah? Mana? Oman sama ini.
Lotus ya, coba bentar nih. Lawan T1 menang, Lotusnya 13-5. Lawan Derex menang. Ini udah beda. Menang sih Ben.
Waktu lawan apa
Kalau
ya?
dengan line up baru ya. Masih 100% win rate ini Lotusnya.
Oh
nih.
iya, Lotus monyet raja benar-benar.
Iya kan? Monyet raja something ini dah. Biasanya masih sama sih harusnya. Nih guys, kayaknya sih harusnya gini ya, harusnya nih. Iya, fix ini.
Lotus ngebantai sih.
Monyet raja pas lawan EG,
Kalau
mata
lawan
lu sepet
Derek,
anjing.
Lotus juga ya? Oh iya.
Mata lu sepet anjing. Kok gua anjing? Congsing. Sepet mata lu anjing. Iya bener ini. Tapi tadi Lotus picknya siapa ya? Gue lupa dah. Onsen atau EG? Onsen. Emang Perex pernah ketemu EG bro? Belum ada monyet kan waktu itu ya? Kalau yang pas champion mah belum ada tuh kan. Monyet itu pertama kali main di turnamen Afrika TV kan. Tuh ini mah masih ada Jing ini tuh. Debutnya monyet kan di turnamen Afrika kan. Sini dia. Tapi sementara sih kalau dilihat dari statistik ini Lotusnya Perex sih dengan lineup baru ya. Dengan catatan lineup baru dia ini. Dia Lotusnya dari 1 2 2 match menang dua-duanya, berarti win rate 100% ini. Coba kita lihat dari tim Genji ya. Genji gimana nih? Lotus ya. Kita analisis, bro. Sen berisik apa anjing, si apa nih. Genji kemarin non RRQ. Lotus. Oh. Lawan TR kalah. Non secret Lotus kak. Oh.
FB
kalau
persen tuh apa sih, Jik?
Apa?
FB persen.
First blood.
Oh, first blood. Tapi kalau apa?
Kalau Genji dari, ntar gue lihat nih. 1, 2, 3, 4. Genji 4 match terakhir main di Lotus kalah semua. Lawan FUT kalah nih. Tapi ini mah yang beda ya, sama gue lihat dulu.
Convergence.
Munchkin, Meteor, Texture, Lakia kak sama. Sama ya?
Hah?
Iya, kalah semua.
Munchkin, oh iya. Ya Lotusnya kalah sih.
Harusnya menang berarti ini ya, PRX ya kalau data ya.
Hmm.
Dia lawan True Reapers, ini True Reapers siapa nih Ben?
Apa?
True Reapers di mana nih? Tim India.
Tim India anjir.
13-6 tuh, dia kalah 13-6 loh.
Lotusnya kalah ya 13-9 ya?
Iya, semuanya kalah itu. Genji Lotusnya 4 match terakhir.
Anjir lah.
Kalau PRX dari 2 match terakhir dia cuma 2 kali main di Lotus menang.
Tapi dia nggak nge-ban Lotus. Berarti pede nggak sih?
Pede harusnya, tapi secara line up masih sama, harusnya di atas angin sih PRX harusnya menang ini.
Pertanyaannya
harusnya
satu nih, sore kita makan apa nih? Lapar juga.
Sore makan apa sore ya? Gue belum makan juga sih. Lu udah makan?
Makan apa ya? Gue belum makan.
Gue juga belum makan dari tadi pagi nih. Oh Ben, makan apa kita?
Gak tahu, bingung. Apa ya? Gue lagi mager yang sulit.
Pada makan apa, guys?
Sulit.
Yang gampangnya pengennya ya? Iya sih. Kayak segini ya.
Rice box gitu kali ya?
Rice box gampang sih.
Rice box sih. Katsu kayak enak sih. Atau nasi kari ya.
Oke sih. Oke buat itu.
Coba kita cari dulu.
Severin, anjing Severin. Gila, sekarang Severin udah di India bro. Nonton dari India anjing.
Siap nih, apa tuh coba tekstur mainnya kayak begitu? Emang boleh? Nggak boleh tahu tuh. Di rulebook nggak boleh. 2 round pertama kalau langsung dapat 9 kill katanya nggak boleh tahu.
Okben kah? Ilham gak? PUBG. Oh, ning semalam, Mbak. Cuy. Beneran ini. PC-nya beneran blue screen guys semalam.
Anjir, si Bang Rio sih santai banget ini, Jik. Jaya Esport kan lagi ini ya di Lombok. Windah DKK ini Bang Rio kan PRX kan. Santai gini dipila ini. Nomornya dipila santai bener.
Siapa nama YouTube sih?
Rio Deja. Rio Dejaja. Santai bener ini.
Oh iya dia PRX ya?
Iya PRX dia.
Dia dapat 2 itu sih gila sih guys. Terus texture dapat 2 tuh gila. Ini juga dapat 3 oke banget
moon skillnya. Satu lagi VTuber.
Daripada lo soalnya itu guys, kalau nggak lo tuh dapat tuh minimal otomatis.
Katanya 3 nanti sama ada Bangkong. Emang ya?
Lah, si Jarwo ini.
Oh si Jarwo itu.
Gua nggak tahu kenapa samping nggak nembak itu guys. Ini ska dia. Rip M kah?
Apaan nih anjir votingnya? Nama yang cocok buat aku PRX Miti, PRX Codot Goa. Oke.
Ready scan.
Bang Por Cyper with the Odin gak sih ini?
Oh udah mau ini.
Udah. Cepet soalnya.
Main freak Javai. Oke, sama. Masih sama semuanya.
Masih sama.
Cepet banget ya.
Emang gara-gara ini kan dihujat expose kayaknya.
Anjing langsung bro ini.
Langsung, bro.
Oke.
Makanya gue nggak buka-buka reels dulu, Jing.
Oke, langsung kalau gitu oke.
Iya.
Anjing cepet banget, Cok.
Ayo, betting akan ditutup dalam 20 detik.
Ya sebat pun nggak bisa itu dah. Oke lah kalau begitu jangan lupa dipilih tim favorit adik-adik di voting komen ya, sama di like videonya buat yang belum, adik-adik semuanya langsung aja. Let's go.
I think he should have studied enough because that is what he's known to do. He can flex on so many agents, but apart from that, who is going to be the one, supplementing Jing? Of course, it's going to be Monyet on that.
Juan mana? Wah nggak tahu udah Juan.
True, and again, feels like something might be
Mana
happening
RP pagi sih dia
now,
tadi.
now that he has that jet back in his hands. It seems like when he was on the Yoru, he was just following set guidelines. It wasn't the same something that we were.
Kalau Perez menang gua like. Anjing lu nunggu Perez menang lu. Konyol sih. Parah sih lo begitu sih mainnya sih.
Maybe hoping to coax a bit of rotation from PaperX, which has worked. But if obviously Genji doesn't know that, but they're still gonna hit the other side on B.
I mean, that's the other
Juan
thing.
mimpi indah aja, masa dapet cewek di DP. Serius lu? Ngeri itu Bang Juan.
Ikutin sMagic, Cok.
So having an idea, you definitely have that something
Apa
that
tuh?
is feeling a little bit more
Itu
swift,
jet
a little
klasik
bit more
something?
fluid.
Something in?
Klasik.
Oh, I thought he got into the door.
Anjir,
Okay,
kayak
he
gila.
opened it himself. Here's the fight. They're gonna try to go for the pitch very
Monyet!
quickly.
Ini dia monyet waktunya.
This B side,
Ah, ayo lo,
there is no solid
gal-galan,
ground here. It is
anjing.
all quicksand. You gotta move, or else you're just gonna fall
Mampus,
into the
buta.
depths of the bullets. Meteor's by himself. That spike's already getting diffused. And PaperX.
On banget ini monyet.
Alright, excuse me. Actually, it wasn't Genji playing Lotus. I think it was T1.
Jam 3. Buset,
but the
ngeri juga main RP aja sampai jam
composition
3
is
gitu anjing.
similar except for a few agents. And that's the main thing. Again, still just with the fights going the way of PaperX.
Ini baru nih, tadi tuh nggak bisa terlalu W. Kenapa tadi nggak bisa terlalu W? Karena tadi 3 controller, duelis cuma 1. Ini duelis 2, lu tau lah, way jebol nih.
There you go.
And I do
Terus
like
map mana?
how- Sorry, I was just getting
Tekter
caught by
sih,
that.
side-nya 3.
I do like how PaperX realizes well that if you're gonna push on the B side as their opponents, right?
Anjing.
Ah,
You do not want to
On.
let
John
go
Member,
control
kata gitu,
of
guys.
C-Long on Mount. Because
John Member,
door
Jing.
control is so strong, especially now in Lotus, that the door opens very quickly and closes very slowly. So them realizing that, just gives them more opportunities to keep Genji pinched into the B side, which allows them to flank around much faster.
Sudah manggil Ade
Something
sama
that
AS
PaperX
sekarang
uses
gue.
very well
Terus
on
lu,
the
gua cek nanti
counter
anjir.
defense. Mindfreak just making
Ngeri
a bit of
gitu.
noise.
Di Pemda sekarang mainnya.
But look at how Genji is playing defensively. I mean, that's one thing that a
One
lot of
way
teams are
through.
adapted to against PaperX, expecting or anticipating that they would push out a lot on this defensive side. So they are playing so far back right now, and now that the first minute comes down, now they walk on up to B.
They're about to
Dua mantan gaya jadi duelis. Dulu tuh gaya lain apa? 5 duelis anjing sebenarnya.
Forsaken's
Aduh.
ready and best, but
Aduh.
there's too many
Alah.
numbers here. They've committed
Ronde
the
2
point, they've
Perez
lost the
kah?
weapons.
Aduh.
They're losing numbers right now. Monyet's gonna have to
Monyet.
hold this by himself. He is down to a very dangerous amount of
Alah.
HP. And something
Tahun 2 anjing,
all
anjing.
down
Aman-aman ini pandal
clean up
Jik.
the rest of PaperX. They've done
Aman,
something
Skala
Kalau-
3 sih,
with their
skala 3 ya.
jobs, as they have
Lalu anjing ronde
Pandal
2-nya.
pakai topi ini.
the meters, the life of all the Genji players down to half. It's a
It is
lot
a Vandal.
more digestible for something.
Terus
Vandal
ini,
indeed in
ini.
his hands. He's already activated Tailwind, but Genji's not biting. They know they have the numbers advantage. They know the spike is planted already. So something's going to be put into such
Alah,
a
itu
decrepit
1
state.
SP, Bang.
He might actually just be forced to save.
Kabar banget deh
if he got
misalnya.
one
Bang,
kill,
nggak
maybe
bisa,
he
Bang.
would have gone for even more,
Iya.
but without that kill, it's just way too risky. He never knows if someone is holding an off angle,
Oh,
a bit of a
Alex
crossfire
Alex
against
sih
them,
pusing kali anjing
doesn't
setiap
want,
ronde 2.
to get swung upon contact either.
Jing,
And it's
lemari
just
gue digedor.
unfortunate. I mean, well played by Genji because they played it safe.
Alek kayaknya.
They had those haunts and bits of setups just to draw out some of these PaperX players, right? They heard the door. They kind of had an idea.
Pusing
This
ini
might be
Alex, si
my
Alex
might be
pusing
around
anjing
the
sumpah
corner.
begini mah.
Let's check. And
2 kali maksudnya.
so many players up around the corners. It's just PaperX kind of putting themselves in awkward positions and
Yeah.
not
Iya
quite
sih,
landing their
awkward
shots.
position
Too. That's
bener
the thing
anjing.
that surprises me the most because
nonton
it feels
sMagic.
almost as if there's like a bit of that shift.
Kayaknya sih,
Coming back on
kayaknya semua deh.
stage, Alex
Sih
talking
semua
to
kan?
them that way, and after having lost the first
Terus
match,
semua
he
deh.
can't be feeling too good right now.
Match 3.
Going on to a different point
Yeah,
here.
pasti
You know
one.
how PaperX on the attacking side here on Lotus, they love to break that mid lane to go to A to B very quickly. you know, again, using those connectors from site to site
Mas
to
Bang Por.
put a lot more motion in the ocean with how they rotate. Gen.G is doing the exact same thing, and it seems that, at least for now, in these couple of rounds, it hasn't really been one timing for something there. He's actually going to chase for the kill here. Thankfully enough, there's a lot of utility for Meteor to give himself that space, and yeah, 140 damage to the body.
Gua abis nguap gak liat apa-apa.
Atlas is insane, man.
Meteor's not even going for the headshot there. And that's just unfortunate. Again, I mean, half armor.
MCG jadi buat jersey apa nih yang buat asli apa di in game?
Something going chasing that way. It's
kalau di in game pasti buat, kalau buat yang asli juga pengen sih buat ya, pengen ya.
Talking about it from the previous round. You're talking
about kalian doain ya, semoga MCG bisa lolos lah bro sampai grand final ya. Jersey player mau bisa nanti bakal di open ini sih, bakal di open PO harusnya. Tapi gue nggak tahu ya dibikinnya berapa.
Oh shit.
And
di wallbang nih.
Having Meteor playing as that Killjoy makes it so easy on Lotus. All you have to really do, I wasn't really expecting one.
Vintage kan, harusnya vintage. Karena your vintage lebih oke sih, di sekarang lebih menarik kayak gitu.
Depending on which site you're actually committing to, you put it on the elsewhere, and then that one turret on B, or is just enough to check out all the flags. Also,
precisely.
Yes to your hub.
Also just
mau XL abangku.
Also just being Meteor. I mean, he was that guy who always bought Marshals in round 2 last year when he was the primary duelist for Gen.G. Now onto the Sentinel. I was saying because I saw a double Odin.
I thought you were going to point out double Showstopper available for both the duelists very quickly here.
That too.
Gasnya.
I love having
Aduh nggak sih sama tekstur ulti.
Early into the game. It makes you very aggressive. And it looks like okay, let's see.
Aduh.
All right, that's going to be trade for trade. Texture does get the at first. Dust settles 3 versus 3. I mean, what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to say? When you see 2 raises just coming out into the open with Showstoppers, you really just have to have your hands up in the air and wave like you just don't care. Anyways, again, Gen.G able to go into the C site, gonna be able to plant that spike in, and the quick rotation, the quick huddle around Rubble works in their favor because now all of the utilities that Paper Rex has kind of sprinkled around the map has been subverted for the most part, except for this one really weird off-cam from Forsaken that's been spotted.
Kameranya boleh juga di sana ya.
Although it was a bit of information for Forsaken nonetheless. We've got some smokes up, we've got Manyet, Mind Freak available, and they're trying to work their way in.
Jalan 2, di ulti, sabar, oke ketahuan.
There's the NT, not nice try, but the neural theft activated. Meteor's still
holding
on, man. He is a force to be reckoned with.
Oke, masih ada Mind Freak, aman. Mati 4 lagi anjing.
Mantap G.
Going to be enough to defuse that spike.
Menang rasa kalah G, enggak apa-apa G.
Forsaken didn't pop off
Oke,
there.
yang penting menang dulu.
What would have happened for Paper Rex?
And just before I go into the analysis, can you do that again for me, Astray?
No.
Really? Oh.
We will do it again when we have the same exact situation happen.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overstimulate our audiences.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, sick.
Astray's voice, stimulating and titillating. It was really fun. But I mean, again, the main thing is after the exchange, right? The both Showstoppers, the rotations came through. Gen.G.
Dia mau comeback tapi PRS emang ini sih spesialis comeback ya biasanya dari dulu ya. Semoga lah 2-1 biar seru nih.
Beautiful Valorant on both sides, but Mind Freak clutching out on top of it was the main factor.
Now, seems like we're back, down to even. Door's been opened up, but no one wants to charge in on Tree. I guess it makes a lot of sense. They know that the Odin is available already for Device, so they don't want to get, peppered, wall banged to oblivion on Tree there. They just want to make them think. Device already pushed up here, so now he knows no one's actually inside this position. So there is a lot of merit that they might actually break through that link, go to B, or rotate around. Meteor, this time he's going to be very crucial. Forsaken chase a little bit too hard. And he has the lockdown. He can activate it right now. Let the rest of the team come in, or use it as bait. Force the rotation away from Paper Rex and go elsewhere.
Oh enggak
That's the
beneran
best thing
balik
that
dia.
Gen.G has going for them right now. The number of options that they have thanks to Meteor getting that first kill. But now, committing over to the B side, Paint Shell's in. It buys PaperX a little bit of time for something to come up with the judge.
He knows someone's right behind him. But since they haven't picked up that spike, he can just be
Kepikiran
as
gitu,
patient
anjir.
as possible. Hold
Yeah,
for
aware
the
banget
rest of his team. That's all he really needs to do. Texture stayed. Not going to do much
Bro, kasih,
damage,
bro.
but he does pick it up. Something's got a cloud burst. He can get closer and closer here. Create that tempo if need be. But the one that's going to have to hold the most is Meteor right on top of that B site.
Aduh, MF lagi-lagi nih.
Does, leaving Mind Freak in 2 versus 1. They've doubled up onto the corner here. They got a shot at step. He's got a
Double
shot at
pick nih.
step. But he's waiting patiently. But you mentioned it already, man. They're
Ya,
stepping
udah
up.
teriak anjing.
Too slow, and that's going to be Gen.G with a round advantage.
That is such a difficult shot to land. I mean, the only time I've ever seen anyone pull off something like that was like maybe Sentinels a few years ago, but still.
Kayak mana ini guys? Gimana nih yang megang PRX bro? Masih pede kah?
I don't know, I'm thinking of like
Gue liat
Dapper or
sih
something.
turun nih.
But
Tadi
still,
PRX di game pertama
this one,
90%, sekarang
it's
84.
so darn good
Gen.G
from Gen.G,
16.
the way they've been playing this.
Mana guys?
You know, I think something kind of jumped around and fired off his judge, thinking that maybe he would be able to buy the attention away. But Gen.G doesn't bite that bait. They stayed hard up on stairs, B stairs, up against you know, some of these players from PaperX like Mind Freak, and making sure that they wouldn't be able to push out.
Yeah, and again, it's because they don't really have to chase.
Ini karena crowd, karena Gen.G tim Korea kan jadi crowdnya bakal support banget anjing.
Meteor coming through C that got the kill on Forsaken here. That's a trade for trade.
Rated yang bener lu, bos Alme Pips. Lu Gen.G banget. Something ulti bro, something ulti.
Rest of PaperX up into waterfall
Ini
on
dia
that flank. 3-3. Gen.G's trapped onto the site. Smokes from Monyet, or excuse me, from Mind Freak to provide some coverage here. Paranoia to delay them just a tad bit further. One satchel pushes right in. Qeon holding, thinking he could be top of the spike. Numbers of PaperX dwindling down. Something's gonna have to make something happen here. That right click, very shallow, and that's just gonna be a clean pickup.
Aduh,
Clean, cleanup, excuse me. Quick cleanup.
aduh gini ya.
That's the words I was using. Because Gen.G's too fast.
Aduh nih.
I can't react in time.
We can't even say too much about like economical damage either. In
Kayak
that
lagi
round,
ngomong-ngomong.
PaperX just really trying to find as much
Aduh
as
bro,
they could. Get some kills in.
aduh.
Something getting the Blade Storm going was, you know, a glimmer of
Lagi nonton
hope,
jangan
but
lupa di like dulu nggak sih? Like-nya masih 300 guys. Kita bikin gopay dulu nggak sih minimal mah?
Way too difficult. Gen.G saw the flank come out.
Masa udah mau 2
They
jam bro,
knew,
masih
alright,
segini
let's
bro.
just go to C instead.
Masih
So
cepet.
something's not
Sama tempo
going
yang begini
right
sih.
for PaperX right now. Alex calls in the timeout.
Gak heran gue kalau ngeliat PRX main begini sih.
Just a bit of a breather again here. Usually when that happens, PaperX do get their second win.
Kok melucu? Sebenarnya bukan melucu. Emang Gen.G lagi jago, sumpah. Gue bilang tadi kan
For all of us that have predicted the
sebelum match mulai gue udah bilang ini kalau Gen.G mainnya kayak kemarin,
I mean, I'm
ya
really
PRX
curious
sumpah
about the
50-50 jadi ya.
interview If we do get to talk to PaperX later, like something's
Emang Gen.G lagi jago juga guys.
off about, you know, the form or the mood in the team right now. It's not always so often that you always, you know, when they don't perform well, it's usually when you start to see these patterns like Forsaken or something start to go chasing and hunting.
Apa, thank you ya udah
They don't
subscribe ya.
feel
Welcome
and they
bro.
want to shoot themselves back in the game, and that's something that just
Mana
doesn't
nih,
work
bro?
out well,
Begini, bro,
especially
mainnya.
against the Gen.G that's feeling this confident. They're like, all right, you want to chase us? Come at us.
I can only
We're here."
assume it's them trying to uphold their performance from last year. You know, chasing that high that they got, and it might be getting into their heads. I can only assume. I don't know if it's the real cause, but there definitely is some. There definitely is a change up here from something. There you go. I changed my words already. Anyways, Monyet still hasn't really shown what he's got on this raise. I don't think he's gotten too many big of highlights. You know, it's just the crossing of the streams of those showstoppers that we saw, but that's about it. Still pretty early into this.
Tuh kata Monyet, kata casternya si Monyet belum menunjukkan yang terbaik dengan race-nya dia kata itu dia bilang. Iya sih masih apa ya? Kurang nyet aja lah nyet. 13-8 menang PaperX yang benar Wan. Andain ya si Wan ya.
They know that Nightfall is available as well, so just trying to play away from it. Now they're set up for something, maybe to at least toss paint shells to deny spike plant, but look at how Texture is hunting.
Oh my god.
Aduh,
Barely
Tuh ada
dodges
Satchel tuh.
that. Gets out of harm's way. But that's the power that they've got. Big kill onto Munchkin there though, but Meteor still holding on Rubble. If he can hold on to this position,
Itu Davai
his
ya.
teammates can rely on him to hold that long
Menerima
angle right
pantum.
now, but not available anymore. Texture throws the nade
Jadi dapat
up
heaven
above
loh,
on
susah
heaven,
nggak
so
sih?
we know that somebody's at least
Lumayan.
up there as he tries to reposition. The rest of Paper X coming in closer, something floating, stinging like a bee.
Mati kayak lu.
That nade is
Anjing,
gonna be
meledak
so
samping
strong.
lu.
Lakia, wow.
Masih dapat.
Gak mati kenapa anjing?
Dua-dua sekarat nih, enak banget di spray anjing sama tekstur.
It's all in his
Setengah.
wheelhouse.
Oke,
baby.
Davai.
Smoke does dissipate, so Davai
Davai
very
masih
quickly will be
nyelamatin
able
ini.
to get that
Dapat setengah,
refrag
bro.
as well as the complete defuse, and Paper X strikes back.
Yeah, classic Paper X protocols coming in for those trades. Something with the shorty floating
Gila, tekstur lihat tuh.
into the dark cover. That was
Di
always,
2 digit lagi.
That's always fun to watch. But it all starts with Monyen. I think he was trying to create a little bit more space, but the paint shells kind of threw off. And he died really early on because of these shots coming in from Gen G. However, once something comes in, once Forsaken starts to get going, they can go in for those trades. Then we see the Paper X fold. The Paper X that we're all familiar with. We need more of that, though. I mean, you can't just always rely on these retakes. These round was won thanks to Alex's timeout. That was thanks to, you know, the read that they had, knowing.
Biar 2 putaran bos, ini kasih poin.
And again,
Bisa.
as I mentioned already,
Yang penting udah AWP nih.
both the players
Something
holding
AWP jet,
Rubble,
game
the long
changer sih.
angle was such a huge discrepancy for Gen G because they can always
Game
have
changer ini.
someone hit the
Kalau
reeler
kena tapi ya.
outside of A main. Anyways, moving into this round, there's only one player holding that A side, and it's Mindfreak. He's put himself the one-way smoke on Tree here to give him some form of anchoring spot. But thankfully enough, no one's gotten very close into challenging him just yet, but now they do. Prowler's been used. Wow. He's just going to get pushed back, and Monyet just making sure that Link is unoccupied by the rest of Gen G.
Yeah, Forsaken too. He's getting the frag onto Meteor, but now the hit comes through.
Davai.
Tenang, Davai beton ini, Davai beton, sumpah beton nih orang.
For the
Siapa ngasih, Bay?
moment, waiting again for Monyet to double up with him and try to do something as of now. Dog is available. Monyet, like that reposition. Wait, what is happening here? Locky is trying to run away. He opens the door quickly, backs up, but something
Oke.
doesn't have to challenge him just yet. Munchkin
Bisa di
has
sini
the
nih
wall,
orang.
drops right down, and he has so many angles to
Mati
deal with the
Gila,
crossfire.
Davai sih. Pakai apa aja nembak kena anjing.
Yeah, this is what we want to see
Sakit
from
emang
Paper
tuh orang
X.
ya.
This is the Paper X we need. The tempo at which they're going, not just, you know, going for those early aggressive kills, trying to find frags or chasing down Meteor. In fact, what they do is to kind of hold back.
Ini mau kalah,
You got
menang, naik
Mindfreak.
terus skillnya
Set up
anjing.
that one way. You know, you got hold your space, make sure you gain map control, and you got Davai just kind of getting information off of stairs, jump peeking a little bit. Once they confirm that the hit's coming through, they have an idea of where Meteor
Gila
can
sih
lurk
orang
in from,
tembakannya ya.
and that's what they want. That's how Forsaken picks up that first frag. That's how, you know,
Ngerikan
Mindfreak does a
emang.
little bit more.
Speaking of Mindfreak here, he held for a very long time that tree position.
Yeah.
Loving how he does it. I mean, yeah,
Ya,
sure, he doesn't get
ditungguin
any
dulu
kills,
berapa
but
detik,
the
20
threat
detik
of
lah.
him
30
of
detik
getting that
ditungguin
kills
ini.
and forcing Gen G to put that into the factors of how they push up into a site is pretty huge. I will say though, I don't think I've seen Forsaken be
Anjing, trap.
successful in holding a site. He's been good at getting the
Buat
lobs that
Cecil
he's
Race
hitting,
ya?
but the setups that
Tinggi
he's
banget
done
itu.
on C really hasn't resulted in Gen G
Anjir lah, EMEA style.
being thwarted. Meteor has gone there and gotten those flanks, so I don't know how far he can go into this.
Mampus.
Pop shots does put Munchkin down to 56.
It always makes you think twice about wanting to lurk or at least call some or take shots
Ketahuan.
over.
Nggak jadi
They
temannya
know
pasti
that
Kak.
there is a bit of Paper X presence all
Jadi
across the map, and
Gila lihat
Paper X
detik
is no
40
longer,
detik
you know,
40
really
baru
pushing
bergerak
all that much
mainnya.
anymore. So Gen G now trying to play along with this tempo, trying to adapt to it, but it burns
Udah
down.
kelamaan
the
nggak sih?
Look at the clock Asteroid.
Oh, Munchkin
Look at
mau
this, though.
ulti
Gen G
nih.
can actually go for that link, and
Dia
if
split dia nih.
something is too slow into this
Oh,
one,
what?
even if he escapes
Oh,
it, he's gonna get
anjing.
pitched in.
Bete
samping,
For
anjing.
Paper X, Meteor gets it once and for all. Monyet comes in here with a showstopper.
Delaynya,
The rocket
delaynya.
goes boom, boom.
Nice bro.
Get the final
Kelamaan Genji
kill.
begitu mainnya.
So something falls.
Kocak si
Paper X
Genji.
were very quick to
Nggak bisa
adapt
digituin,
and
bro.
to respond to the offense of Gen G.
I will take that budget, that bootleg boom boom from Asteroid. Not quite the one that we got from before, but you know, still good.
Alright, stop chasing it, stop hunting it.
Gila nih Korea udah
There is a well-deserving
sabar banget Ben ya.
Absolutely right with the
Iya.
something had. I mean, I
Iya,
would
anjir.
thought at least he would be able to get secure at
Dari
least
kemarin
one
nggak sih
off kill,
kayaknya?
right? But
Iya.
the rest of
Iya.
the team reacting that quickly, Monyet knowing
Second
to
dapat
go
dua
for
loh.
that
Gitu ya,
soon.
dapat dua,
That
anjing.
was what Paper X needed, and that's why you got to have this setup from Paper X. That's
Time
why
out, mampus dulu kelamaan mainnya, kocak Genji begitu.
But this is also what Victoria was talking about before, that lateral shift. You're not
Itu tadi padahal somethingnya ngemis ya. Kalau somethingnya dapet mah lebih aja anjing itu. Gue sih feeling gue sih karena udah kelamaan mantek sih Ben dari awal ronde mulai sampai detik berapa tadi 40 anjing.
Lagi
had
ngedip itu momennya
the
pasti.
pleasure of also being able to cover the Indonesian
anak
scene
SMA.
because, you know, Southeast Asia and everything. Monyet's been there for a good chunk of time before he
Lu pengen beli
went
boneka itu,
global,
Dajik?
right? And a
Nih,
lot
kabut.
of the
Yang kacamata.
characteristics, I think, of the Indonesian
Iya,
scene is
lucu,
how well they can adapt in these very tight-knit, very crunched-up situations. And you see that be translated into his play with Paper X very quickly. I think there was an interview where he said that he needed a bit more time to adjust, but
Is
because
malo.
he's been in that situation for such a long time in his local scene, you see that translate into Pacific League 2024 with Paper X much quicker. And,
That's right.
I mean, look at this, 9 kills for the man.
Back when he was an Onyx, you know,
Dapat
APAC, LCQ, he was doing things such as neon plays. Kid is
Itu kalau si
talented.
tekstur dilewatin lu
But
Dajik.
I mean, apart
Can't
from that,
believe he's
Bang Peres
10
mainnya sekarang
years
agak lambat ya.
too.
Ini kan lagi defender nggak sih Perex nya?
I don't know how old you are, right? But anyway, I mean, this is a round where Paper X has
Tetap nanti pas
some
attack,
guns.
nanti latih pas attacker sih.
Genji on the other hand, it's more of a
Dia emang
half-ish,
soalnya ya
force-ish
kalau
than
Genji
a
sabar
half.
guys. Jadi
Yeah. And
kalau
you're always
Perex
thinking about,
maju-maju
like,
malah
you
enak
know, they called it
Genjinya.
the timeout.
Ribet anjing
They
itu.
want to suss out information, get a feel for how Paper X is defending this time. But something's not going to make it that easy.
Oh, that's
Iya,
way too many
3
people
orang, Cok.
close
Berarti
up
masih
in the
disamperin
face
Perex
of
begitu.
Monyet there. Something's gonna back away, retreat. Danger, alert. That nade
Meledak
clearing
penting.
up once again. Not big damage. But as that door keeps closing and opening, they don't know how many players have already exited, how many players are still holding. It's holding. It's Texture, 1 down. Something.
Oh,
Wah,
Ooh,
swing.
overclicks. And that's
Wow.
Meteor. He can call back his teammates if he wants
Ulti
to. There
dong.
it is. Lockdown
Anjir
available.
lah,
And
Meteor.
opens up the A side by pure sheer power.
I got to see the replay on that. I mean, it's so interesting and off-putting how Genji is approaching the map. It was a half buy. You just had this squad of
Kocak,
stingers.
kenapa
Plan.
perfect ya?
But guess what? Here comes Forsaken and the spike plant goes down.
Is.
This
Smoker
man
M.
might not
Menang
be
ini.
Guardians
Ya udah
of the
udah
gap.
teriak anjing apaan dah.
Guardian of Lotus. 4 kills for Meteor.
Buantep-buantep lagi mainnya.
Man. That's pretty insane. Dude is tapping heads left and right.
Marahin Ben yang teriak-teriak Ben
Yeah,
anjing.
first of all, we had the space from Genji, like I
Ditaruh
was
belakang
mentioning
makin
before.
gila nih
It's
Meteor
a little bit
angin.
weird to open the door and then just hide inside a tree. But then Paper X coming in to investigate, and
Sedang
then off
menyala,
of that
yuk.
space, Meteor is the one that, you know, they weren't really expecting to be there.
Ampun bang.
Sharp shooting. He's able to pick off their heads just like that. Something wasn't quite able
AWP
to
di
do,
counter
and
banget
then
anjing, dia bener-bener main bener latih.
Did not
Di
expect
smoke.
that. I want to see
Nanti di
something,
recon. Susah
with
anjing,
his
nggak bisa
off,
mau ngambil
you know,
chance
really
begitu.
pop it off, but he's not doing it so far.
Ngambil chance susah ini sih something.
All of the abilities
Sabar
that
banget,
can
lihat
really
nih.
flush you out as
Tadi 140 ya, lihat dia
champion
majunya
with
detik
an
berapa ini.
operator. It's very hard for him to do that. Yes, there's no
Tuh.
big flashes.
Dia kecilnya di
from
Prowler
Genji
dulu
here,
nih.
but
Oh, belum.
Boombot, Smokes,
Udah bermain aman
Paranoia.
banget ya
There's
tuh.
a whole
Prowler semua
slurry of
dicek.
non-flash abilities that can really irk you.
Ini
if
dapat
you're
satu harusnya.
something. So
Minimal.
Genji's been using
Di
that
wall up
to a
lagi,
very
Cok.
good extent.
Ini satu sih harusnya.
Now going up against him as well.
Ah, kan.
However, he holds his ground, picks up the first one, and backs away. So this gives Paper X a little bit more information and inkling as to where Genji wants to approach from.
Tahu dia ada di situ.
Something re-peeks and holds the angle. Defy comes in for an information play,
Nice.
doesn't find all too much.
Ready for that.
But here comes something.
He's got the tailwind again, so he can get out of harm's way if need be, but
Aduh,
Jelek,
jalan duluan.
yang itu jelek pikir.
that's going to be the death of him. Monyet's now trapped here on drop. That Haunt supposedly giving away position, but
Oh,
somehow
Bang,
Forsaken manages to
Masa
squeeze
clutch.
his way through the back of the side, leaving Qeon
Oke,
by
oke,
himself
aman,
and
aman.
fighting
AWP,
for
AWP.
the pinch. That is going to be Paper Rex. holding off.
Ini something harus pinter-pinter nyari ini aja sih, nyari celahnya aja kalau begini mah. Harus sabar juga, bener-bener di wall, di crawler, di recon tuh.
And if you're thinking about it, I mean, something maybe didn't quite get the kills, but at least bought enough time, did enough damage for his team to arrive on scene.
Dia nahan banget sih.
And that's another thing. It just Forsaken playing this role, you know, unless they're walking into his traps, unless they're going into him, we won't often
Semuanya ini
see
lagi nonton.
him popping off that way.
Semuanya.
Unless you know, he
Semuanya
arrives
pasti.
with his team.
Amerika juga lagi nonton ini.
And I love this from Forsaken. Again, it's old news, but I love how he's transitioned into this type of guy that can use these sentinels.
Ting ting. Nah,
He's still getting kills left and right.
Di trade anjir.
Munchkin,
Kelihatan megang judge.
I mean, long range, he got the sheriff. If he can close the distance somewhat, maybe there's a world where he can use that Viper pit. But look at how many
Something mati di pick nih. Something mati di pick.
Right up in his face.
Yeah, look at the cones of vision on the minimap too.
Yeah.
But they're getting
Di kanan
closer.
kah?
Masa?
Hold on. Wait. Oh, my
enggak,
god.
aman.
Oh, the heart attack, man. Just think about it.
Tapi seru sih, 75. 75
Kenapa nggak klik
75 defender oke sih, map attacker ini.
7-5 is not too
Ben?
bad for Paper X.
Kenapa sih something nggak klik
Obviously
kanan
not
kira-kira?
the, you know, score that you would envision for a team of this
Enggak, ini
caliber.
kayak belum ready, kayak crosshair ada dia deh.
Nonetheless, 2 rounds ahead.
Biar dia deket
If they
kayaknya.
can pick up the pistol, that would be even better. But of course, Gen G has
Bukan
been
udah
showing
kelihatan
us
dari judge-nya ya.
such a dominant performance.
Kayak emang dia sengaja disuruh wide swing dia dah, biar ini. Biar temennya yang makan aja.
And again, you do see that. It feels like I can't
Udah beli rokok belum? Belum gua. Nantilah, males gua.
Santai.
on Lotus that's making any plays because it's the whole team. You know, it's how well they're able to play off of. I feel like, you know,
Dari tadi PRX menang pistol terus ya?
right? So and
yang
then
pas
they
pertama
just
menang
gotta
sih,
feed
enggak ya?
off that.
But I
Tadi
will
doang.
say, I mean, like,
Awal doang,
if
roll
not
satu.
for that, you know, previous map we might have seen Texture popping off like
Di Bris
crazy.
kan kalah.
This one, I will
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
Meteor was someone who kept showing up. He was the one who won them that one round where they had nothing but a half buy, just using nothing but a Guardian. Meteor has been holding things down. Meteor has been dueling out against Forsaken.
That and the one actually, thank you for saying that as well.
Kuriba,
There's that
Fas.
one
Gua
where
lagi
he was
nonton kah?
lurking on C, gets Forsaken.
Coach PRX orang mana? Orang mana Ben? Si itu Ben.
And allows Gen G
Tapi ada
options.
turunan
They can
Australia.
even keep pushing that A
Oh.
site or rotate to C where Meteor was. So absolutely
Di
right.
X, di OI
I will
Nggak
agree
bisa
with
dia
that.
di drafting
And
dulu, Cok.
Shanks
Boy, he's
nonton.
39.
Lagi nonton, jangan lupa di like ya, adik-adik
Iya,
dikit lagi kita berangkat 500 bro. Berangkat nggak sih?
Texture still
Masa
kill
setak
leader
300 gini bro.
So Paper
Berat.
kind of does have to watch out, but of course now that Forsaken, you know, gets the
Prancis
stretches
ya?
legs
Kok
on
Australia?
this
Sorry,
attacking
sorry.
side, hoping that we can see a little
Prancis.
bit more
Iya.
from the team that, you know, won us VCT Pacific finals last year, and then of
I
course going
forget.
to champions as well. I don't need to introduce them, everyone knows.
Yeah, how much effort with both teams actually fight for Rubble here? Because the thing about Lotus, at least in the pro scene that we've seen for the most part,
klasik.
Wah,
is people will just
5 lawan 4 dia nih.
commit the Rubble plays and Gen G
Bagus.
nades.
Wah,
Very deadly.
apa coba itu? Ih,
That flick up from
Embot gak sih?
Mind Freak.
iya dah.
He's alone. He's got dark cover
Embot,
to work for
TB.
days, but his opponent
TB
didn't
sih.
last for
Fix
months.
itu.
So
TB
you see
nih.
how more that is. 4 versus 1. He's repositioning around the corner here. Meteor hears
Cek nggak sih
him.
itu urinnya?
Itu tai.
Tekstur
If
bro.
there's a world where Meteor tries to
Cek juga
stab
maksudnya.
Mind Freak here if he over pushes or doesn't even check the
Ah,
corner.
teriak,
No, no, no.
entot.
Play it safe.
Current teams, no. No knife.
Dicek nggak sih si tekstur bro?
But I mean, it's just how they play.
Cek nggak
you
sih?
know, very
Masa nggak dicek
controlled.
ya?
They know the setups. And I do kind of have a feeling that this is something that Gen G had prepared. Studying game tape from Paper X before, knowing that you know, this is definitely something that we want to go for, right? This
iya.
rubble control, it's so useful.
Cek
Gives you
apanya?
legs
Mau sama
to,
urinnya bro, dua-duanya dicek
have
dah.
the option towards A or mid link if you want to set up split pushes. They want to deny that. And that one nade from Texture, not to mention Lakia and Texture pushing in together, just throws Paper X off so much.
Can I add as well? Munchkin's toxic screen was pretty huge for that, because usually you'd see that and say, it's the safety for the A side. No, it's the danger for Rubble for you if you're trying to push that. Speaking of pushing though, it's the C.
Buset dah.
Zoom in past Monyan. Oh, I love this!
Anjay,
The double jumping
Tachibana
PRX.
bersaudara di
Yo,
kaki.
but they still
Keren,
got the
keren,
shot.
keren.
Kelas.
So although Manyan makes it through, has a bulldog, can't
Alas
go
ya.
up against
Matinya
Munchkin
begitu,
now.
Bang.
What?
Dua kadapai bro.
Dua lompat.
Alright, down to something with a Marshall. 3 versus 1. Makes
Emret,
it a quick
apakah Emret bro?
2-1. Okay.
Hayo, ngamuk.
That spike is very much out in the open for him. He's got a dash, he actually repositions. But wait, does that angle actually work for him? It's very risk, so he has to try to do something here. My god.
Oh, udah teriak.
Oh, he even got the crosshair in the head near the body space of Lakia.
Aduh.
Something overdoing it, going back into
Oke sih, 4 dapat 4.
It was for the information, but
Dapat 4
he
dapat plan. Oke sih.
overheated in that situation too.
Really close. I mean, at least had the right idea to tailwind out of that hairy situation and to play for time a little bit, try to distract Munchkin. But I mean, Lakia. As soon as Lakia goes in, though, just knowing to crouch and
Ini gue mau teriak di kantor. Teriak aja bro.
Yeah.
Lakia is not always like a stand-out fragger, but in some situations knows exactly what to do, has enough experience.
Yeah. He's got a good head on his shoulders for sure. Something challenging here. It's tagged up. Correct me if I'm wrong, we casted Lakia
Banyak yang half day ya?
last
Iya
year
deh,
right,
5
on
orang.
Ascension Pacific, where he was on Damwon Kia. Did not really get any opportunity to really showcase what he's got there, but Genji here, very much different. In a very good way for Genji, by the way.
Smoke.
Of course, now with enough damage, Genji not having the best
Smoke Viper si ini di mana sih?
on texture.
Munchkin DJ ya?
Well, it's Qeon still. Paper X buying up, trying to do
smoke
what
ya.
they can. You've got something on
Itu
this
di Abu
outlaw,
kan?
but
Cool kan?
Genji just respects all of
iya,
the
ding.
space and plays for numbers
DC.
instead. They kind of
boleh.
DC ya?
relinquish A, which means it's going to be a tough retake for them.
Fair enough. Especially with the rest of Paper X holding both stairs and a heaven.
Mampus lu, half armor hancur.
They've got everything locked and loaded. They don't really need to stay inside of the site. They can be proactive as much as they would want to.
Kelihatan.
Qeon does get
Salah
that
angle
angle
itu.
against something,
Oh di Valorant angle
but
kiri ya.
damage is already done here, Quack. Genji, I feel like it's only going to be exits and a bit of economic damage that
Itu
they can
kalau nggak
really
ngeker
do in
kayak
this
nggak kelihatan
round.
dah Jik.
Makes me wonder if it was like the barrel.
Emang kelihatan barrel senjatanya nggak sih? Terus di wallbang jadi?
Again, yeah, it's just
Emang ya?
Karen still.
Kayaknya
And
sih.
you know, it's
kelihatan
that nerd
sikunya.
talk about line of sight. You get closer into a corner. You can see your opponent faster than they do. We're not going to get deep into
34
that.
degrees here.
Ini nggak di-upgrade band itunya.
TLDR, guys. The closer you are
Kronomia
to a wall
si
when you
monyet.
peek a corner, the
Nggak di-upgrade
worse it
itu
is for
ininya.
you. The farther you are from a wall when you
Si
peek a corner,
pisaunya.
the better it is for you.
Oh pisaunya.
Thank you, Asarai.
Yeah.
Kalau
But
di
yeah,
upgrade kan
still
muter.
a round picked up
pisaunya.
by Paper X still as they move forward. But Genji has definitely caught up, winning out that pistol in the subsequent round after that. So now buying back up, I mean, we saw how Genji, this round really just kind of playing it safe. Still a lot of damage, but
Oh di kantor itu buset.
Bang,
UC 1000-nya banyak banget itu.
can come in because here the game really starts to rev
Bang,
up.
Lucy, Bang.
Tanggapan lu ke Neon Beben gimana, Jik?
It's still so
Lincah,
good to
Neonnya.
connect.
Lincah ya, lincah.
I mean, did we come into this
Neonnya
stage
kan?
thinking that it would be this close?
Neonnya sih lincah, bro.
Between
Neon
Paper
Beben.
Mana yang dari
and
Lucy
a
ya?
revamped Genji. I mean, yeah, sure.
How many of us voted for,
Jadi adik-adik
predicted
gua.
Paper X would win?
All of us except for William.
Except
Will.
for William.
Truly is the will I am. Will he? Or will he not?
Diem kap, iya si
We have
kapa
20
ya.
seconds, so I'm just buying time, for this
Ini apa
round
nggak masuk ini
to
juga
pass
Secret
this
Lab?
by and get back into the action.
But I mean,
Yeah,
still just
itu kursinya
thinking about
bagus.
it, right? We haven't seen too much from
Nggak tahu,
Genji on the
jangan-jangan
defensive
ini.
side. We know that they have
Herban
the
Mille.
potential to push out, especially with a
Bentuknya
player
sih
like
mirip ya.
Texture at their
Itu kan
hands.
memang.
Yeah.
Paper X has to, be on guard.
Lah itu PRX yang menang
True, and
match
again,
satu.
they have to be
Lah
very
iya anjing.
aware of
Aneh
how
juga.
strong the rubble control
Kocak
can
ini.
be for Genji here. Again, it was
Terlihat
only a glimpse of what it could be on that
Ah,
pistol,
ini
but
aman
it
kalau di
can
game.
translate into these
Laki
gun
ya,
rounds
Recon.
a whole lot more. Now looking
Ah,
quickly into the ultimate cache of both of our teams, Paper X has got a little bit more of the
Ben, Reconnya, Ben.
strong suit with the blades and the
Hah?
showstopper available
Recon.
here, but Genji
Gua
not
nggak
lagging
pakai
too far
Fadil
behind.
sih,
If
Bang.
Texture can
Fadil,
get that
lu nggak
one
use
kill,
Fadil ya?
will have access to that showstopper.
Sebenarnya pakai sih gua dulu. Itu buat ngerekon ke arah itu kan.
Which is why Paper X is trying to get a read for
Arah
that
E.
off of Genji's timeout. We've seen their A, we've seen a bit of their C.
Itu tadi sisa time out.
Haven't
Kocak.
seen all too much
Emang
else.
Rek Joy fix digas ini.
Newly formed Paper
Wah,
X with
sama-sama.
Monyet now, just
Ya,
executing the C
keblok ya?
side.
Oh enggak deng.
Kind of bypassed Munchkin's judge. Oh, but look at that door play from Lakia.
Apa sih itu
Oh, man.
Lakia?
Udah buka pintu dia.
Door opens
Jagain
so
pintu.
quickly that you can't really sometimes react to.
Tapi masih ada ulti
punish
monyet,
that could
something bisa
follow
ulti,
up from
masih ada
the
4 second,
defenders,
masih
and you
bisa
see
ini.
that activated so quickly here.
Dia buka ultinya sih? Enggak ya?
Now just gonna be holding with
Something
the
gak tahu.
judge first. I do like this because again, you don't
Pick
want
ngasihnya
to
biar
play
double pick.
that close and
Iya.
hope for accuracy. You just want to go for the pellets first of this shotgun. Munch is gonna be first on the pedestal. He's getting very close. I don't know who's gonna get this one. On the corner, he will go be dropped down by something. Coming in right now is gonna be Monyet using
Nice thing.
that showstopper of his to delay even further.
Overthink.
3 on 3.
He's getting closer. Lakia as well.
Ke dalam nggak bisa cabut tuh.
Oke. 3v1.
Good for the first. But there's so many
Oke, nice. Mantap.
Push.
that he cannot even flick quickly enough to deal with. And that's going to be the 9-7 for Paper X.
Si aman, guys.
Yeah, great solve on the C site. You know, you
Dia
got
tapi ngeri.
something, you have a bit of utility, Divide with a guiding light
Mati
as
dua loh
well.
tadi, masalahnya malah
Especially
Lakia di belakang
Munchkin
tuh.
away, enough for something to get into position to do things like this. I mean, he was really a lot more calm.
Lah nggak ada yang teriak ya
in
berarti
this
menang
moment.
guys kalau nggak ada yang teriak.
And then picking up that Phantom and
3 lawan 5 apa 3 lawan 4 sih?
coming down to it as soon as they picked up those numbers, as soon as they figured out where Genji was going to approach from.
Izin
Much
aku
more
ya.
easy for Paper X to defend close plant.
Yeah, but again, Genji showing the same
Maksud
thing that
kasar banget,
they
anjing.
brought up here from that Breeze
Ya,
map,
elah,
which is
ting gara-gara
that they
ini nahu
can't
itu.
punish the
What?
in transit of Paper X, and they do it once again here in this round. Look at that. Something's been dropped down as well as Forsaken. Monyet frantically trying to get control here of C. Doesn't matter if he is alone or
Yeah.
with teammates.
Yeah.
A dodge from
Uh.
Gelo.
Oh my goodness. They're trying to rally behind that showstopper
Selamat, coy,
of
Tom G.
Texture. Great flash
Ya buta.
from Qeon. And
Ya.
it's all Monyet alone.
Lakia yang punya B anjing.
Sit down by
Woi,
Genji.
sumpah itu B-nya
What a thrifty round from the Koreans.
beton benar.
Beton banget si
I mean,
Lakia anjing
all
jaga
that
B.
utility, all those shots
Aduh.
starting things off. We had the Sheriff. And all they really
Waduh,
did
bro.
was kind of just wait for that contact from Paper X. Once that green light was
Lu main Flick
lit,
udah keren ya?
Genji knew exactly how to get going. And
Main
it
Flick udah
just
keren
definitely
boceknya.
is a Paper X that, once
Keren
again,
banget, anjing.
starting to get in their own heads a
Ya,
little
bener,
bit.
masuk
You know, you got the previous
flash,
round, things are starting to go. You know that Genji is on an eco, and you're like, all right, I can take them. You start to walk out, and it just
Habis timeout ya.
Oh,
just hurts, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And again, it boils down to, I don't want to assume, but it feels like they don't want to challenge A
Udah
for
mulai
the
mainin
moment,
di tangannya
because
nih,
again,
si
they're
coach
afraid
nih.
of that robo control, especially when they saw the texture was nearing his showstopper, so they wanted to try to go for
Wuting.
DRC.
Ini
And
Wuting
the
juga.
adaptability
Apakah
of
ini
that is
Wuting
very
juga?
quick. You can rotate either way
Pastinya
because you have
dong.
control of the door,
Wuting
but
semua, Cok.
somehow get pinched in transition of that.
Kecuali Monyet kayaknya dah.
And we see Genji utilize that for the past 2 rounds. Now Paper X feeling that pressure, gotta call for that timeout. It's not Genji getting that huge advantage.
Gimana guys, yang megang PRX masih pada pede kah?
You thought that Paper X was
Masih
gonna
pada pede kah bro? Ini
win
84%
Genji,
ini.
They're bringing it right back, baby.
That's just incredible from Genji.
Yang lagi nonton jangan lupa di like ya adik-adik, dikit lagi 500 bro. Berangkat gak sih like-nya biar cepet? Like-nya
And thinking about this game, but of course Paper X getting to buy
masih
up
2
on the
putaran.
defense
Oke
now.
oke, semangat banget.
Got it noted back on Forsaken. Something on that op again, but on the attacking side.
Okay. Oh,
Buset,
Hot
buset.
actually gave away the
Odonnya
position there
Bangkor
of
udah
something
keluar
as
nih.
well as Mind Freak. Nade did stop Paper Rex for just a few seconds here, Quack, but not really the biggest of hindrances for now.
Just letting them gain control over this spot, but look at the positioning that they have. Texture still up around, could go up the ropes if you needed. And then you've got
Kena
Munchkin
dikit.
just ready to welcome them with open arms on the other side of Link.
Texter's trying to delay as much as he can at the back of the site, hoping
Nyet.
that he can
Mantap
slow
Monyet.
Nets,
Gila
but he
Monyet.
will not.
Aduh,
Lakia
aduh,
coming
si
in to
Lakia.
pinch, at least stopping
Sabar.
some of this massive map control that Paper X has gotten on that A. Spike will get planted.
Seberapa tuh?
It's all about the
70.
retake here for Genji. Okay, Divide does find Munchkin here, making it a more palatable situation for Paper Rex.
Kena lu.
Lakia opening the door.
Mampus lu.
Enak loh.
With an Odin. Meteor's gonna just have to run away.
Kejar.
here.
Bener gak sih? Klasik PRX kejar gak sih? Kejar aja bro.
they're already pretty rich, so they can just buy up to the next
Cuek, gas. Cuek.
for Paper Rex.
Cuek, gas aja.
A little bit expensive, Monyet dying. But yeah, that's always funny when you open the door. Hello, say hello, my little friend, and Forsaken's on the other side. But
sorry, I just wanted to say that's why.
Ini kalah nggak ada lower kok, ada lower. Yang kalah ketemu RRQ nanti.
Not brand new news or anything, but this is a big reason why you can just wall bang for days that specific angle, whether you're attack or defending, and it is such a huge. Look at this! It's such a huge power play for you to be able to do that.
On the attacking side too, especially if you're behind Rubble, you can spray through and try to catch someone as they try to approach. And that's what Forsaken is doing again, just to give Paper Rex a little bit more map control. But yo, Qeon!
Okay, a little bit of an overreach here for Gen G for sure, as Mindfreak and Texture have been just blasted away. Speaking of which,
di Uber gitu sama monyet ya.
The showstopper comes to truly stop that show. 4 versus 3. We have a bit of calm here as Paper Rex do get access onto that A site, but the rest of Gen G already right now the back
dapat ulti dong dia kan.
Lockdown activated, but it is a little bit
Kalian
shallow.
segitu lagi.
Still is positioned, you can play
Tapi Tria masih dapat dikit, Tria
as
dapat
well as
dikit.
outside right there of stairs, and something holding the blades as well as the operator. This makes the long range fights a little bit more palatable here for Paper Rex. Haunt does give away his position. They use that Haunt to actually get closer, but Forsaken holds for something.
Santai, 1 lawan 2.
2 versus 1. That box
Mampu
not really
sekarat
giving
lu.
too many angles for him to have safety on. And if he gets peeked, it's going to be one in the front, one in the back. That's going to be Paper Rex 11-8.
So although they picked up quite a bit, making use
Turnier resmi Indo Valo masih ada, tapi yang ini Ascension deh, kalau nggak salah Ascension deh.
And that's always the thing about, you know, the A site. You've got
Udah lah, ini GG sama 2. Bisa menang PRX ini.
Stairs area that you can also
Kalau nggak troll ya, opsional guys ini. Mbak opsional banget ini.
I just again.
I don't care.
They're having fun. And when Paper Rex are having fun, you know it's a dangerous time for you. And I'm having fun, because that means we're going to get a game.
Udah nggak berani langsung di wall up.
You know, if not, something or
Lah, eta
will
bangkor.
get really in
Kena
their heads.
tembok.
What is this? Okay, just, you know, open the door, get tripped up, see what happens.
Gitu udah dibuka sama dia.
Wall has been called in.
Dia nyadar nggak sih harusnya rame nih.
Closer into the A main
Wah,
position.
gila.
That actually works in the favor here of Gen G.
guys.
As you saw, Forsaken get blasted very quickly. They're very close into the opposition right now, but Devi realizes that he has to come pinch in for his teammates. Oh my god.
Mampus lu. Hah, mau ngapain lu begitu lu di tracking kali?
Jangan trip-trip.
To use that floaty.
Gerak dia.
Jalan dulu baru nembak,
Position
Cok.
quickly. But now they know.
Aman ini nggak mungkin.
He's only got a Marshall in his hand here.
Possible anjing kalau menang.
It truly is danger time for him. If he loses this, Paper Rex will be on map point.
Alah, timingnya Jik.
Okay.
Ih, timingnya Jik, ya Allah.
Wah, anjing.
Lagi nge-smoke.
Hampir aja si Meteor ya.
That we saw from Gen G
Jago Marshall anjing.
doing things with the Marshall, but still,
Iya,
when you
Bang.
think about it,
Duelis,
Paper Rex
Bang,
definitely had
mantan
this run in the
duelis,
books.
Anjing mati 2
Very
nggak tuh.
close to it though. 2 kills.
Gila, kemarin Meteor sama Tekstur ganti-gantian Ben, sekarang dua-duanya menyala anjing.
Iya, anjing tai ya.
Find a way, pull off something unorthodox, right? Make use of that toxic screen to surprise
Dapat
the
dua nih.
players on the other side of it. That's it though. Monyet on the other side, Paper Rex having game plans. A plan B really.
Yang penting rame.
Apa ini?
Yang penting rame.
He's having fun.
I'm just gonna stay quiet here and let us just enjoy the laughs of Devi. Make that your
Kabur
soundtrack, ladies and
Lawi.
gentlemen. But as
Meteor siap nampung lagi di
spewing
C.
some nonsense words,
Semoga nggak
we've already
headshot
seen
deh.
some great impact
Tiga
action.
Oh, Davai ulti nih, Davai ulti.
Something's been taken away from the board. Again, Gen G still threatening a lot of that control on Rubble. This means that it's only down to really Monyet to entry into the site. Devi activates, but Meteor is here to just again anchor things.
Wah, chaos.
Access into that C site, and Paper Rex will have to scratch their heads a little bit here. What happened? We tried to push in and actually fall on our heads.
Kirinya,
Meteor repositions for this right angle.
Dok.
They might not know about this. And they will never do, as the smoke really just makes it difficult for them to gain any
Way too
point of
much.
control.
There's so much delaying that the rest of the Paper Rex members on the other side, if they go into this, it's not a favorable numbers duel.
Ulti ini Oman
Something
skin aja.
kind of losing the Qeon on the other side of the map as well. It just doesn't quite work
Wah.
out for them.
Forsaken nggak ketahuan kayak.
Genji gets to extend their lives
Ya.
in this map.
Iya.
Yikes, that haunt.
Gak ketembak lagi tuh
Truly
Recon.
going to be the nightmare there for Paper Rex, and you say it already, man. It's gonna extend the life
Santai nggak sih?
Ya,
here
duitnya
for
sedikit.
Genji.
Iya santai dulu nggak sih?
Texture's now gonna have himself the sniper in hand. What happened here at this point? Ah, yes, there it is. Qeon getting that quick rubble control. Paper Rex
Kayak enak banget ya. Emang Phantom enak guys. Gitu Phantom enak.
Masih
And then
king gitu.
Seaside, it was the same thing, but then Meteor was the one holding.
Santai dulu nih dapat
It's
satu.
tiny, slight
Ini dapat
bits
satu
of,
enak nih.
utility. You know, Meteor
Kita
has
lagi
the
deh.
nanoswarm. It kind of
Langsung dash kanan dah, coba dah. Something langsung dash ke Rubble dah.
Follow up with Monyet
Ah.
because of it.
Dash ke Rubble, blind deket.
Keep in mind, Paper Rex has spent both timeouts at this
Alah.
point. They're on an eco. It's a bit of a half buy, but it's starting to bite them in the back. Ooh, Qeon, where did he come from?
Anjir,
Picks
line.
up the 2K. There's the quick flash from the buy. Okay, oh, hold on.
Aku lagi,
The gets two.
But never mind. All right, I'll bite my
Anjing,
tongue there.
anjing.
12 to
Mengerikan bro.
10. Genji really having solid control on Rubble, man. There is no answer for Paper Rex in these past few rounds.
Past two at the very least. The adaptations, I mean, that's
Udah nggak sih?
another thing.
Udah nggak sih? Udahlah.
Structure, you know, all of them are giving
Udahlah,
ideas as
ayo
to
nggak
how they
sih?
want to approach the map
begitu,
or
anjir.
figure out ways to deal with Genji. But yeah, they've spent those
Apakah saatnya?
timeouts, and this means, you know, unless there's a clear answer, we
Lah.
might actually have an overtime in our hands.
Half shield 4.
Paper Rex are running out of credits to actually fall back on for the moment too.
Apa?
This
Maling
camera,
poti.
Texture and an off.
yeah, there you go. Does give away the position too of his opponent right in front of him.
Hei, maling poting.
It's only Forsaken really just holding A main. He wants to be able to anchor this by himself. From the looks of things, that will allow Paper Rex to again, make do
Gue
with
baru mau
this.
baca. Gue baru
So
mau
far
baca.
back from both sides, man. They haven't
Ah,
really
entot
done
abu.
this kind of slower approach.
Kenapa
at
foto
all
di
in this
masker
map.
gak pede ya? Tenang Gi, gue bantuin Gi.
There's not that much
Anjing.
control.
Capek nggak sih?
One-way smokes are all being spent up around this one spot. And then, of course, you still got Munchkin available with that toxic screen. A is a very difficult spot to hit right now, but trying to make something happen off of the Odin suppressive fire.
Please.
Okay, they open the doorway
Listing.
into tree. Texture, here you go. Inside the smoke is going to be Qeon. The Paper Rex are pushing blind into the side. They gotta just go for that big contact. Something.
Bentar.
Finding Munchkin.
Bentar Gi, saron Gi, bentar Gi.
Showstopper activated. Does that stop the plant on the spike?
Okay.
Yes, it will
Tuh,
be.
Vito, bye.
But it's trade for trade here, Quack. It's not the end of the world. Something repositions. Almost gets hang by the
Yang
rope
makin main
side.
fit.
Lakia pushed
Ih,
down.
ngeri banget
Something
something.
exploding at this point.
Bagus banget
There's the
movementnya
plant
deh.
on the spike. Two
Meteor,
versus one for
Gig,
Meteor,
Gig.
but
Awas, ada
Meteor
Meteor, guys.
Enggak,
truly
tawan dong,
been
kelawan ini kelawan.
miracle worker at this point. They're backing up into the corner.
Gila bro, something bro.
4K, and we are
Mari,
going
mari.
to map number 3.
Gila itu sih something solo anjing itu.
I mean, in that last
Untung lu
round,
ting.
Untung lu ting anjing. Gila something tadi movementnya itu bagus banget sumpah. Dia tadi udah tahu kan, omennya di Rubble kan, TP balik. Berarti teriak kosong dong. Langsung buka tri langsung masuk anjing.
Passwordnya password normal, password.
Something ngebaca ini bagus banget tadi.
Bang Winda bersuara lagi menempatkan mandi. Wah, tuh kan Gi. Winda lab mandi Gi. Tuh dengerin kita tadi malam itu.
Telat panasnya. Dia baru pakai Yoru, baru bener baru pakai Jet, baru bener ini.
Ini
Gue bilang dia rada kurang kalau Yoru dia kurang apa ya? Kurang menguasai bro, kurang menguasai tadi.
The score is now 1-1, and it seems like Paper Rex here, they are being challenged by Genji.
Map 3 apa? Sunset. Iya, Sunset.
Prepare
Sunset ya.
specifically for Paper Rex, and it looks like they are showing they did their research very well.
No, they very much did, but this was a much better effort from the side of Paper Rex. I mean, you can see 14 first kills there for the side of Genji, only able to get.
Yoru masih bang. Kalau Yoru ya Bang For nanti somethingnya pakai apa bro?
And now we go to map.
Gak mungkin dia pakai ini kan?
We're gonna get a nice
Nggak tahu deh, itemnya cuman ini. Kalau yang sesuai ya, Jet Reina, something pakai Gecko, pakai Yoru tuh kurang gitu. Pakai Bridge tuh.
One of these maps that just doesn't really
Sunset beres banget nih sih. Coba kita lihat lagi ya statistik. Kita lihat data lagi.
Yeah, I mean,
ya.
any of these, there was many that went down to kind of 1v1s, 1v2s, things like that.
Kita
And
cek.
many good chances for those clutches to happen. Obviously, none of them really coming through on the scoreboard. But the other thing is Paper X, I mean,
Duh, nge-lag lagi
they
Cok.
gotta brush up
Gua
on the
pencet
pistols,
apa
right?
nih?
And the anti-ecos, because they are losing either the pistol or the anti-eco consistently throughout the series. If
Crash streaming. Ya enggak, nanti pas stay di dashboard berarti gua harus ini dong, harus buka streaming dong.
Ini enggak. Oh, ini berarti Sunset 1,
Bentar, dashboardnya mana
2,
anjir?
3, 4. Dari 4 match
Gak ada, Gi.
kalah 3. Menang 3, kalah 1. Sunset ya. Coba kalau si Genji gimana ya?
Terus
Sure,
gua
but I think one
cancel
thing
kan.
that still hasn't changed for Paper X is how they use that Odin on this map, right? It's not just to get the kills through the walls, but it's actually to constantly
Lawan Sentinel awal menang dia, yang kedua kalah ya. Agentnya Qeon, Gecko, Raje, Omen, Cypher.
Saya sih gua 12 detik ya.
Sama.
You know what? I think that like
Sama
okay, Paper X
semua.
did win this map, but it wasn't a very convincing
Ada
win.
Gi,
You know,
ada.
there were a lot of
Gua
times
liat,
where
anjing gak lagi galer
they
kan.
could have won
Guys,
rounds
melihat
like
guys.
a lot. This could have been a lot faster. This could have been a lot easier for them. But
Udah.
so many times where they were like, there's hesitation. There was a little bit of miscom. There was a little bit of missed opportunities, which.
Guys, kita pindah ke router kapan guys? Sekarang kali? Apa abis ini kali? Apa gimana? 2 jam nih guys di YouTube.
Bisa Pak. Ini saya pencet jangan ini. Ini berarti saya refresh dulu ya. Soalnya hijau terus dia. Refresh,
Genji.
cancel. Oke, aman Pak, aman Pak. Silakan Pak, udah lewat 3 menit Pak.
Sunset 1.
Kenapa Pak Osin? Proyeknya.
Just a net neutral when it comes down to the KD, because there were so many great moments where he was the one that was saving them. That 4K that he had just a couple rounds towards the end there. Texture as well, putting up significant numbers. That continues here.
Jawaban sih ini.
So going into Sunset, I really don't know what to expect. I need to see what Gen G is going to be bringing
Dari yang
on that map.
ini kayak udah Pacific LCQ beda kan ya Genjinya ya? Coba.
there is a worrying trend here for Texture is that
Abis ini kali ya? Boleh deh abis ini ya.
over 300 ACS. And I know this sounds like a joke, but this has always been the trend for his career as well. If he's not top ranking out of his mind.
Atau sampai yang sini doang sih Convergence nih, kalau yang Pacific iya udah beda ini. Sunset saat dia cuma menang 1 game loh Sunsetnya. Genji 1 game menang. Sunsetnya Paper X Sunsetnya dari 4 game menang 3 kalah 1. Kalahnya sama Sentinel.
Sabun bang.
Ya kan beda kan.
Kayak
sini dulu nih, Sueb.
So it's kind of like he's at 100%.
Gimana guys?
Saya bener pulau permandi.
Si pede kah?
Bro, rumahnya bro.
Coba ya kita bikin buat map 3 Sunset nih.
Oh biar tutupin konten.
Alongside Texture, so hopefully that gives him a little bit of comfort of knowing, okay, it's not just my individual score that's kind of making or breaking the game.
Harusnya sih kalau sesuai data kayak X sih oke sih harusnya.
Yeah, I think that
Harusnya.
Meteor, was definitely a player, you know, that
Absen aku bahasanya baru pulang sekolah. Sore Iki.
versus like 3 or
Di City Apak nggak ada libur ya, nggak kayak Amerika. Ada.
Oh,
Harusnya.
surely he doesn't win this, but somehow he
Wah,
does.
wait kita
You
cek.
put any gun in this guy's hands, and he's going to be able to deliver the results. The Marshal, especially, he just demands respect when he is wielding
Amat
that
ini Gi,
weapon.
belum
And he's
bugil
put
saya.
proven it time and time again. Something though,
belum
with some great moments throughout this. Just kind of getting back into
Kita lihat ya.
the Euro in the first map. It definitely had its hitches.
Namatin
but
mandi, Bang.
here, back to maximum comfort. You can see he was going for those ankle, those wrist break
Ada
plays,
part duanya.
where he just goes dashing over top of somebody's hip. That shorty in hand just helped
Ada
him
part
down.
And I like
duanya
that
nggak
you're
bang?
seeing that because the peaks that we're seeing from something continue to remind us of what we saw.
LR gue
last
begini
year
dari kemarin
with
dah.
that MVP and VCT Pacific.
Bang, kenapa ya Udin?
But again, it's not as consistent as we're used to seeing throughout the 2023 season.
That's
Asik
the thing,
sudung
you
deh.
know, you see the
Udah emas
adjustment
Udin nih.
come in because they do have Monyet there, right? Taking over the reins of the Rays, so to say, over on Lotus. And you do see how sometimes, you know, the coordination isn't quite there, but towards the end, towards the later half of that map, I do feel like, okay, they were in sync, and you know, the entries that Monyet was getting was definitely something like, oh, reminiscent from like way back when.
Yeah, it very much was. And I think a lot of that does also have to do with just going back to
19.
a composition that's a lot more comfortable,
Yes.
a map that's a lot more comfortable.
Ada liburnya. Ada guys, ini Talon waktu itu main tanggal 18, tanggal 19 nggak main. Tuh. Waktu itu Genji main lawan RRQ tanggal 17, main lagi tanggal 19. Ada. Tapi ya tiap hari, tapi timnya nggak main berturut-turut gitu loh. Ada istirahatnya juga. Nih 17 Bleed, Qeon main lagi tanggal ada libur sehari kok. Katanya versi Bante sama Genji di Scream Sunset. Serius lu? Lu pernah lihat di mana sih? Begitu-begitu.
Kayaknya dulu udah gue
Kalau Amerika lumayan lama liburnya ya. Ya sih energi aja pas menang pertama terus selanjutnya 24 gitu.
Udah puber lah.
He'll be fine to continue onward with that one going in towards sunset. My biggest question is there.
Penonton energi lagi padahal deh.
Oh ya Mas, lu tamatin live missing, lu kan cuma semenit tuh. Udah.
Have they decided, okay, you know what, we
Live
showed this
missing,
during the
berak.
tournament. This is what they'll likely expect us to run. Let's
Lu
go,
baru start
you know,
live nih.
double duelist,
Halo
something
guys.
like that.
Lah,
Or have
udah
something
cebok.
just continue on the jet, or do they even have something else up their sleeves?
Yeah, and that's what's scary with PaperX because again, we're dealing
tamat.
with a team that is very, very
Gue liat di
flexible,
vlognya
right?
PRX,
And what
for
they
second
show
kayaknya yang
during
ngomong.
off-season tournaments
Vlog
may
yang
not be
mana?
exactly what they have planned specifically for Gen G.
Yang
As for
champion
Gen
dong
G,
berarti.
I do believe that there's no information on their sunset just yet, which could be a very, very good thing for them,
Review
especially
jual
since
nggak sih Ben
as we
PTKT-an
saw in the
sama
coaches
cewek?
interview, like these two have been studying each other for quite a long while, and I do think that for Gen G, they're
bos-bosan.
right
Konten yang
on
mana, guys?
momentum right now. Yes, they did lose that
Mana
previous
ada,
map, but it didn't feel like
member gua
that was
habis
a
juga,
very close
anjing.
scoreline. It's been 13-10 for both maps so far.
Yes,
Belum
so
Yang
I think the
vlog
biggest thing for
mukbang.
Gen G is obviously
Nggak ada, bro.
it's not
Siapa?
Yang
necessarily that
KBBQ
you're getting,
Encil
like,
yang paling
right
baru
over
berarti.
firepower.
Oh,
Yeah.
si
Yang
baru ini
gua
berarti.
Having a lot of pride about we know that we're very strong mechanically, we know we can fight back individually. Okay, they've proven that time and
Nggak
time
ada,
again
bro.
so far in
Gila.
both matches, and especially
Lu main di
if you're
Srimi
a
Game
team
Chill langsung
of
dapet
people
cewek ya,
who are
ngeri lu, Ju.
specific in that regard, that is very good news. Now when it comes to
Aju.
Bukan
Sunset,
gitu,
sure,
bro.
there's not much
Gimana dong
to
jadi?
follow, but they did show what they've prepared coming
Anu,
into
Bang.
kickoff now, and I can't imagine that it's going to change too drastically. So the question is Gen G, do they have some more in the bank, or is PaperX
Lu
just going to be able to
lu manggilnya apa Ju? Ade?
Yeah, and looking at these
Apa?
map highlights that we have, right?
Gila,
Ju.
You see these rounds
Ade-
with
Ade
very
Darmawan gua
individual
manggilnya.
performances here, and I do have to single out Qeon, who was just so amazing. And Qeon, we were pointing out how this kid, he's definitely making his mark. He's so consistent as well.
Yeah, he really is. It's been so very impressive.
Tuh,
because,
kata
again,
Farid,
a little
Soli
bit of a
katanya
slow
gitu.
start in the RQ series, but then just
Ben sampai jam berapa tadi pagi, Ju?
he started at an 11.
Sampai jam
when he
berapa?
came into
Setengah
today,
tiga kayaknya.
and that was a big
Gila.
reason
Discord dia.
Berapa jam tuh lu main berarti, Ju?
going in towards Lotus as well.
Hampir
His
6 jam
timing
lah.
and just decision-making
Gila,
is
lu perasaan kalau main di Soy cuma
have all
setengah jam?
been very much on point here,
Apa?
and having a solid controller, I mean, we
Gimana,
know
bro?
how important that is.
Capek
It's one of the
juga.
most important roles
Nyari player.
you could have, a star player
Parah.
for any team. That's why
Pasti.
Basso is so reveled and has been
Kan
for many,
dulu.
many years. So
Sekarang kan
I
udah
think
berkembang,
this is
bro.
such a bright
Nanti malam Soy kita.
there for, Qeon.
Malam.
We'll see if that's
Soy,
maintained
Soy.
as we go into sunset.
Yes, and speaking of that sunset, speaking of Qeon, when they played it against RQ in that map 3, that's when Qeon was
Sparring
still
apa?
adjusting, and he was the only person in the server hold that bot because we've got a Sage
Oh,
coming
Pamel.
back.
4-4 ya? Ayo. Coba si ini ada nggak ya?
Luis udah ngechat gue dari tadi.
Baru mau Soi Gi.
Gua chat nih.
Kenapa sih giliran gue mau main Soi lu menghalangi gue gitu.
Pamel.
Soy sono gue gantiin. Ada banyak kok.
Jam
Kabar lu
berapa?
main Soy.
Mas
Ayo, lu main
Luis
Soy,
nanti.
Awas lu main Soy.
Assalamualaikum.
Awas lu yang main Pamel ya nanti malam lu ngentot gue.
Sorry Gi.
But I actually
Enggak Pamel
Ah,
Gi.
lu malah
Pamel.
si Soy lu. Gue liatin.
he's still running
Sagi,
the
anjir.
guy just can't get
Pamel
it
Gi,
back
Pamel
Miss
Gi.
Ben.
throughout the round now in this version
Loh.
of Valorant. So that wall, those
Aduh, gua
swarms
ketinggalan
GG.
anjing ngeliatin orang mandi.
GW without a duelist, we're about
GG,
to move on
anjing.
into map number 3 between PaperX and
Aduh.
Gen G. Quack and Asarai, over to you guys.
Aduh.
Cuman di bentar.
For that, our amazing desk.
Aduh, bro.
And yeah, I was
Aduh.
actually going to add as well. You know, in terms of the questions they were throwing away at us.
Aduh, jing ini mah.
Mulu mulai.
Sir,
Udah
Dekor
mulai,
Veris.
anjing.
Viper has such a high tiering here.
Nggak
How will
ada, anjing.
PaperX actually deal
Aduh,
with
anjing.
requires what they
Real
don't
aduh ini
have?
mah.
Let's say a Sova, you know, to break it easy.
Aduh.
Ini beneran adu gak sih nih?
Tapi chatnya dulu sih.
PaperX, duelist.
Chatnya dulu ya, tapi kayak susah dah.
Aduh gak tau dah, gue mau tutup bed dulu anjing. 3, 2, 1 tutup.
A head scratcher. This entirely
Dia berarti ngeganti ininya ya, si Race ya.
Actually, I don't think we ever see it.
Yeah.
But you know, it is PaperX after all.
Say that 10
Soalnya
times
kemarin
faster.
emang yang duelist Jing
But
doang
I
kan.
will say on Sunset, the Sage walls are pretty insane because you can get into some good elevations that the smokes of Genji.
Sebenarnya bisa aja main freak yang Omen, Davai Viper, Monyet Riz kan.
This one as well as we can see here on
Ini
market, but Genji's
meta
very
baru nih
aware of this, and
kayaknya.
the
Meta
Vile
baru
is
deh.
almost taken down, but the separation though does allow them to get the pickup onto Munchkin. Now, the rest of Paper Rex is going to be holding back the site, and they're just going down to work. Genji not in a comfortable spot, and they're just going to have to
TTS sih udah pasti
wiggle their
oke
way
nih,
out of
habis.
this as we turn
Juga
into
sekarat
2
lagi,
versus
Cok.
1, but this could be a quick transition if
Meteor.
Meteor can
Dia juga sekarat sih.
some good timings on this, but he gave away that location of his because he threw out the camera.
Just a little bit known and
TT-nya
obvious.
sih enak pasti. Gue yakin TT-nya enak banget ini.
Holding things back. I mean, this is what we
Keren,
want to
tapi
see from them on
gimana
the
ya?
attack, from the defending side. You've
Match
got
ketiga.
that Sage wall, which is actually really interesting because it blocks off market, and now it allows for the rest of them just to, be free in a target-rich environment. We know that they're going to approach from A main. We can just hold our ground and start picking them off bit by bit. Mind Freak with that ghost shot, picking up the double kill, and that's the Paper X that we see.
Aku mau tuh.
At least for these next couple of rounds, before Genji gets those rifles, the Sage wall is going to be somewhat harder to break down, so there should be a lot more safer position for Paper X to drop it in.
Gara-gara ngower sesering mungkin Pedulus makan dibantai-bantai.
Tapi
Tapi bisa jadi itu konten doang sih guys. Masa dia bilang gue bantai-bantai. Kalau misalkan dia ngebantai-bantai, gue nggak mungkin, gue nggak yakin dia bilang bantai-bantai sih. Jadi dia yang menang guys.
2 pelor dapat 3 kecil lah.
Ya enggak, siapa tahu dia teori ini kan.
That's what 300% success.
Ilmu padi kan nggak tahu juga bro.
Ulti.
In any
How could
case,
you? We are, we're supposed to be good at math.
why?
Because we have phones that have
Jadi begitu ya.
calculators, and you can check it.
Good save, good save. That said, yes, I mean, we do have calculators. We have, the credit score being, calculated for
Ini
us.
mah
Forsaken
biar
getting a lot of
aku
those
yakin
frags.
aman
and
nih.
it's
Lekker
really
dia.
putting a door stopper to anything that Genji throws at them. Not to mention Mind Freak up the lurk, and also towards the last kill on towards Qeon. They kind of knew that this would be where Genji was approaching from, and it's just a good check from Forsaken nonetheless. So interestingly enough, we're swapping around roles so much from the Cypher now to the KO. Oh, and a Sage wall that moves them up. That's what the Outlaw and the
Map 3, map 3.
Love the elevation. I told you, there is going to be so many cheeky positions that you can utilize this with. And of course, the byproduct of just blocking off a certain pathway that Genji will have to break or wait for it to break. Which, as you can see, forces Genji to be a whole lot more respectful of just, pushing up into these certain positions.
Lah, nanti dia Rabu main.
Meteor, boat spotted.
Yeah, they don't want to lose their full buy run all that quick, right? They don't want to give the bonus over to Paper X, and so just trying to be very careful off mid-cut noise and then the execution through. Texture getting this first frag actually does so much for us, because now they have more options, not to mention Munchkin making use of tiles to walk up front on mid.
Tiket.
Did they close the door on market though? It's still open, isn't it? Okay, there you go. Still closed up, so Forsaken doesn't have
Jam
to
berapa
worry
ya
about
Mas
that
Luis
for the
kita
moment.
main?
No, for Genji
Jam
just yet.
9 enak.
9 enak sih.
For
Enak sih.
Boleh.
cook for the moment,
Gas.
but since they have some of their players have to go for the half shields, the Outlaw absolutely terrifying.
Berapa?
Texture's already here. The
Gas.
sides and the damage, the aim, the
Wah, gila.
Satu orang cepet ya.
Forsaken pushing it, picks up so many weapons.
Oh, berarti satu tim 100.000.
Inspector Gadget.
Satu tim 400.
Satu tim 400. Gope gak sih? Kalian nanggung gak sih?
He's waiting for something. Who has the wingman?
Dapat. Aduh.
Oh no,
Or.
stun. No way, he actually
Aduh, sayang banget bro, udah keren.
two headshots, holds it off even through the pressure.
Ah, tadi gue kayak
chasing him down to the edge
nanya
here.
Mas Luis, main ini jam berapa dikirimin keyboard nih.
Malum keyboardnya baru nyampe tadi.
Kata
Oh, iya.
Suruh pamerin dulu.
Itu pakai switch apa?
Review
Keyboardnya?
Apa? Qeon Q5 Pro.
Picron. Oh, Picron.
Gini ya? Kayak Mas Lugi gini.
Keyboard gue switchnya cuma analog lagi. Yoi, nyari rapid trigger gue.
Aduh bahaya di Jig.
Qeon newcomer for Gen G,
Tinggal nunggu
already
customer
showing
doang nih.
why
Line up IGMC.
you know,
Mana line up
in
IGMC
that
nih?
spot. This time though, it will get punished. Divide
Iya, gue belum.
holding a very high angle
Yang pasti
here.
ada Mas Eko
Not
sih.
getting it spotted,
Mati.
so he will get some
mati.
damage in, but
Iya.
Meteor somehow manages to get that backside control
Dua
already,
lagi,
opens it up.
apa namanya?
Will not have the North left for
Dirahasiakan.
moment at least.
Bisa Din, kan wingman kalau
Gope
udah
ya.
ke-trigger kayak nge-stun gitu kan. Nge-stunnya tuh kayak lurus doang.
Is he really gonna
Kalau misalkan lu ke kirinya,
this?
Aman,
And
aman.
lock in.
pisau nggak sih? Pisau.
Pisoin dulu nggak sih?
Parah tadi
Ayo,
pisau
to
anjing.
welcome him
Duh, udah 4-0 ini.
Lalu
to
pada
the
telat ya, bro.
blades, to Toto
Sabar,
Gaming.
gua cosplay dulu deh.
Is-
Bos.
Kalau kalah bisa ngebal lagi apa gimana?
We are in Sunset. You know, it's located in
Tergantung kondisi
LA.
dan situasi. Kalau jamnya masih memungkinkan, gas.
But you gotta admire
oke,
the
oke.
movement.
Kok lama ya sekali match dia?
Tergantung turnnya sih.
Tergantung nyetingnya gimana sih. Biasanya sih ya sejaman lah ya satu game ya.
Enggak, biasanya kita yang lama itu. Kita turn gila tuh.
Gi.
Kita kalau main.
Lu download dulu berarti Gi mapnya Gi. Yang Juan kemarin tuh ada di ngobrol santai.
Lo kan pakai yang mau yang workshop itu apa yang biasa?
Oh Juan ikut kita ya?
Ikut kita bener
Oh,
berempat.
tadi katanya soi dia.
Again, you know,
Oh
just to
iya benar. Buang aja dah.
get in a different point. It felt
Maksudnya gimana
this
itu?
is the
Enggak,
comeback
jadi ada
for
map yang
something
baru-baru,
in
Bos.
this
Seru-seru.
specific or in this
Workshopnya
specific
Wah,
area.
ada absen
He's
terus.
Standar dari situ.
He's been putting the hours in that outlaw, man. I mean, he
Aman
doesn't even
sih.
have to
It's
deal with
kayak
headshot. It's
ini
all
juga
body shots
ada
for
yang
him.
baru.
It's an answer back to whatever Meteor
Ada
and
Juan,
Texture
ada
did
Juan,
to them
map
in
baru.
map 1.
Fair enough.
Iya.
Brand new semua brand new.
Mind Freak now repositioning. Smoke
Siap-siap
Kalau
aja
enggak
ke
ini
pantai,
Gi
Bos.
dibikin
doesn't allow
kalau
him to
misalnya
push
Ini
outside
gua
of
udah
40
niat banget
immediately,
ini.
but
Makanya Rapli udah Pli.
Yang awalnya nggak
Kita
official
ngirim
Gi.
aja. Biarin gua ntar malam enak ke pantai.
doesn't matter though. As
Outlaw
Azzy
only ini
chased
Jik.
Monyet into the back of the
Banyakin
side.
yang
The rest of
tembak-tembakan
Paper
kali,
was
Jik.
there to
Gimana,
trade
Jik?
him off.
Kan bisa ini Gi.
Gas.
Misalnya yang pertama official, ntar kalau ngebal yang workshop.
And that's kind of how Paper X
Bal,
reacts so
boleh.
quickly.
Iya boleh,
As
ada
soon as they
dua
can
match
confirm
lah.
that the hit was headed
3
towards
match.
the site,
Kan
you
asik.
had everyone rotating over.
Kalau
And just to kind
kita
of
10 kali
set up
menang,
around it.
gimana?
Forsaken gets those 2 kills. Pretty much confirmed that the hit was headed towards B.
pelatih 10 kali kalah kontol.
Okay, I was waiting for like something else for him to say.
Time out
and he
langsung.
said, guys, so
Udah pusing gitu.
yeah. Anyways, this
kali gini
change of graphic is means that we are calling the timeout possibly from
ada yang gantiin slot MCG
Gen
Mas.
G.
Kenapa itu?
I don't think
Gak
Paper X,
apa-apa kita lagi
you know,
capek.
how much direction and success they've had in these rounds.
Oh iya.
Be the
iya.
one. And because you're absolutely right, right? Outlaw
Di ini nggak
is
sih
getting so
apa?
much impact
Dimasukin
as of the
ke
moment. And it seems
Apa
like
tuh?
again, Gen G
daftar
can't
utang
really
gitu
find
nanti
that
pas
answer
juara
against
baru
it.
dia potong gitu.
Waduh.
Moving up into the
Waduh.
point
Oh
where
bisa
Forsaken
kasbon
is
itu
Kasbon.
Kasbon dulu itu.
Iya,
a double
Kasbon.
to this is
Mohon
he's not the
maaf,
only one
Kasbon
playing.
dulu.
It's him. Right behind him has been something, right? So if he misses, something immediately throws out
Apa
the dizzy
sekalian aja
at a
nih,
high enough
nanti
angle.
bikin
It
bos
flashes
buahan.
the rest of Gen G. They
Kalau
back
begitu
away,
game tuh,
allows
pakai
Forsaken
BO-BO-an,
or something
kalau
to
nggak
reset
pakai
the fight
breakout, anjing
and
tuh.
put themselves in a
Seru
position where they're
banget.
more ready to
Breakout
go for the
apa?
second count.
That's
Ini
actually
coba
such
doang kan.
like
Paling
the
itu
interesting
kalau
thing about
4-4
this
akumulasi
composition
poin ya, Ben?
because the initiators kind of double up as duelists.
Akumulasi
They don't
poin nggak
have
sih?
the same
Iya di
ability.
ending
But with
aja.
the flashes that they've got, it's almost like a phoenix but better.
Kalau enggak ini aja.
It's just really, you
Tiap
know,
minggu ganti-ganti aja game ya. Misalnya minggu ini Pambal nih, nanti
such
minggu depan
things.
ganti
It
game.
works on
Apa?
the defense, on the attack,
Gitu ya,
we'll have to wait to see.
gope terus
Right
ya.
now, Gen
Terus
G
sih
has called the
kayaknya.
timeout, so
Apa
they
ya?
can
Game
Seru.
yang aneh ya?
going for the
Kalau
full
yang
commit
gampang
into
mah
A instead.
Valorant dong, gampang. Game
Kalau Valorant yang gue bilang kemarin sih, yang diacak gitu.
Very much committed a lot of
Yeah.
utility
Yeah.
just to get
Aneh
into
mah,
the
PB.
main. They haven't even pushed it
Gopur,
pushed
gopur.
yet on Link. They haven't committed the push yet on Elbow.
I'm scared about
Fatima like lagi 500 guys tuh. Berangkat nggak sih? Kata KS like dulu guys.
How many players are already here on tiles?
Bisa tuh.
Does Munchkin hear the footsteps though?
Main
He
golf.
tucks himself in the corner. They might not be able to.
FIFA, siapa tahu nanti mau FIFA kan?
FIFA nggak sih?
Gas. Wah FIFA pas banget sih. Gua FIFA banget dari dulu gua. Ayo.
FIFA banget.
Ya dia kan nggak tahu bro. So jago aja gua. Aduh nggak mati lagi. Lu 1 lawan 2 nya kalah mulu dah 2 kali.
But they got themselves out of a tight situation
Enggak.
courtesy of the man, the myth,
Boleh
the texture.
dicoba.
Cuman bisa sih
Made
ngebantai
the round
kalian bisa
expensive,
kan.
but yeah, what a way to bail out the team.
Kalau dari kita yang FIFA mulu si Juan tuh Juan FIFA banget ya.
Truly
Bennett gak sih?
pulling things
Kayak
up
gitu?
to secure it. One more round for
Dulu, bener gak sih?
Boleh Juan.
That said, though, I mean, PaperX, what a good way to push down tiles.
I love the reaction story that he just did. Was a quick sigh into a haha.
Puncaknya tuh
Alright, same play here for Texture.
beneran.
No contact just yet. No, they're really pressing up into this. They're not slowing down compared to last round here, Quack. So it is a full commitment right now for Gen G. They want to get a quick start onto this post plan from the looks of things. They want to position for that, for the goods of this, as I mentioned, post plan, and save up as much utility for when PaperX tries to come in into the site.
Yeah, right. Same thing coming through. They know that PaperX is definitely not going to make the exact same play. Something investing into these operators as well. So
Partai 5 lah Mas,
unless they can
4-4.
get clear vision, it's going to be so difficult for them to break through. And that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Meteor into the corner here. Loving the use of the wingman to actually clear corners rather than defuse the spike. If he gets a target, that's an
Nggak mungkin menang.
Textures is so far. Even if he can win some of the fights, he's just way far from stopping defusing that spike.
Lah nggak apa-apa bos, gue udah nggak pernah main PB kan.
Oh, PB itu ya.
Tiap hari GTA gue sekarang. Kemarin baru main game lagi ini, PUBG PC gue kemarin.
PB mainnya pakai joystick, gak apa-apa dah gue jabanin. Kalian
bisa nembak gitu.
Just as quick, and you're talking about Texture, but PaperX, the movement that they got, comfortable on this Omen.
Kalau mau rame-rame sekalian tuh lah untuk PB itu.
88 ya, PB kalau PB 88. Pas 88 kan?
Ya.
Jatuhnya udah kena mental duluan gak sih anak-anak gua?
Itu mah langsung aja siapin rekening ke Magic aja itu.
Udah bro, lawannya sMagic sama Benny Moza udah deh, dia duluan deh gitu lu. Ya.
CS kalau enggak yang ada recoil-nya.
Nah,
sama aja kalau tembak-tembakan.
CS.
Kalah semua kayaknya.
CS gue nggak main CS bos gue.
Udah lama itu pada nggak main.
Gue baru mainnya pas bawa CS 2 gue.
Iya kan yang diadu CS2 bukan CS1
gitu. Kalau CS gue nggak pernah main gue. Baru CS 2 pas kemarin baru keluar tuh baru main gue.
Dota nggak sih kita adu?
Wah,
Nggak saya dulu. Gue main dulu Gi. Gue main dulu.
Serius lu anjing.
Main gue.
Oke. Habis lu, mampus.
Bisa gue main Dota gue pakai sniper, pakai Ricky lah gue main itu bisa.
Kalian aja Dota sama ML.
Iya mendingan ML.
Aduh
ML.
Iya.
Kayaknya kita bahan bulian itu mah kalau
Gue semua game gas gua.
Dari seru-seru sekalian dah.
Boleh, habis Pamal sampai tahu. Lagi kan.
Baca ini aja sekalian kalau nggak bos. F1 ya F1.
Iya balapan pernah nggak Mas Luis? Balapan
Belum. Bang ada ya game?
Belum. Ada F1.
Download dulu dah. Main aja dulu, coba main.
F1 23.
Seru tuh, itu lu gak boleh nabrak, gak boleh apa, harus halus tuh, gak boleh main
bisa ber-20, iya.
Kayaknya 700.000 dikali
22
orang GMC kan.
22 ya kalau nggak beli.
Kalau dibeliin satu kan yang lainnya ini.
Iya, enak kalau nggak 22 aja.
Yang F1 22, yang Xbox
Iya.
kan gratis tuh.
Kalau mau mah 22 aja.
Iya.
22 itu dia di Xbox Game Pass per bulan cuma gocap.
Masih oke lah kalau itulah. Kalau 23 mahal banget. Gue juga belum beli sih.
Tapi kayaknya juga bentar lagi F1
tuh
23
banyak
sih.
game juga.
Langsung.
Setengah tahun ya.
Gila, belum di plan udah di walls itu ya nih Ben.
Gila ya, siapa ya?
Mau kemana nih yang di side kalau begini?
Dikunci tuh.
TP nggak sih dia kalau si Meteor dapet ini?
Korbanin anjing.
Pamal,
Kenapa?
ada punya dia.
Aman Pamal mah.
Pamal, partai minimal.
Kabar. Kabar Fai.
Aman sih.
Ini dapat nih satu jerok.
Udah lu berak aja
Oke.
Lu anjing.
Lu udah berak.
Yang ini Ben aja Mas Luis nih.
Itu di box. Nice.
Kabar. Wah, hampir aja. Ngeri Ben, ngeri.
Tiket.
Tiket mulu.
Pas beli itu kemarin presale yang pertama berapa tiket itu?
Dikit.
Berapa? 100 200.
Pokoknya dikit deh.
Dikit pokoknya ya.
Full box sold out anjing. Iya, banyak nih yang nanya
Nunggu
harga
Mas Eko
sama
nih.
berapa banyak.
Tiket.
Pada nggak kebagian soalnya kemarin.
Kategori kode promo sama langsung dapat. Iya, tiket.
Iya. Ini tiket. Nanti ngobrol sama Mas Nugi ini harus.
Lupa maaf kita Mas Lu.
Iya. Nanti kalau kalah Pamer potongan itunya aja dari tiket.
Now they're mixing up. For
Kalau kalahnya banyak, lama-lama kagak untung kita jadi buntung ya kan. Jatuhnya kita pedagang.
Soalnya pada malas ngewar.
Malam ada scrim, ada kita lawannya scrim lawan di GMC nanti malam. Bukan lawan tim-tim ini.
Udah.
Hadiah langsung kan yang 100 juta itu kan. Kalau nggak salah buat Pamer.
170.
Tuh, 170. Scrim berhadiah ntar malam.
170.000.
Yang menang senyum, yang kalah nggak berteman, udah gitu doang. Gitu ya.
Meteor dikenain mentalnya nih, Jik.
Ya udah. Tapi ini attackernya biarin gue bilang tadi. Defense masih gampang ini attackernya nih. PR biar nanti biar attackernya yang disubah. Ya ini defendernya kayak gue lawan Wonoso Boys lah. Defense-nya GG gampang banget kan. Attack-nya anjing.
But it's also just how they are controlling the map. Genji actually
Oke,
semua orang tahu di PRX bakal menang defense.
Apa player Valo nggak? Iya jarang bisa berkembangnya kali ya. Gimana sih?
Susah. Susah bos di Indo.
Abang Diki.
Gimana Bang Dik? Di Indo Bang Dik.
Kenapa susah berkembang?
It is so darn difficult for
Ya,
Genji
kenapa
to
di
fight
Indo
back
susah,
and
bro?
wrangle for map control.
Ya game PC sih.
Iya, game PC ya.
Yang kuncinya satu game PC.
Oke. Itu paling ini sih game PC.
PC. Siapa game PC paling rame di Indo sekarang? Halo ya?
Halo paling rame.
Maksudnya yang nonton ya?
Halo kayaknya deh. Walaupun
Dari segi nonton
Dota
player
juga masih
rame.
rame Dota.
Paper X thing.
Yeah, you can already see bit of stress for the coach here of Genji.
Anjing tekstur temennya pada minus dia doang masih Ben.
Huddling, hoping to get themselves these 2
Iya.
rounds as we are almost coming
Masih
to a
dia.
close for the first half.
Tell you what though, Asterai, we've got 4 ultimates on the side.
Nah,
of Genji.
ini.
Texture on the showstopper, I think, is the one shining light that they were looking for. They could really use that to break apart Paper X.
Yang
So
Valo
I
gampang-gampang
wonder
susah
if
sih.
Alex can
Kalau
anticipate
nggak mood
this.
susah.
Zeno apalagi gampang katanya.
Iya.
I mean, he does have the safety of Monyet right with him.
Apa yang susah
They don't
sih?
even know device boosted here. They are
Diva ya?
aware of it.
Diva.
Oh my god! Device might have
Diva.
Mampus.
holding his hand. It's the Paper X security system, dude.
Wah,
And
Enak.
just as the smoke
Kasih
comes
terus.
up, Devi
enak
gets
banget mainnya.
a whiff of meteor pushing
Langsung aja
in,
kasih PR ke
and
King
in the
PR.
blink of an eye, Quack, 2 drop down.
Gue takutnya attacker doang sih
Tiket
semua
tuh
ini.
banyak macemnya, bukan 2 macem doang sih.
Oh, banyak.
Abang Lis.
Standar VIP, VIP.
Iya, VIP tuh bisa inilah foto sama sMagic gitu.
Asik. Aku mau foto Bang sama sMagic.
Iya, dinner bareng, makan bareng.
Oh, dinner.
Makan
Mau
bareng
tuh kalau sama sMagic, foto bang Esme.
sama Mas Nugi gitu-gitu manajemen semua.
Tapi nanti jersey MCK jadi ini kan bikin barcode-nya. Barcode Saveria.
Oh iya benar ada barcode Motori, oke sih.
Yang bener aja.
Paper X saya gitu bos, lu lihat nih jersey Paper X deh. Ada barcode-nya di kiri.
Close contact. I was thinking they wanted to actually get
Ya asal jangan ditulis Saveria aja di bawahnya sih. Ya,
Jangan, barcode-nya aja.
Sekarang pakai channel bot YouTube.
They didn't want to give a kill when they have a pit is something because of the thrash.
Astaga.
So many things that was working
barcode
against the favor here.
Oh, kalau mau Sen.
So interesting
Oh,
how
gue tahu
this
Sen.
competition's actually so good.
Barcode
against
tako.
Genji right now.
Bilang
Apart
Bang
from that,
Al.
also just how
Barcode
Alex
tako, anjing.
holding off
Barcode tako.
A main, man, the celebrations going on.
Ya, support
I mean,
MCG
that
langsung
wall
aja di scan.
actually, throws off texture
Tapi
a little bit.
FTH nggak mau gitu ke FTH, siapa tahu
a lot more free to
Jersey.
dive right in with that rocket. But not now.
Sabar
Iya ya.
Sabar
Iya juga ya.
Benar baru sendiri aman.
Udah bener notes ya.
Sama gue mah satset itu gue yakin.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam.
Very, very bad. Anyways, everybody's blind up until this point, but that snake bite
Bapak
man,
direct.
there goes
Buset,
something.
Davai.
Abang Lis,
Davai berani bet anjir, beta sage nih.
Grinder. Pushes it up.
Iya, buta
There it
aja.
is.
Ya elah.
Genji now down to Lakia. He is alive.
Hampir lucu.
Like a Christmas tree.
Hampir. Untung ada
Hampir
Abang Lis.
lucu ya.
For not as he loses the bullets and there's still 2 remaining players of Paper X alive.
Oh, good attempt, but still, yeah, this Paper X branded grinder sold to you for 1995.
Nah, tekernya nih. Harus menang pistol sih.
And everything else along with it, and along with it, some Genji members. Unfortunate, but you know.
Harus menang pistol asli, sumpah. Gue udah ngerasain solo kayak gini nih, CT gampang.
Yeah.
Nggak pakai duelist mainnya ya.
They just want to
Ini
try
gamesnya
whatever
ada
they want.
bagi-bagi.
Could
Oh
throw. What
iya.
did it say? I wasn't reading it. My BF loves
Kayaknya
you.
kalian percuma deh kalau masangin barcode Saweria di lakban.
It's okay.
Lakban ya, nggak bisa ya.
Iya.
You know where the extra love comes from, or goes
Itu nanti khusus pas event itulah kita
We've
pakai.
got
Bisa.
love for every single one of these players out there.
Menyesuaikan,
They're all
menyesuaikan.
trying their darndest to give us a good show.
Absolutely.
Oh sepi, crowdnya lagi kalah bro, gimana kan?
G
Walat.
to fight off against
11-1
Paper X.
Iya.
Head to at the
12-0 harusnya orang kalahnya.
Although
Ini 2 kali kalah 2 lawan 1 anjir.
Paper X's composition will work on the attacking side.
Harusnya ya, harusnya.
Oh ini di
Also,
Indo.
they're saying that now that they've got so many
Di Korea
rounds
ini.
under their belts, all they need is 3 more. And that's
Boleh-boleh nih
not
stage
all
ya.
that much. If Genji can't even pick up a pistol,
Pakailah bos kayak
it's
gini.
gonna be trouble. But that is something that
Bagus
ya, bos.
was to
Oktagon ini
Paper
sistemnya.
X.
50 PC deh tuh lu jajarin dari situ.
Aduh.
Subsequent rounds after the pistol too.
And this could be the make or break for
Ini dia nih.
Genji, because when you're in this position,
Ini dia momennya guys.
lose
Buat lagi nonton jangan lupa di like ya adik-adik buat yang belum ya.
you do not want to play
10-2.
12, let's say 12 to 2.
Penasaran gua dia bakal ngapain pistolnya.
Yeah, 12 to 2
3
with
A
nothing,
1 B 1 mid.
you know,
So yeah,
like
when it's
10 straight
11-2,
rounds.
you got straight up. just
Wall mid nggak sih?
force
Dia
buy.
wall mid ke B, ada feeling gue dah. Sisa game wall mid yang sini nih.
Absolutely.
Wall mid yang sini
That's
ke
why
sini.
there's a little
Kalau nggak
bit
ke B
more
nanti masuk
pressure
wall
onto
sih.
these
Kayaknya dah.
Genji
Kayaknya
players'
nggak tahu nih gue mau
shoulders
ngapain
right
dia.
now. They have been showing us a lot today.
Mau
Texture
ngapain nih
has
orang,
been
Cok?
fragging out. Meteor as well. Let's see if
Very
they can
quick.
keep it up.
Also wanted
Ambil.
to add as well,
Pakai gimana?
Split
Divide,
B kah?
he's been the utility boss
Split B nih.
on the stage. You know, no safety for himself. He just
Oh enggak ding,
full
commit B,
blasts, get
commit B dia.
everything, no
5 man B.
shields, all utility. Man is giving his effort. He's giving his
Wall
life
backside.
for Paper Rex at this
Apa wall
point.
market Ben kata lu?
There's the wall.
Wall
Market.
kanan.
Cross it up.
Nah,
No tripwires to be afraid of.
standar sih.
Planting the spike very quickly.
Dibikin kayak Bayan jadinya ya? Bagaimana?
Backs
Apa?
away safely, only leaving
Bikin mirip Bayan nggak sih wall kanan gitu kan?
very nearby, willing to
Iya.
fight inside near the smoke.
Crazy. Dizzy out as well.
Tapi main fake nggak beli.
They're gonna keep fighting this one.
Buset dah.
Anjing, Abang Lis.
Sabar nggak sih? Ini penting banget pistol nih.
Is separating fights from Genji. They can't even create these crossfires anymore. And now
Wah,
here's
wah.
another game.
Ya,
But
klik kanannya.
Big Mike Freak by himself.
One hit.
Does
Oke.
he have the time? Does he have the utility? Does he have the angles?
Udah
With the
teriak,
Sheriff?
anjing.
Ya udah teriak
And
anjing
that
lah.
is a resounding no.
Aduh sayang banget itu tadi.
Babi.
When all looks lost, Paper X pushed in and they counter, they strike back.
This might be a dated reference, but that's a no for me, dog. Dude.
Gua kira dia bakal main post play, main free-nya beli 2 racun gitu ya. Main free-nya beli Sheriff tadi ternyata. Makanya gua agak bingung nih.
Nobody was there to really do anything because of Devi's wall, right? Blocking off market that way, but Genji just kind of holds back. I was a little bit.
Apa wall salah ya, kurang kanan ya, biar nutup semua ya?
5-on-5 retake. But as soon as the firefight started to break out around pillar, Paper X started to push past the pillar, and there was that little bit of a crossfire that Genji made use of. Qeon getting those frags out now. Devi just couldn't have a good time. So, Genji moving forward.
Great start, you know, for the second half. We're
Yeah.
talking about how it's not yet over just yet. Okay, Monyet finds it. Quick trivia, by the way. If you're gonna be a Cypher, you know, playing outside of B, you want the tripwire on the floor because it's harder for the opponents to break it. But obviously they can jump over it. But you know, just
Bisa
quick
ke
info.
market sih, udah di anjing sih, sumpah. Dapat nih
Going
wall
back into
kayak.
this for Paper X.
Mati ini si Munchkin, sumpah mati Munchkin. Gak expect deh.
Cleared this out just
Ah,
yet,
kan?
and he is full blinded. Can he even find something
Ah.
with the judge now that Dizzy has offloaded himself on him? Absolutely not.
Ya di heal lagi, Cok.
Texture does force back everything, and then you can see Paper Rex trying to find a different angle at this point, coming up the top mid, but Qeon denies with that Spectre.
So there's a little chance Forsaken with the Judge. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Lakia coming up from behind is the one that you want to watch out for.
There he is.
Malam jam 9.
Doesn't want to overreach his lead too. Right, they still know that any player of Paper Rex with any upgraded weapon is
Depan muka Jing burungnya.
deal with at this point, so they can always just do that. Yep, put him in a spot. It's most advantageous here for Gen G. A solid second round in that second half.
Yeah, let's
Ini pikir lebih murah pasti guys. Kalian yang dapat presale 1 pasti lebih murah ya harusnya. Nanti yang ini makin mahal harusnya. Nah, ini baru nih. Ini harus sabar sih, Tapi menang sih dari senjata. Harusnya ya dia nggak beli si Genji ya. Masih bonus. Nggak langsung ini.
Hang back because they are the controllers.
Yeah. Like how the Blade actually clears more of B main. Since, you know, on bonus round some players will just play on the back.
Dia bakal nyobain tadi ini harusnya.
Thrash activated quickly. Not sure if it heard where the tripwire was, but Monyet is very much controlling this back angle for now. Devi also leading it, or rather defending the gap. So it's a pretty clean take here from Paper Rex. They just had to use a bit of utility, but it works solely in their favor.
Buset dah. Punya main sendiri aja anjing Davai kasih S ini. Gila. Gila nih orang. Di game pertama ya tembakan ini sih.
The Swiss Army knife of Paper Rex. What you need him to be, he will become.
The boulder and the mountain.
Yeah.
PRX Divine.
I mean, it was a bit of a round against a half buy, but you know, we were talking about the tripwires, we were talking about the executes coming through. All of that is actually just straight up negated because of Davi's barrier orb.
Cok tembakannya nih orang. Dumpah. Pala semua.
And even if a trip does go off, it just gets blocked.
And that's a big problem because they want to get that punish, right? Monyet is so far in front of this. That pop flash is gonna blow up in his face. Lakia does get the trade. It does signal the Paper Rex to start moving their way quickly.
Tapi keren sih itu langsung Monyet langsung TP situ keren sih.
Devi, because of that ace, also now has his res up. So they're looking for a trade here where they can either bait their teammate for a res or just res them to res them. If that makes sense. Oh, Lakia finds one. Tripwire. Meteor looming at the corner of this site. Look at how Gen G has just gotten all control in A main. This leaves Paper Rex in such a tight bind. If they realize this, they might be able to push at the back of the site. But at this point, Munchkin and Qeon just grinding their gears and cleaning up the rest of Paper Rex, trapped again on elbow.
Yeah, a bit of that inverse where Paper Rex wanted to retake from the earlier half. This time, Gen G just making sure that their feet are planted firmly on A site. Gain control over, you know, the site, over Link, Ali. Coming up from the back of the elbow. Paper Rex were the ones stuck in that choke point. So it's a little bit awkward, especially when Monyet dies that early on in the round. But again, keep in mind, only 2 rounds away from closing this out. Alex calling the timeout now.
Sorry, I was getting into the vibe of the timeout here. But you know what? Gen G, they're getting their second win. It looks like they have a lot more understanding of how to play when they're the ones.
Emang buat ngobrol aja biasanya kalau timeout gini sih. Perhatiin mau gimana next round.
Iya kayak, gimana nih injeknya gitu loh Pak.
Nyari solusinya deh.
Jadi kadang ada yang buat ngambil Gojek juga.
Iya, pas lancit nggak sih gitu. Pas lancit sekarang nggak sih.
Iya, pakainya yang ini aja, jangan lehan, nanti ketahuan.
Biasanya gitu sih.
Which again works in favor of Gen G.
Advent on the pistol.
Exactly.
I don't think PaperX does that too often though, unless especially
Main A
they
kah?
have the Thrasher and they really want to make that play work.
Fair enough.
What we haven't really seen too much of is a
Katanya
play
kemarin
from
lu
mid. I think
ditawarin
Monyet
kok
tried to
jadi
explore that
pemain
option
EVOS.
earlier, but didn't quite work
Enggak.
out.
Bagian bersih-bersih dapur.
So it's back to another A. Question
San main Valo. Siapa Esan, Cok?
elbow. How do we break through this main push? Latvia is holding such a tight angle. And of course you've also got Qeon who's possibly going to position
Langsung
himself
rotate
in an
dia.
elevated angle up towards either site or link.
Langsung ditinggal ya.
Look at how both teams actually scramble.
Kena fake kah ini?
Imagine if PaperX just pushed that.
I could see, yeah, a timing push though. If they throw that dizzy past the bells, might be good. Maybe they're just waiting for that smoke to go off.
Langsung di eksplosif nih.
Qeon's already out there.
Ayo loh,
though.
tapi
Even
nggak bisa
if he gets
dikejar,
blind
no
from Paranoia
duelist.
and the dizzy, he's already out. That's why they actually left it, because Meteor has this camera marking up all the way on elbow, spots out something, so that means that
MD welcome ya, MD terima kasih sudah rejoin member bro.
for Meteor here. That's going to be the important
Welcome
start
back.
right now, as Qeon is going to try to feed off of it. Paranoia into the corner. This is going to be a very tricky time for PaperX. They're going to have to try to do
nice.
a lot just to get into that
4-3,
site.
sabar.
Quick little
Aman sih ini.
res for Lakia, or rather for Forsaken, but immediately gets refragged by Lakia. Thankfully enough, Monyet was there to
Harus
punish.
sabar sini,
That
sabar nih.
settles, and there is the site taken. The numbers advantage for PaperX,
Fitri sih.
as well as the long rotation here from the rest of the
Ini nih
Genji
masa
players
mati
still
sih.
alive.
Kedua.
Trade's good enough,
Something
but
tuh.
Texture on the flank.
Something ketemu tuh.
Dapat bokong
Okay.
dia.
Boom.
Mantap.
Oh, oke.
Oke.
That was
12.
quick.
Udah harusnya.
I was looking at
They each got
hoping
their one.
that maybe Texture could have gotten something, but you're absolutely
Oh,
right.
duelist anjing.
Pop shot for pop shot, 12-5 in PaperX.
Oke sih,
They
udah ini kayak.
need one more.
Udah jijik sepertinya adik-adik ini.
Game really
Fix
well.
Perex harusnya.
Although, yeah, it does not do
Crossing
all
nggak
too
sih?
much against Qeon. It gives them enough space. And once they had that space, they were able to
Untung
execute
sempet
into
ke-revive
the
ya,
site, you know, just making use of the flashes again or going past it, having the players to really come in.
Rex sejak lahir bang, ya benar.
That's PaperX style. Every single
Benar,
one of them
Jing.
people are fracking. And also, Monyet having a good time, the young gun on the stage.
Anjing, lari langsung dia cok ke sini.
Sorry, I was letting you finish off what you were saying, because it seems like Genji was trying to just get that heavy contact on B main, hoping that PaperX was huddled up. Not gonna happen this time. PaperX immediately activate that null
Iya
command.
kenceng.
And is this kills
Larinya kenceng
steps
itu.
into the direction
Susah
of
ditembaknya.
kills. Wins rather for PaperX
Kalau
in
ulti.
this series.
Iya kan larinya jadi kenceng, fire speed jadi kenceng kayak Arena ulti. Ulti kayu tuh.
Once again here by something. Devi holding mid control. Lakia wins that out.
Emang kalau di Diamond
So at
emang
least they
fire
have
speed
to
doang.
deal with the possible flag.
Kalau Diamond fire speed doang ya.
With control of the site and timer starting
Tapi iya nggak sih
to
lari?
down
Iya,
for
dikit
PaperX
dah.
as that spike has been planted down. Okay, Paranoia is
Waduh,
activated. This is good.
waduh.
They're using this to bounce
Ah,
Texture
skill
off
nih.
with the showstopper. Flash out for
Buta lu.
Forsaken. Oh my god,
Buta
how did they
lu.
actually get these punishes? But still, Qeon lights up the entire house. 2 versus 1. Monyet coming into the corner right now. And it's all up to him. Can he get it? First one. Very low
Aduh.
HP by Lakia. Locks it in.
Aduh,
12
lagi
6
dia.
and Genji.
Aduh.
Down to 5.
Darahnya 5 itu kena
Really
gedingnya
close.
si ini tadi kan.
Thanks to a bit of body blocking from Qeon and just Mind Freak having
Kena
to
dingin
do
Dava ya dia?
extra work. A little bit more difficult. Genji stays in the game. I mean, the way the entire site hit breaks out.
Kena dingin
Genji
siapa itu ya?
just couldn't quite hold off, and like you
Kayaknya
mentioned
tidak
in that retake, Texture Showstopper, you know, not quite being able to do what they wanted.
Udah nggak sih?
Because PaperX knows exactly how to
Tapi ya
respond.
sabar ya, sabar. Santai. Jangan maksain beli mau cepet-cepet menang, santai.
Of both that Paranoia and Showstopper, granted they didn't get any kills. Feels like that was the opening that Qeon needed to get those frags rolling for him. They called immediate down on this wall though. Texture's playing very close.
Something dapat satu
This is
menang
gonna
ini.
be an opening for both of the teams, and there it is, man. Something doesn't miss. They can up this wall once again.
Let's go nggak sih?
Munchkin has to get close. He needs, or he wants to just stop them from picking up anything right now. He is preparing his snakebite for it. There it is.
Doesn't
Anjing
negate
gila
the
utilnya sih
wingman,
bagus
though.
banget emang ya. Gak bisa diambil backside-nya begitu.
Definitely does not, but has a whole lot committed
Main
to
freak
walls
ada satu. Aduh udah nyampe
to
sini dia.
just get that wingman in. And if Lakia can get this first frag, which he
Aduh.
does, that's a lot of access
Dijepit.
points for both him as well as Qeon coming in through B main.
Comes down to gunplay.
Oh, PaperX realizes
Gila,
though,
gila
so
sih.
they have to force fight this. Can Forsaken hold on? Let his teammate at least fight for him. Cannot. And
Monyet, emang harus monyet yang nggak sih ini?
Monyet 3 versus 1. And he's not even planted for him. He's trying to get closer and closer,
Udah
but
nice.
that spike is just diffusing in front of his eyes, and he can't do nothing for him.
Good stutter step from Maki.
Genji udah mulai paham cara mainnya. Dia retake cepet banget dari belakang anjing. Lihat gak sih lu udah ngerasa gak sih? Genji udah mulai nyadar nih. Cara nge-retake gimana? Iya nih. Tapi ini full buy sekarang, ini full buy ini sekarang. Tapi kalau something pakai senjata beda cerita itu. Sayangnya pakai ini deh. Ya Sheriff.
And of course the guns that they had, you know.
Yeah, fair enough, you know. Better firepower here for Genji to make do
Hanya
with.
3 lagi.
One-way smoke always planted there on A main, but without the dog, Paper Rex a lot more confident to actually push through this. But here's the thing. That Sky has not given away his position. So if he can play close enough, a guy like could actually be a punishing play here. But the bait and switch from Paper Rex, they immediately knew what was up. Meteor though, yeah, mentioned it. Quick to go for the trade, but Monyet unstoppable at this point. Just keeps going in.
3 lawan 2, 3 lawan 2, 3 lawan 2. 3 lawan 2, bro.
As these fights come to a conclusion, is looking to get a little bit of the advantage, and that is just enough for them to work with. Texture coming into the corner right now, finds one.
Menang, ini menang harusnya. Kalau nggak konyol menang ini fix harusnya ya. Jangan konyol nih.
It's gonna be big for him. He needs to find something right now with this flank because Texture is about to get sandwiched in. He's found himself that Phantom as you were talking about. But
GG bro, no duelis ya. GG bro. Mantap Perex. Ente ya Genji ya. Gila ini match seru bro. Tapi gokil sih Perex sih. Keren metanya anjing. Genji juga udah GG sih ngelawan sih deh. GG ya buat dua tim ya. Anjing match seru bro, sumpah ini. Berapa jam ini matchnya? 3 jam anjir, 3 map. Match mahal sih ini. Berarti Genji ketemu RRQ ya, RRQ harus bisa balas dendam sih. Revenge gak sih? PRX tetaplah PRX bro, iya bu, walaupun no duelis. Dia bisa anjing main no duelis ini. Ini sedih gitu Genji. Sedih gitu Jing. Kabar match kedua aja berapa ya? Oke, kalau begitu karena sudah 1 match, gue match kedua di router aja guys ya. Mungkin buat kalian yang belum follow router gue silahkan follow. Kita pindah ke router ya guys. Di sini channel gue. Di sMagic centang ya. sMagic centang. Ini match kedua apa dik? Gue lupa dik. Langsung gak sih? Apa jam berapa? Berapa? 25 menit? 20 menit. Oke lah kalau begitu. Yaudah ya adik-adik ya, kita langsung absen aja dulu router paling ya 2 jam, 3 jam lah, aman lah. Review Juan, boleh kita review di router ya adik-adik ya. Berangkat langsung ke sini adik-adik, linknya ada di komen ya.
Gas saya gua Bang.
Gas. Bang Diki.
Gas weh.
Router. Mana sih linknya?
Alex tuh nggak foto sih.
Jangan lupa join Discord buat yang belum ya adik-adik ya. Oke, berangkat semuanya, berangkat. Langsung ya di spam like ya bro di sana biar cepat. Let's go.